Chapter 1154. Chapter 1152, Deep Imprint. You're right, we can't let our guard down. Taizao nodded. Thank goodness this Xiao wasn't part of it or I'd be in trouble. Alright, stop wasting time, go take a shower. Jianghu waved his hand, a little pissed off. I'm so dirty from head to toe. How old are you, still peeing your pants? Ugh. Don't mention it, and bro, I'm embarrassed. Taizao blushed. If you're embarrassed, then go take a shower. What are you waiting for? Jianghu said as he walked towards the beach. It's not waiting for anything, and bro, it's too dark, I don't dare go. Taizao said, a little hesitant. You don't dare to go even if I go with you? What are you afraid of? Jianghu raged. I'm afraid of ghosts, I'm still scared of that scene just now. Taizao said weakly. What ghosts? Didn't I tell you already? There were no ghosts? Where were the ghosts? That was Mengyao Yushu and Tang Yun, are you stupid? Jianghu said. It's fine if you don't want to take a shower, but don't sleep in the tent tonight. Stay outside. I'll take a shower. Taizao thought about it. Wouldn't it be scarier to stay outside the tent at night? He might as well go take a shower right now. The night passed without a word. The next morning Lin Yi opened his eyes. He'd been training in his dreams every day, but Lin Yi could control the time difference very well now. Lin Yi was still connected to the outside world in his dreams. Many people couldn't control what happened in their dreams, but Lin Yi could. In his dreams, in the jade space, Lin Yi was pretty much the same as in reality. Xiao, wake up. We're going to watch the sunrise, Lin Yi said softly as he patted the sleeping Xiao in his arms. Last night, Lin Yi and Xiao slept separately. Perhaps it was because she was being reserved, but Xiao didn't do anything bold when she came back. She might have been bold when she talked to Yushu last night, but she was a little shy when she came back. Xiao was an inexperienced girl after all. Words were words, but actions were actions. In the latter half of the night, when it was cold, Xiao naturally squeezed into Lin Yi's arms. Lin Yi didn't push her away, hugging her until now. Oh. Xiao was sleeping soundly when Lin Yi woke her up. She opened her eyes, still a little groggy. It's time? Are you going to make breakfast with love? Xiao stood up from Lin Yi's arms and paced around the tent, mumbling, Where's the oven? Why's it gone? Lin Yi looked at Xiao, feeling a wave of warmth in his heart. Xiao had been making breakfast with love for him every morning, evidently getting used to it. The moment the alarm went off, she'd wake up and open the oven. It wasn't easy for her to come out and relax, but she still treated this as her home. Xiao, we're at the beach. Lin Yi got up and hugged Xiao. This was the first time Lin Yi hugged Xiao of his own volition, and this girl's figure was deeply imprinted in his heart. Ah. Xiao rubbed her sleepy eyes, feeling a little embarrassed. I thought I was at home, I was so sleepy. Don't make breakfast with love anymore. Rest well, I feel bad for you, Lin Yi said word by word as he looked at Xiao. Ah. Lin Yi's love surprised Xiao, but she wasn't used to it. As far as she was concerned, Lin Yi's feelings for her might be real, but he was only with her because of the bet with Tang Yun. But now Xiao could see the deep love in Lin Yi's eyes. Lin Yi really did love her. Xiao felt lost all of a sudden. Xiao's original intention was to make Lin Yi fall in love with her, and then she'd dump Lin Yi. This was revenge. Although she'd buried this thought in her heart and didn't bring it up again, her illness was real. Whether it was revenge or not, Lin Yi would be sad the moment she left, and that wasn't something she wanted to see. Why are you so nice to me? Xiao was a little scared. This time she was blaming herself. She felt like she was playing with fire, but she couldn't stop. How could she just stop playing around with feelings? You're nice to me, so I'll be nice to you too. Love is mutual. Lin Yi smiled. Didn't you want to watch the sunrise? It'll be out any later. Oh. Xiao replied, wondering if she should tell Lin Yi the truth. But she was a little scared. She was scared that if she told Lin Yi the truth, Lin Yi would get angry and leave her. Xiao didn't want to let go of this hard-earned love either. She was conflicted. You hugged me to sleep last night? Xiao changed the topic. These headaches were getting worse the more she thought about them, so she might as well not think about them at all. Yeah. Lin Yi nodded. You. Xiao bit her lips, her face a little red. Do you want me? Actually, we can do it now. I've thought about it. Huh? Lin Yi blinked. I want to be your woman. Xiao didn't hesitate this time. She said it with determination. She thought that giving herself to Lin Yi would be a form of compensation to Lin Yi. Lin Yi was the one who took advantage of her. She was going to die soon, but she was still a virgin. When Xiao hung out with those delinquents, weren't they always talking about it and being proud of it? They'd compare how many virgins they'd slept with, how many women they'd had, and so on. Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat, but he kept his composure. We'll talk about this when we get back. Let's go watch the sunrise first? We might not be able to see it if we waste any more time. Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded, blushing. She wasn't happy with Lin Yi's rejection. Lin Yi was a good guy, but he was a little too serious sometimes. In fact, Xiao Xiao didn't know that Lin Yi was tempted by her suggestion. But Lin Yi wasn't that heartless. Xiao Xiao's life was in danger, and Lin Yi didn't have time to think about stuff like that. Chapter 1155. Chapter 1153, Omnipotent Shu. Lin Yi walked out of the tent with Xiao Xiao, and a moist sea breeze blew into their noses. It was a refreshing feeling. Lin Yi looked at Mingyao's tent. It seemed to be quiet, so Lin Yi didn't go disturb them. He and Xiao Xiao went to the beach and sat on the sand. It's so dark. Xiao Xiao squeezed into Lin Yi's embrace. It's the darkest time before dawn. Lin Yi smiled and hugged Xiao Xiao tightly. Are you cold? It's okay, a little cold, but I'm not cold anymore after you hug me. Xiao Xiao smiled sweetly. Lin Yi, honey, look, there are stars in the sky. Yeah. Lin Yi nodded, his thoughts going back to the border of a small country in Europe. He remembered that night with Yuning. That day it was also early in the morning, and the two of them sat at the edge of the cave looking at the stars in the sky. Wasn't it similar to today? It was just a blink of an eye and everything had changed. The stars were still the same, but the person beside him was Xiao Xiao. At that time Lin Yi was confused about his future. He didn't know where he would go, and he didn't know when his days of wandering would end. He didn't dare to talk about love, and his attitude towards love was to avoid it. He couldn't give Yuning any promises, and he couldn't give her the life she wanted. She was a flower that grew up in a greenhouse, and he and she were people from two different worlds. So Lin Yi chose to avoid it. See Chapter T001-T010 Valentine's Day Special Chapter Little Ning Chapter. Although in the next few missions he found out that Yuning wasn't as weak as he thought, but Lin Yi still didn't dare cross the line. He remembered his identity. He didn't want Yuning to worry about him. She should have a stable and happy life, right? But, although this love was buried in his heart, the relationship between Lin Yi and Yuning became more and more ambiguous. Until that time when House Yu intervened, Lin Yi frowned, not wanting to think about it anymore. Let bygones be bygones. At the very least, Lin Yi was satisfied and happy right now. This mission allowed Lin Yi to truly integrate into the city, becoming a normal person. It gave Lin Yi real feelings. The reason why Lin Yi was able to open his heart was because of his old man's words. He promised that this would be the last mission of his life. He'd be able to retire after finishing it and settle down in Songshan. This allowed Lin Yi to open his heart and accept Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao without any worries. Wow, so romantic. Lin Yi's thoughts were pulled back to reality by a scream behind him. Lin Yi didn't need to look to know that it was Shu. Only she had this kind of personality. You're all awake? Lin Yi turned around. As expected, the Miss Shu and Tang Yun were all here. Why are you two so romantic? Cuddling with each other in the middle of the night? I'm jealous. Yushu giggled as she looked at Xiao Xiao. Why don't we switch? Change what? Xiao Xiao blushed a little. Don't Lin Yi's honey have a seat? You go to the left. Then I won't hold back. She'll bro, you can have a girl on your left and right. Yushu smiled, wanting to sit down. But Mengyao pulled her back. Stop messing around, let's make breakfast to welcome the sunrise. Oh, okay. Yushu remembered that she had a mission this morning. She had to cook a poached egg for Xiao Xiao, and so she went to the car with Mengyao and Tang Yun. I feel so happy. Xiao Xiao rested her head on Lin Yi's shoulder, enjoying this moment of peace. If you like it, we can come to the beach to watch the sunrise more often. Every year, Lin Yi said. Okay. Xiao Xiao felt a lump in her throat, a little sad. Every year. Perhaps this was the last time she'd be able to watch the sunrise at the beach. Lin Yi could more or less guess what Xiao Xiao was thinking. He was even more determined to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao. The stars in the sky slowly dimmed, and the white of dawn appeared above the sea. It's getting bright. Lin Yi said. It's a new day. Yeah, I've lived another day. Xiao Xiao sighed. At this time, the Miss Shu and Tang Yun had already prepared the cooking tools. She'll bro, everything's ready. Let's start. Yushu ran over. They could do the preparation work, but the rest was up to Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao, wait for me, I'll go make breakfast. Lin Yi said. Can you not go? I don't want you to leave. Xiao Xiao said, a little reliant. Don't worry, I'll make breakfast before sunrise for sure. Lin Yi said with a smile. Okay, I'll wait for you. Xiao Xiao nodded. Lin Yi stood up and walked to the campfire with Yushu, lighting it up quickly. He looked at the eggs on the ground, troubled. They'd barbecued yesterday and they only needed to put the food on the grill. How were they supposed to cook this poached egg without a pan or a plate? If only I had a pan. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I do. Yushu said as she handed him a frying pan. Oh, you brought a pan? Lin Yi paused. Do you have a spatula? I do. It's not a problem for all-purpose Shu. Yushu gave a spatula to Lin Yi. All-purpose Shu, she really is all-purpose. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't know if he should praise Yushu or scold her. Lin Yi felt that the car was very heavy when he was driving, and if Yushu had even brought a pan and a spatula, then there had to be more things in the trunk. But Lin Yi didn't have time to think about this. The most important thing now was to fry the eggs. Lin Yi quickly fried a few poached eggs and gave some to Tang Yun, the miss, and Shu, leaving 2 for Xiao Xiao. Here, eat. Xiao Xiao froze when she smelled the aroma of the poached eggs. How did you know I wanted to eat poached eggs while watching the sunrise? Xiao Xiao asked, surprised. I don't know, I just did it randomly. Lin Yi naturally couldn't admit that he'd looked at Xiao Xiao's phone. Isn't this usually what you eat for breakfast? Chapter 1156. Chapter 1154, Jiangwen's tragic past. But why do you want to eat a poached egg while watching the sunrise? Lin Yi didn't understand why Xiao Xiao would want to do that. Because when the sun rises it's like a big fried egg. I can imagine myself eating it in one bite. Xiao Xiao said. I see. Lin Yi sweated. This Xiao Xiao was quite a creative thinker, connecting all these things together. It was quite special. At that moment, a red glow appeared between the sky and the sea, shining brightly. The sun was about to rise. Whoa! Yushu cheered as well. Evidently they were watching the sunrise as well. It's coming? Xiao Xiao pointed at the sky excitedly as well. As expected, a fiery red sun slowly rose from the sea, jumping into the air bit by bit. The sea was shining with a golden red light, very beautiful. Xiao Xiao ate her egg as she watched the sunrise happily in Lin Yi's arms. It was a beautiful morning. The sun was rising and the sea was no longer cold. The temperature of the sea was rising. The 5 of them finished their breakfast. Their original plan was to change into swimsuits and swim in the sea, but the sea water was still a little cold, so the 5 of them sat on the beach and waited for the sun to completely heat up the water before going to swim in the sea. Jiangwen and Taizao only woke up when the sun was completely out. They walked out of the tent and saw the 5 sitting on the beach. Jiangwen didn't hesitate at all as he walked over. Yao Yao sis, you're up early. You guys must be hungry, right? I have some nutritious breakfast here, it's almost hot. I'll get Taizao to bring some over. Let's eat together. No need, we're done already. Meng Yao said faintly. You guys eat. Ah? Done? Jiangwen blinked, but looked at the cooking utensils not too far away. They seemed to have been used today. He shrugged helplessly. If that's the case, then we'll just have a simple bite. The weather's nice today, why don't we go play in the water? Yao Yao, Shu, do you guys remember when we used to come to the beach together when we were kids? Of course I remember. Yushu spoke up before Meng Yao could. Did you get bitten by a crab? Why are you crying? That's right, your D*CK is broken. Sister Yao Yao can't marry you in the future. Otherwise, she won't have any sexual bliss. Quack. Jiangwen blinked at Yushu's words, but he remembered that when he was playing at the beach when he was young, his dick was caught by a crab's pincer and he almost broke it. Plus, the culprit was most likely Yushu. She was the one who released the crabs. Jiangwen didn't have any proof, but he was pretty sure of it. From then on, Jiangwen started to fear Yushu. This girl was too vicious, and he had to stay as far away from her as possible. He might even get castrated by her. At the thought, Jiangwen couldn't help but admire Lin Yi a little. He had such a good relationship with Yushu. Was he not afraid of anything? Ah! Xiao Xiao started laughing after hearing Yushu's words. Who would have thought that Jiangwen had such a tragic past? Meng Yao and Tang Yun, on the other hand, were too embarrassed to laugh out loud, but they couldn't help but laugh. This Jiangwen sure was unlucky. That's all in the past, let's not talk about it. Jiangwen laughed. Let's not talk about this, shall we go swimming later? Right, I even prepared swimsuits for you guys. Taizao, go get the swimsuits for Yao Yao sis and the others. Okay, I'll go get them now. Taizao happily went to get the swimsuits. Very quickly, Taizao came back with a bunch of swimsuits in his hands. Yao Yao, Shu, Tang Yun, Xiao Xiao, see if you guys like them? Jiangwen passed the swimsuits to Meng Yao. Meng Yao didn't take it, but Yushu curiously took it and flipped through it. These are the latest international models, I had someone buy them from overseas. It took a lot of effort. Jiang Wen said proudly. What the hell is this? Meng Yao's face reddened at the sight of it. How was this a normal swimsuit? It was a sexy swimsuit, wasn't it? Her breasts were exposed and even her thighs were exposed. Meng Yao wouldn't wear something like this in public. Her swimsuits were very conservative, covering her entire body, and this was a world of difference. Ugh. Jiang Wen didn't expect Meng Yao to react this strongly. Of course, he had to admit that he was being selfish. These swimsuits were all international brands, but he tried his best to choose the sexiest ones. His goal was to let Meng Yao wear them and it'd be a feast for his eyes. As for Yushu, Jiang Wen didn't dare do anything to her, but she had a good figure and her breasts were huge. Jiang Wen purposely chose a swimsuit that accentuated Yushu's figure. These are the latest international models, how can they be messed up? Jiang Wen said quickly. These are all designed by famous designers. It might be a little bold, but it's very pretty. You guys are in the prime of your youth, you should show off your beauty. Show it to you? Meng Yao frowned. Jiang Wen was a little embarrassed by Meng Yao's question. Evidently Meng Yao was really pissed or she wouldn't ask something like this. I'm not wearing it. You can wear it if you want. Meng Yao said. Jiang Wen felt a little awkward. It's fine if you don't want to wear it, I'm just being nice. Taizao, take it back. Jiang Wen felt that it was a pity, but there was nothing he could do. What could he do if Meng Yao didn't want to wear it? He didn't doubt that Lin Yi would kick him into the Pacific Ocean if he dared to do that. Who was Lin Yi? Even House Yu would beat him up, let alone Jiang Wen. If Fighter Li hadn't died, Jiang Wen wouldn't be that afraid of Lin Yi, but now that Fighter Li was killed by some air Guden, and his new support hadn't arrived yet, he didn't dare fight Lin Yi head-on. Don't take them away, I want these swimsuits. Yushu stopped him. Chapter 1157. Chapter 1155, Shark meat again? I'll bring it home and wear it for shield bro. Yushu's words poured a bucket of cold water over Jiang Wen's head. What? Jiang Wen paused and his face changed. Show it to Lin Yi? Why did this girl like Lin Yi so much? Jiang Wen was envious, but at the same time, he thought that Lin Yi would be pranked by Yushu every day, and that she'd release crabs and lobsters to kill him. Give me half, I want it too. Xiao Xiao didn't back down. Sure, I can't do it myself anyway. Yushu didn't reject. Jiang Wen was a little dejected. He spent a lot of money on the swimsuit and Lin Yi got it for free. He couldn't even see what he bought, how unlucky. But this amount of money wasn't much to Jiang Wen anymore. He waved his hand. Alright, I'll give it all to you. Let's go play in the sea today? We'll get some seafood too. It's daylight now, what do you guys want to eat? I'll get it for you. Jiang Wen looked at the crabs and other things crawling up the beach, and he knew that he might be able to get some big fishes later. At least he wouldn't have to go fishing in the dark like last night. What do we want to eat and what do you want to get? Yushu narrowed her eyes at Jiang Wen. Jiang Wen's heart skipped a beat at the look on Yushu's face. This girl wouldn't be playing tricks on him again, would she? It has to be in the sea, right? I won't be able to get it if it's not there. Jiang Wen laughed, pretending to be joking. Yao Yao and I want to eat shark meat. You go get it. Yushu said. What? Shark? Jiang Wen jumped in fright upon hearing Yushu's words. How could a shark be fished out so easily? Wouldn't they be bitten to death? Yeah, we want to eat barbecued shark meat. Yushu nodded. Don't you specialize in fighting sharks? You broke a shark's teeth with one punch, were you bragging before? Quack. Jiang Wen suddenly remembered that the last time he treated Jiang Wen, he wanted to show off his bravery by saying that he fought with a shark before. But that was all bullshit. It was a lie. But now Yushu was bringing this up. Jiang Wen didn't know what to do. If he admitted to it, Yushu would definitely make him go catch the shark right now, but if he didn't admit to it, he'd be seen as a liar in front of Meng Yao, and he'd lose all his face. With that thought, Jiang Wen clenched his teeth. There might not be sharks in this shallow water area, so it wasn't his fault if he didn't meet one. Hence he said, alright, shark meat it is. Taizao and I will go into the sea to catch sharks for you in a while. However, if there are no sharks in this shallow water area, then we can't do anything. After all, we didn't bring diving equipment, so we can't go to the deep sea area. It doesn't matter. I have a trick to attract sharks. Yushu smiled as she looked at Jiang Wen. Cut your finger and drip your blood into the sea, and the sharks will be attracted to you. Quack. Jiang Wen jumped up. That's not good, is it? Why not? Are you a coward? Yao Yao doesn't like cowardly men, she likes brave men. Yushu looked at Jiang Wen and encouraged him. You need to be brave, you need to be like a warrior if you want to get Yao Yao's attention. You don't have to be nervous no matter how big the danger is. You should believe that Yao Yao is watching you from behind, cheering you on. Is that so? Jiang Wen was suddenly filled with courage and fighting spirit as he looked at Tai Zhao. Tai Zhao, change into your swimsuit, we're going to catch sharks. And bro, aren't we a little too weak to catch sharks with our bodies? Tai Zhao said carefully, a bitter face on his face. Cut the crap, let's go. Jiang Wen was afraid that Meng Yao would laugh at him, so he pulled Tai Zhao away to change into his swimsuit. Shu, don't you think it's a little too dangerous? What if Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao get killed by sharks? Meng Yao didn't believe that Jiang Wen could kill sharks at all. She believed that Lin Yi could kill sharks, but Jiang Wen, it's fine, I'm here, right? Yushu said. I killed a shark with a rock last time. Ha! You're still bringing it up? Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. You didn't kill a shark last time, did you? Was Gao Xiaofu. Hee hee, Yao Yao, you know about it too? Yushu blushed a little. She was smart enough to know that she didn't kill a shark, but Gao Xiaofu who was pretending to be a shark. She thought that no one knew about this. The shark you killed had a supermarket price tag on it, who wouldn't know? Meng Yao glared at Yushu before turning to Lin Yi, troubled. Lin Yi, watch out later, don't let the shark kill Jiang Wen. Okay. Lin Yi nodded, not asking any more questions. Lin Yi knew what Meng Yao was thinking. Jiang Wen had always been a childhood playmate, and while he'd changed now, becoming a bad guy, Meng Yao still didn't want Jiang Wen to die in front of her because of their past relationship. Yao Yao, why do you care about him? It doesn't matter if he dies. Yushu didn't care. A while later, Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao changed into their swimsuits and got ready to go. Yao Yao, Shu, aren't you guys coming to play? Jiang Wen asked. Yao Yao, are we going? Yushu turned to Meng Yao. Meng Yao nodded and turned to Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. Let's go together? Sure. Tang Yun nodded. This was her first time going to the beach and everything was so new. Songshan was a city close to the mountains and there weren't many rivers around. It took a long drive to get to the beach and the only place close to the sea was the bungee jumping area in the amusement park, but it was a steep cliff, and below the cliff was the sea. It wasn't a good place to play. Tang Yun's family wasn't doing well and her father was sick in bed, so she didn't have time to go to the beach. Meng Yao and Yushu bought a lot of swimsuits in the supermarket, but they were all conservative types. They brought some for Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. Chapter 1158. Lin Yi's loss of composure. I don't think that's a good idea. You guys pick first. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed. Meng Yao and Yushu were the ones who bought the swimsuits. It was only right for them to pick first. These swimsuits are all the styles that Shu and I like. We won't buy the ones we don't like, so you guys pick the ones you like. Shu and I like the rest too, Meng Yao explained with a smile. Then we'll do as you say. Tang Yun didn't refuse and took a set they liked. However, it was a little awkward when they changed their swimsuits. Although they had already seen each other naked when they changed their pajamas last night, it was dark at that time and they couldn't see anything. They could only vaguely see a white patch, so it wasn't too awkward. But even without turning on the lights, the sun could still shine through the tent, filling the tent with light. It was just a little dark. The miss was a little shy and so was Tang Yun. But Yushu didn't care. She took off her clothes quickly and got ready to put on her swimsuit. Wow, Shu, your breasts are so big. Xiao Xiao said as she stared at Yushu's breasts. She quickly ran over and grabbed them. Let me touch them. Yushu cried out as well, quickly dodging Xiao Xiao's attack. Stingy, you're playing threesomes, I won't even let you touch them. I'm not playing with you anymore. Xiao Xiao humphed. I'll let you touch them when we're playing, not now. Yushu quickly put on her swimsuit. Only shield bro can touch them now. With Xiao Xiao and Yushu's interference, the atmosphere in the tent wasn't as awkward anymore. Meng Yao and Tang Yun took off their clothes and got ready to change into their swimsuits. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was a little shy at the end. At least Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun had changed their pajamas together yesterday, and they'd slept on the same mattress, so they were quite familiar with each other. Only Xiao Xiao was doing it for the first time, so she was a little embarrassed. Xiao Xiao, why are you so slow? Is it because your breasts are too small that you feel inferior in front of me? Yushu giggled. Who said that? You're so big, I'm just right. Xiao Xiao quickly took off her clothes and changed into her swimsuit. It seems to be a little bigger than Yao Yao sis? Yao Yao sis, it looks like you have to work hard. Yushu said to herself. Shu, you're too much. Meng Yao's face was red from Yushu's actions and she went to tear her lips. I'm going swimming. Yushu said as she ran out of the tent. Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lin Yi also went back to change into his swimming trunks. When he walked out of the tent, he saw Shu running out. Xiao Shu's chest was no longer restrained. Coupled with the fact that she was jogging, Lin Yi's breathing quickened. This scene was very similar to a popular chat picture emoticon on the internet. Wow, Shield bro, you're so strong. Yushu didn't realize that she was inappropriate, but when she saw Lin Yi's muscular chest and abs, her eyes lit up. Ugh, you're very big too. Lin Yi said subconsciously, but after saying that, he felt that something wasn't right. Lin Yi had always been a serious person in front of Mengyao and Yushu, and he'd never say anything that went overboard. But this time, he'd let Yushu lead him into saying something he shouldn't have said. Yushu was surprised by Lin Yi's words as well, but she was happy. Although Lin Yi loved her a lot in the past, he never praised her like this. So Yushu was very happy. Shield bro, you finally found Shu's good points? Lin Yi was speechless. It seemed that humans weren't saints. He had been with Yao Yao and Shu for a long time. It was inevitable that he would have some thoughts about them. It was reasonable for him to have feelings for them. You and Yao Yao are both very good. Lin Yi's face returned to normal as he said faintly. Yushu was a little depressed that Lin Yi had gone back to his old self, but thinking about it, Lin Yi's attitude was very clear. It seemed that he still liked her. And Shu, you have to do your best. Mengyao, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao came out later, so naturally they didn't see the scene before. They were a little confused by Yushu's bright smile. Only Mengyao wasn't happy. Shu, is my chest so small that it's worth it for you to be happy? You're dying of laughter. I think you should be called Qin Xiao Xiao. No, I'm not laughing at that. Yushu scratched her head, a little embarrassed. Then what are you laughing at? Mengyao looked at Yushu, confused. Oh, nothing. I'm laughing at that idiot Jianghu going to catch a shark. Yushu said. Mengyao didn't really believe Yushu's words, but she didn't say anything. Jianghu and Taizao were swimming in the ocean when they saw Mengyao and the others coming out. He waved his hands. Yao Yao, come quickly. It's really cool in the water. The sun was already out and standing on the beach was quite hot. The water hadn't absorbed all the heat yet, so it was still a little cold. It was the most comfortable time to go into the water. Jianghu bro, why aren't you going to catch a shark? Yushu asked directly after entering the water. I was just thinking, why don't we play for a while? Otherwise, how are we supposed to play if the blood stays in the water? Jianghu laughed. We'll catch sharks after we're done playing. Is that so? That works too. Yushu thought about it. They weren't done playing yet, and it was indeed a little unpleasant to attract a shark. She was there to supervise them, so she wasn't worried that Jianghu wouldn't go. The chances of sharks and dangerous sea creatures appearing in shallow water were very low, but Lin Yi was still very vigilant, watching the surface of the sea, ready to make a move at a moment's notice. Wow, there are abalones on the reef. Xiao Xiao pointed excitedly at a reef at the bottom of the sea and exclaimed. Really? There's abalones here? Yushu rolled her eyes and called out to Jianghu. Jianghu bro, there's abalones here. Come catch some abalones for lunch. Chapter 1159. Let me tell you a secret. It's right here, hurry up and catch it. Yushu pointed at the reef in the water. That's too easy, watch me. Jianghu thought that this was a good chance to show off his bravery. He gathered his strength and said to the abalone, Little abalone, I'm coming. But Jianghu's thinking was too simple. The abalone was stuck to the reef like it was glued to it. Even a cow would struggle to pull it away. Jianghu, on the other hand, didn't know that he was treating the abalone like a clam, thinking that he could just pick it up. And so, Jianghu felt that something wasn't right. Why was the abalone so tight? It was as if it was growing on the reef. Taizao, come help. Let's pull it together. Jianghu said to Taizao. Alright, let's pull it together. Taizao was scared of ghosts and sharks, but this little abalone was nothing to him. He and Jianghu started pulling it with all their might. Jianghu bro, Taizao bro, go. Yao Yao is watching you guys. Yushu cheered them on as she slipped away with Xiao Xiao, leaving the two idiots pulling the abalone with all their might. Yushu and Xiao Xiao ran over to Mengyao and Tang Yun's side, laughing their heads off. What's wrong with you two? Mengyao asked curiously. Jianghu and Taizao are pulling the abalone with their hands. Yushu said. Pulling the abalone with their hands? Mengyao blinked. Can that thing be pulled out with their hands? Don't we have to use special tools to pull it out? Didn't we watch an episode of Animal World before? It's about abalone, right? Yeah, those two idiots must have never watched it before. They think they can pull it out with their hands. Yushu said. Let them do it, we don't have to worry about them bothering us anymore. Yushu said. Mengyao shook her head. This Yushu was quite a bad person. Lin Yi didn't go into the sea, he sat quietly on the beach watching the people play in the water. He had to take care of their safety. Husband Lin Yi, can you come down to the sea to play this time? You lied to me that you didn't know how to swim, but Shu said you saved him. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi a little bitterly. She'd wanted Lin Yi to come play with her when Pinliang organized the trip to the beach, but Lin Yi refused, saying that he didn't know how to swim. But as she got closer to Yushu, Xiao Xiao learned more about Lin Yi. I'm not going. You guys have fun first. Lin Yi shook his head. But Xiao Xiao naturally wouldn't let Lin Yi go so easily. With Xiao Xiao in the lead, the group started splashing water on Lin Yi. Yushu quickly joined in as well, and Tang Yun hesitated a little before joining in. The miss was in a difficult position. With her personality, she would never mess around with Yushu. But now that Tang Yun had joined the battle, if the miss didn't join in, it would seem that she was not a part of the group. And so, the miss started splashing water on Lin Yi as well. Lin Yi didn't mind, smiling. It's a little hot sitting on the beach, it'll cool me down a little. I'll just take it as a shower. Sisters, how about we push Shield Bro into the sea? Yushu wasn't too happy about it. Sure. Xiao Xiao was the first to agree. Tang Yun, on the other hand, didn't hold back. It was her first time out and she had to enjoy herself. She answered Yushu's call, running up to the shore and dragging Lin Yi into the water. Lin Yi wasn't expecting Tang Yun to get along with Yushu as well. He was a little surprised, but he gave her some face and went into the sea. On the other side, Jiangwen and Taizao were struggling with the abalone. Jiangwen wanted to cry as he looked at the laughter. Why is this abalone so hard? Is it growing on the reef? Who knows, and bro. I've already used all my strength, but the abalone doesn't move at all. Taizao smiled bitterly. Maybe there's something wrong with this abalone? That Yushu girl is always messing with people. Maybe we should change to another abalone? Jiangwen thought about it and agreed. Yushu was always messing with people and there might be something wrong with this abalone. He and Taizao went to pull out the other abalones, only to realize that it was the same as before. It was stuck to the rocks, not moving at all. Could it be that there's something wrong with all the abalones? Jiangwen frowned. That can't be, right? These are all wild abalones, they don't look like they've been tampered with? Taizao was confused as well. Forget it, don't pull them out. Yushu wants to eat abalone, right? We'll call Ganglu when we get ashore and get him to buy a few kilos of abalones. She said it herself yesterday, we don't have to go to the sea to eat seafood. Jiangwen said. That's true. Taizao and Jiangwen went ashore together, giving up on the idea of pulling abalones. He went back to the tent and called Ganglu, asking him to buy a few kilos of abalones and some shark meat. Jiangwen seems to have given up on pulling abalones. Xiao Xiao said as she looked at the shore. How about we mess with him again? Yushu blinked as an idea formed in her mind. Sure. Oh. Xiao Xiao didn't even need to think about it before agreeing. You just have to do this. Yushu and Xiao Xiao started plotting. It didn't take long for the two to get ashore and walk towards Jiangwen. Jiangwen bro, come here, I'll tell you a secret. Yushu waved at Jiangwen. What secret? Jiangwen didn't dare delay. He knew that Yushu's secret might not be something good, but he still walked over. Come closer. Yushu gestured for Jiangwen to crouch down. She wasn't as tall as Jiangwen, so naturally she couldn't reach his ear. What is it? Jiangwen crouched down. Yushu put her mouth close to Jiangwen's ear and suddenly screamed. Wah! Jiangwen jumped up in fright from Yushu's sudden scream. His ears were ringing from the shockwave, and he was almost deafened by Yushu. Jiangwen was a little pissed off. Wasn't Yushu a little too much? It was fine if she was messing around, but was she trying to scare him to death? Chapter 1160. Chapter 1158. Why didn't you tell me? No, Jiangwen bro, I really wanted to tell you a secret. Yushu said, feeling wronged. You really wanted to tell me a secret? What kind of secret do you want to tell me? Jiangwen frowned. Bro, bad news. Something big happened. Taizao ran over from not too far away, panting as he spoke. Wait a minute, what's going on? Wait for Lil Sis Shu to tell me the secret first. Jiangwen waved his hand, gesturing for Taizao to calm down. Jiangwen bro, I actually wanted to tell you. Xiao Xiao wants to put a crab in your pants. Yushu said. Then tell me. Why did you yell all of a sudden? Are you trying to deafen me? Jiangwen looked at Yushu helplessly. No, I yelled because Xiao Xiao came just now and she put crabs in your pants. I saw it and jumped in fright. Yushu said embarrassedly. Gah. Jiangwen jumped up again, holding his crotch with both hands as cold sweat dripped down his forehead. I pinched my balls, it hurts. Oh, Jiangwen bro, I've told you the secret. I'll be going first, keep your balls hurting. Yushu waved at Jiangwen and turned to leave. Jiangwen held his crotch as he jumped up and down, not daring to take off his pants in front of everyone. He could only run into the tent. Once inside the tent, Jianghu quickly took off his swimming trunks, and a small crab happened to be clamping onto Jianghu's balls. "Taizao, come help me, I can't use my strength." Jianghu called out, troubled. "Little crab, come down, it's not fun over there," Taizao said with his head lowered. "Are you a crab? Does it even understand what you're saying? Hurry up and help me take it down." Jianghu was very pissed off. Why was he talking to a crab at a time like this? Taizao didn't dare say much as he carefully reached out to pull the crab, only to find that Jianghu was on the verge of tears. "My balls, I pulled them. But it won't come down even if I don't." Taizao didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he should continue or stop. "Can't you be more careful? Should we break its claws first?" Jianghu said. "I'll try." Taizao nodded carefully. As a result, a great drama of wailing and howling unfolded in the tent, and a real pain in the ass was born. Yushu and Xiaoxiao, on the other hand, went back to playing with Lin Yi, Mengyao, and Tang Yunxiao as if nothing had happened. "What happened to Jianghu? I think he's injured?" Mengyao didn't know what was wrong with Jianghu. Jianghu's cries were so shrill that even Mengyao could hear them from afar. "His balls are hurting," Yushu said. "Balls? Balls?" Mengyao's face reddened. Balls were a common phrase in the internet, but it was mostly used by men. Girls didn't have balls after all, and it wasn't elegant to say that out loud. Mengyao especially didn't know how to say that. Naturally, she felt a little embarrassed hearing Yushu say that. But Mengyao was a little puzzled. Why was Jianghu having balls all of a sudden? "His balls got clamped by a crab," Xiaoxiao explained. "Huh." Mengyao paused. She didn't know what it felt like to have his balls clamped by a crab, but it probably wasn't a good feeling. Why is he so unlucky? Why is he getting that? "I put the crab there," Xiaoxiao said. Mengyao's head ached, so it was Xiaoxiao's doing? Looking at Yushu's face, it was probably the two's teamwork. Jianghu sure was unlucky running into these two devils. "Nothing bad will happen to him, right?" Mengyao asked worriedly. "Nope, it's just a small crab. It'll get hurt at most, but it won't die," Yushu said. Jianghu finally managed to pull the crab off with all his might, but his balls were broken as well, and the pain made him jump up and down. "Motherfucker, stupid crab. I'll stomp you to death." Jianghu stepped on the crab after he got it off. But because it was sand, the crab wasn't affected at all. Once he stepped on it, the crab shot out its claws and clamped onto Jianghu's toes again. "Ouch." Jianghu cried out again. Half an hour later, Jianghu limped out of the tent, holding his balls. His balls and toes were all bandaged up and he was in pain. He asked Taizao as he walked, "Right, you said something big happened just now, that you had something big to report to me. What happened?" Jianghu remembered that Taizao wanted to talk to him about something, but Yushu had scared him out of his mind, so he didn't pay much attention to it. "Just like this, and bro. I wanted to tell you that Xiaoxiao threw a crab in your pants, but there's no need now," Taizao said bitterly. "What?" Jianghu almost jumped up from the ground. "You're saying Xiaoxiao threw the crab? You saw it? Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Jianghu remembered that the crab hadn't even bitten the eggs when Taizao was yelling. Did that mean that this wouldn't have happened if he'd found out in time? Jianghu's face turned very ugly at the thought. "But I wanted to tell you earlier, but you told me to wait until Lil Sishu told you the secret," Taizao said weakly. "What?" Jianghu paused, but thinking about it, that was indeed the case. He was the one who asked Taizao to wait for a bit. Jianghu could only blame it on his bad luck. Who could he blame for this? Jianghu looked at Yushu and Xiaoxiao with a hint of hatred in his eyes, but they were Mingyao's friends and he couldn't do anything about it. If he did, they'd just say it was a joke. What could he do? And so, Jianghu gritted his teeth and endured the pain, pretending to be fine as he walked towards the beach. Chapter 1161. Chapter 1159, You're a brave man, Jianghu bro, how are you? Where's that crap? Yushu's first sentence hit Jianghu's sore spot. Jianghu's face froze, but he didn't want Mengyao to look down on him. He pretended to be calm and said nonchalantly, "It's just a little crab, what can it do to me?" Mengyao didn't know what to say, but Jianghu didn't want Mengyao to underestimate him. "Wow, Jianghu bro, you're so strong? Your balls are fine?" Yushu's eyes were filled with admiration. "Of course it's fine, I've trained before. I got caught by a crab once when I was young and I've been training ever since I was free. As of now, a single crab is useless against me," Jianghu said proudly. "The same move is nothing to me." "Oh, Jianghu bro's a steel egg. Then the girl who marries you will definitely be blessed," Yushu said enviously. "Ah, you can't say that, but I'm sure she'll be blessed. Jiang Wen thought that Yushu was quite adorable at times like this, praising him in front of Meng Yao. It seemed like it was a good thing that he'd gotten his balls pinched between his legs. Jiang Wen bro, you're a brave and strong man, Yushu said sincerely. Of course Yao Yao Lil Sis likes brave men. I'm developing in that direction. Jiang Wen nodded. Oh, since you're fine then go catch the shark. We're waiting to eat it, Yushu said. What? Jiang Wen paused, realizing that he'd fallen into Yushu's trap. Yushu kept complimenting him on how brave and strong he was, and now she wanted him to go catch a shark? He couldn't say no to that either. Fighting with sharks is a very dangerous thing and you guys are playing in the sea right now. Let's just forget about it, it's not good to cause a bloody mess. Jiang Wen had a plan in mind. I've already told Gang Lu to buy some abalone and shark meat from the supermarket. They'll be here soon so we don't need to catch them anymore. Oh, that's not the same. The sharks in the supermarket are dead, frozen and not fresh. Sister Yao Yao prefers to eat fresh sharks. Yushu said, plus Yao Yao likes the process of a warrior fighting a shark, not the result. Eating the shark is secondary, you just want to enjoy the fruit of your victory. If it's a shark killed by someone else, Yao Yao won't eat it. I see. Yushu's words made Jiang Wen's blood boil, but he wasn't an idiot. He knew what he was capable of. His body wasn't even enough to fill the gap between the shark's teeth, let alone fight it. But in order to not lose face in front of Meng Yao, Jiang Wen hesitated. Naturally, I've been thinking about that too. It's been a while since I've fought a shark and I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable. You also know that a brave person like me will feel uncomfortable if I don't do something brave for a period of time. But sharks aren't easy to come by. This is shallow water. Sharks don't usually come here, so this thing can only depend on luck. Jiang Wen's words were very clear. He wanted to catch sharks, but there weren't any here, so it wasn't his fault, was it? Jiang Wen wasn't wrong. There weren't any sharks in shallow water, so there was no way to catch one even if he wanted to. Let's try it then. Cut your finger and attract the shark. Yushu nodded. There were indeed sharks around here. When he fell into the water with Lin Yi and when Pin Liang organized the trip, they'd all met sharks. Yushu thought that Jiang Wen would be lucky to meet a shark this time. All right. Jiang Wen thought that this little bit of blood would be diluted very quickly, and the sharks wouldn't be able to get close. He turned to Taizao. Taizao, cut your finger and attract the shark. How come it's me? Taizao pointed at himself, a little troubled. Me if not you? Jiang Wen glared at him. Hurry up, don't delay me from fighting the shark. All right. Taizao gritted his teeth and went to cut his finger. But this time Jiang Wen had miscalculated. He didn't know anything about sharks at all, or he wouldn't have said something stupid like breaking a shark's teeth with one punch. If you dropped a drop of blood in the ocean, the shark would be able to smell it from a quarter of a mile away. Sharks were especially sensitive to odors in the ocean, especially the smell of blood. Injured fish would make low-frequency vibrations, and even small amounts of blood would attract them from afar. Their sense of smell was even better than that of a land dog's. They could smell blood at 1 ppm, 1 millionth, in the water, meaning that their sense of smell could detect 1 drop of blood in a million drops of seawater. A 1-meter-long shark's nose was filled with olfactory nerve endings up to 4,842 square centimeters, like a 5 to 7 meter long man-eater shark. Its sense of smell was so sensitive that it could smell the blood of injured people and marine animals from several kilometers away. Taizao, on the other hand, had more than 1 drop of blood. If there were sharks nearby, it would be strange if he didn't attract them. Yao Yao Shu Yun Yun Xiao Xiao, let's go ashore. What if there are sharks? Lin Yi, on the other hand, knew that Taizao's actions would attract sharks, and so he prepared for them to go ashore to hide. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to protect all 4 of them at the same time if the shark really came. Don't be caught off guard. Seeing how serious Lin Yi was, the miss didn't say much. She nodded. All right Shu, let's go rest for a bit. We'll get some sun. Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao naturally listened to Lin Yi. Lin Yi had his reasons for telling them to go ashore. That's good too. Only brave people can fight a terrifying existence like sharks. Jiang Wen was a bit surprised at Lin Yi's cowardice, but the more cowardly Lin Yi was, the happier Jiang Wen was. Only Lin Yi's cowardice could highlight his bravery. Lin Yi smiled faintly and didn't say anything. If Jiang Wen wanted to be stupid, then let him be. He'd know what fear felt like when the sharks were attracted. Chapter 1162. Chapter 1160, Caring? Then watch me. Jiang Wen walked into the sea proudly. As far as he was concerned, sharks couldn't possibly appear on this shallow beach. However, he had only taken 2 steps when something that shocked him to the core happened. A shark's fin appeared on the calm surface of the sea, and it was swimming towards him at high speed. Wah! Jiang Wen's eyes went wide. He never would have thought that a shark would actually come. Tai Zhao, on the other hand, didn't seem to realize the danger that was coming. He was standing in the sea like an idiot, dripping blood into the water with his finger. His head was lowered, however, and he didn't see the shark swimming towards him. Jiang Wen's face froze. He didn't know if he should run or go forward. He'd be safe if he ran, but he'd lose his face in front of Meng Yao. He'd lost a lot of face this time. But he didn't dare go forward. How was he a match for a shark? Wasn't going to die if he went forward? With that thought, Jiang Wen sweated profusely. He couldn't make a choice. Jiang Wen bro, you can do it. Jiang Wen bro, you can do it. Yushu cheered. You can do it. Yao Yao loves watching heroes fight sharks. Jiang Wen's expression was worse than if he were crying. He wasn't an idiot. Fighting a shark like this was suicide. Tai Zhao, on the other hand, heard Yushu's yell. He paused and looked up to see the shark swimming towards him at breakneck speed, jumping up in fright. He didn't dare let any more blood into the water, and started running away immediately. Jiang Wen's mental defenses crumbled as he watched Tai Zhao run off. He turned around and ran with Tai Zhao. Jiang Wen bro, why aren't you fighting sharks anymore? Yushu looked at Jiang Wen strangely. Oh, I suddenly feel sorry for the shark. Look at how small it is, it must be a baby shark. It hasn't been in this world for long, and it'd be too pitiful if I killed it. Jiang Wen said with an idea. So I decided to let it go. I see. Yushu nodded thoughtfully. Of course I'm very compassionate. Jiang Wen nodded quickly after seeing that Yushu believed him. Oh okay, but Jiang Wen bro, there's a big shark over there. I'll leave it to you. Yushu pointed at the sea. What? Jiang Wen looked in the direction Yushu was pointing at and almost jumped up. A shark that was even bigger than the previous one was swimming towards them. Judging from the size of its fin, it was several times bigger than the previous shark. Jiang Wen was dumbfounded. He really wanted to slap himself a few times. What kind of mouth was this? Why was it so effective? He had just casually mentioned it and a bigger shark had come. He really didn't know what to do. Jiang Wen, what's wrong? Is this shark also a baby shark? Could it be a little shark with obesity? Yushu giggled. You're young, aren't you? Of course not. Jiang Wen wanted to say what Yushu said, but since Yushu had already said it, it wouldn't be good if he repeated it. He laughed dryly. I think this shark must be related to the baby shark. They're a family. This is a mother shark and she's afraid that I'll kill the baby shark, so the old one came to protect it. If I kill the old one, then the baby shark won't have a mother anymore. It's so pitiful, so I've decided to let them go. Yao Yao sis, don't blame me. It's not that I don't want to give you shark meat, it's just that I'm too compassionate. Jiang Wen's words were full of loopholes, and even Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. But Meng Yao was different from Yushu. She wouldn't expose Jiang Wen, only looking down on him in her heart. How could someone like this be called brave? Finally, after the two sharks circled the nearby waters, they did not find their target, and swam away after finding nothing. Only then did Jiang Wen let out a breath of relief, his face a little awkward. He didn't know if Meng Yao believed him or not, but he couldn't tell from Meng Yao's expression at all. Meng Yao was still as calm and expressionless as ever. But just when Jiang Wen didn't know what to do, someone came to his rescue. Was Gang Lu. At this moment, Gang Lu was driving a Toyota off-road vehicle to the beach. He stopped the car and ran towards Jiang Wen with the abalone and shark meat he just bought from the supermarket. And bro, I've bought everything according to your orders. The abalone is the highest grade of Hokkaido abalone. It's very precious and the shark meat is very fresh. Gang Lu said as he handed the two big bags to Jiang Wen. Jiang Wen was overjoyed at the sight. Now that the seafood was here, he didn't need to go into the sea to fish it, and he didn't need to fight the shark. Gang Lu, good job. Jiang Wen took the bag with a smile. But the bag wasn't even in Jiang Wen's hands for a second before Yushu snatched it away. Jiang Wen bro, you're a kind person. These abalones are alive, you can't bear to eat them, right? And the shark meat. You didn't even bear to kill sharks before, so you definitely wouldn't eat their meat. So, in order to prevent you from being a heartless person, leave this to us. You be the good guy and we'll be the bad guy. Yushu said confidently, and Jiang Wen couldn't refute her at all. If he were to retort, then all that love and whatnot would be bullshit. So, Jiang Wen could only swallow his pride and keep it to himself. This was delicious seafood and Jiang Wen wanted to try it himself, but he didn't expect that because of what he said before, he wouldn't be able to. But the more it was like this, the more Jiang Wen couldn't say anything. He had to act like he didn't care and said calmly, naturally, I won't eat it. who told me to be a kind person. Then I'll give it all to you. Jiangwen's heart was bleeding. Fuck, he wouldn't have bragged if he knew this was going to happen. Wasn't he just asking for trouble? Forget it, he'd go back and eat the lamb skewers from yesterday. There was still a lot left and it was enough. Chapter 1163. Leave nothing behind. Jiangwen bro's so kind, he's probably a vegetarian, right? He still has some lamb skewers and stuff, we can share them with him, can't we? We can't let him be so heartless. Xiao Xiao reminded. Wah. Jiangwen's eyes went wide, almost fainting from the rage. How was he supposed to live like this? Not only did he take the seafood, but he was also trying to kill them all? Even the lamb skewers? All right, I forgot. Then let's go get them, Jiangwen bro. Yushu slapped her forehead as realization dawned on her. Of course. Jiangwen gave Yushu a smile that was uglier than a crying face. And so, a strange scene unfolded on the beach. Lin Yi, Mingyao, Yushu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao were all enjoying the barbecue together, while Jiangwen, Taizao and Gang Lu stood at a distance, looking at them enviously. They wanted to cry but no tears came out. Taizao, what else do we have to eat? Jiangwen asked bitterly. I've given out everything here, I wonder what else Gang Lu has? Taizao turned to Gang Lu. I bought some canned beer from the supermarket, but we don't have any seafood left. We can't just eat beer, can we? Gang Lu shrugged with a bitter smile. Is there nothing else other than beer? Taizao asked. There's still a few cups of instant noodles. Gang Lu said. Instant noodles are fine too, we'll just make do with it. There's an electric kettle in the car, right? Let's boil some water. Jiangwen thought that it was better than nothing, it didn't feel good to be hungry. But, there's no water and bro? Gang Lu said weakly. Instant noodles need water and there's only beer here. We can't just use beer for instant noodles, can we? Isn't there seawater? You idiot, why don't you just get some seawater and boil it? We can use it as seafood noodles. Jiangwen pointed at the sea, furious. This Gang Lu really was an idiot. There was so much water in front of them and he said there was no water? What kind of look was that? But the seawater is salty. Taizao asked, confused. Wouldn't it be less salty if you added less seasoning? Jiangwen glared. Thus, the three of them ate seafood noodles and drank beer. It was quite a unique experience. And bro, this noodles is pretty good. So fresh. Taizao didn't have enough after one bowl and made another. Of course, don't you know who I am? Jiangwen said proudly. Lin Yi and the others, on the other hand, were eating happily, especially Yushu and Xiao Xiao. Their mouths were covered in grease, and they looked like hungry ghosts coming back to life. Lin Yi, honey, try Xiao Xiao's abalone, it's super delicious. Xiao Xiao picked up an extremely large abalone, dipped it in seasoning and put it next to Lin Yi's mouth. Oh, okay. Lin Yi opened his mouth, his imagination running wild. Smiling abalone? Delicious. On the other side, Yushu naturally didn't want to be outdone. She looked at Xiao Xiao with disdain. Abalone. Naturally, Yushu knew what it meant. It was often said on the forums. It used to be called abalone, but now it was called fungus, and so, it didn't matter if Xiao Xiao was doing this on purpose or not. As her number one opponent, Yushu began to retaliate. She picked up a cup of milk tea and gave it to Lin Yi. Shield bro, you're thirsty, right? Drink some of Shu's milk, huh? Lin Yi almost couldn't hold it in. These two were doing this on purpose, weren't they? Yes, it did seem like it. Lin Yi took the milk tea from Yushu's hands and took a sip. Jiangwen's eyes went red as he watched Lin Yi's side eat so happily. That's our stuff and Lin Yi took it. What a bully. Taizao threw away the bowl in his hand. And bro, are we going to get revenge? Gang Lu asked carefully. Revenge? What revenge? Lin Yi's a mystic and I'm not an idiot. The three of us aren't even enough to warm up for him. Jiangwen knew his situation very well. This Lin Yi was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He'd been tricked a couple of times already, even losing his kidney. Of course we can't fight him head-on. Why don't we play some tricks? As Taizao's number one strategist, Gang Lu was quite good at scheming. Tricks. You think you can win against Yushu and Xiao Xiao? Jiangwen rolled his eyes. My balls are hurting right now. Gang Lu went silent. Going head-on didn't work and playing dirty didn't work either. What else could he do? Gang Lu was right. Jiangwen really didn't have any tricks up his sleeve right now. Before a new master arrived, Jiangwen really didn't have anything he could rely on. Jiangwen didn't want to get into a conflict with Lin Yi, but he wanted to use soft tactics to get on Mingyao's good side. At noon there were more and more tourists at the beach. This place wasn't a safe swimming area, but the environment was good. Many people who came to the beach for barbecue would choose this place. Of course, most people would leave after they were done barbecuing. Very few people would stay the night or swim here. They'd set up camp at the beach. After all, not many people were as brave as Linny, not afraid of sharks. Driving a Q7 and a Land Cruiser to the beach to eat instant noodles? Which family's young masters are they from? Are they trying to act cool? I think they're probably rentals? Not necessarily. Look at how they use seawater to cook noodles. Maybe they have a special hobby? Maybe they just like that? Or maybe they got robbed. They took all the good food they brought and now they can only eat instant noodles? The Truth Emperor appeared, but no one believed him. There's no robbery in this area. Why aren't we robbed? Someone retorted. Jianghu's face darkened when he heard the tourists talking about him. He stood up with a fierce face and looked at the crowd. What are you looking at? I like instant noodles. What's wrong with that? Seawater boiled noodles are called seafood noodles. Normal people can't even get to eat that. The crowd started snickering and Jianghu got even angrier. But the law couldn't punish everyone and he couldn't go looking for trouble one by one, could he? He wouldn't be a match for them if they ganged up on him. With that thought, Jianghu could only swallow his anger. Let's go. Let's go. There was no point in staying here any longer. Meng Yao and the others would go back after eating. After all, no one would stay here for 2 nights straight. Chapter 1164. Chapter 1162, Xie Yufeng again. The 12th grade classes were quite tight, and the Miss Xu and Tang Yun all had to go back and study. I'm so full. Yushu held her round belly as she laid on the beach, not willing to move. It's so delicious. That Ganglu sure is a nice guy buying so much good stuff. Xiao Xiao burped. She couldn't take it anymore. That's right. Meng Yao and Tang Yun, on the other hand, were more gentlemanly. They were the type who only tasted a little, and wouldn't keep eating just because the food was delicious. Isn't that Linny? There's also Meng Yao, Yushu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao? A familiar voice rang out just as they were about to rest. Linny raised his head, not expecting Xie Yufeng to be here. Linny was a bit surprised to see Xie Yufeng here and now. Xie Yufeng? Your car is fixed? Linny was already suspicious of Xie Yufeng's parentage. This guy hid his strength in front of him, so naturally, Linny wouldn't be too close with him. His attitude towards Xie Yufeng had always been cold. It's just a car. I bought another one. Xie Yufeng's eyes flashed with hatred. If it weren't for Linny, he wouldn't be the one giving money to someone else, but someone else giving him money. This damned guy always appearing when he wanted to show his strength. Wasn't he just making things difficult for him? Originally, Xie Yufeng didn't want to greet Linny today, but thinking of the heavy responsibility his family gave him, he had to investigate Lin Yi's background. He had to pretend to get close to Lin Yi, hoping to get some information from Lin Yi. From his observation, other than Meng Yao, Yushu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi didn't seem to have any contact with anyone else. This brat seems to be flirting with girls all day long. Meng Yao, Yushu and Xiao Xiao's backgrounds were obvious to Yufeng. Other than Tang Yun, who was a commoner, all 3 of them had some background. However, all 3 of them got along very well with Lin Yi. It had to be said that Lin Yi was very powerful. If he didn't have a bit of skill, he wouldn't have been able to get the favor of these 3 girls. Could it be that Lin Yi was really a disciple of a hidden family, or even someone from an ancient sect? The more Yufeng interacted with Lin Yi, the more he couldn't figure out Lin Yi's background, so he didn't dare to act rashly. He was a prideful person, thinking that he could kill Lin Yi with one move, but after all these setbacks he had calmed down. He was waiting for the Xiao family to make the first move. He didn't have much hope before, since the Xiao family had fallen to a certain point, and they couldn't even take care of themselves. How would they have the time to cause trouble for Lin Yi? But now the Xiao family had the support of the Hidden House Pai, and the people Lin Yi injured were from the Hidden House Pai, so Yufeng didn't want to be the one to take the lead. Letting the Xiao family take the lead and kill Lin Yi would be the best. Even if they didn't kill Lin Yi, they would be able to find out more about Lin Yi's background. Yufeng wasn't an idiot. He had a more important mission right now, and that was to hit on Lingshan. This was the genius girl of House Song, and she was very pretty. He heard that House Song's arts were very suitable for dual practicing, and once he got her in his bed, wouldn't his kung fu improve by leaps and bounds? He heard that the old man of House Song was a useless martial artist, yet he was forcefully pushed to the late phase of Golden Class. He was a genius, so wouldn't he be able to go straight to Earth Class? With that thought, Yufeng abandoned all his previous plans and gave up on the girl beside Lin Yi. This wasn't a joke. Lingshan was working in Songshan, and if she knew that he was hitting on girls in school, her impression of him would plummet. It wasn't uncommon for noble houses to have multiple wives and concubines, but there were some things that didn't matter. Plus, Xie Yufeng hadn't even gotten married yet, and he was already thinking about getting a concubine? That was a huge taboo. And so, Yufeng calmed down and didn't target Lin Yi. He was just a little puzzled. Why wasn't the Shao family making a move yet? What were they waiting for? Oh, do you have anything else? If not, we'll be leaving. Lin Yi looked at Yufeng. He didn't want to talk to him anymore. Alright, you guys have fun, I'll be leaving. Yufeng nodded and turned around, his face a little dark. Yufeng came here today to check things out. He'd heard from his contacts in the Songshan police station that Lingshan was on leave tomorrow and the day after. He wasn't surprised at all, since different departments had different rules when it came to holidays. It was normal for Lingshan to be on duty during the holidays. Yufeng planned to officially invite Lingshan over tomorrow, but he wasn't very familiar with the tourist attractions around Songshan. In order to avoid a situation where he had to make a last-minute effort, he decided to come over first to check things out. So today he drove around with Penghu and Songming, but didn't expect to bump into Lin Yi. Yufeng brought some barbecue ingredients today, planning to practice with Penghu and Songming. It was also a way to practice his barbecue skills. And so, after Yufeng came back from Lin Yi's place, the three sat on the ground ready to start barbecuing. Lin Yi glanced at Yufeng and the others, not bothering with them. After resting for a bit, the five were about to leave when Lin Yi saw someone he didn't expect. Chen Shi, the girl Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao met at the beef noodle shop. She was with an old man picking up trash on the beach with a sack. This area was filled with people who came by themselves to barbecue and barbecue. The beer bottles and soft drinks were also thrown on the ground. There were even some rich people who didn't even want the iron skewers and grill from the mutton skewers. They just threw them on the beach and left. Therefore, every holiday and weekend, if one were to scavenge here, they would have a good harvest. Chen Shi's harvest today was quite a lot. One could tell from her blushing face that she was very happy. But Lin Yi's eyes landed on the old man beside Chen Shi. A mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner? Lin Yi's eyes were about to fall out of their sockets. A mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner coming out to pick up trash? Why was this world full of weird situations? Chapter 1165. Conflict and lesson. Lin Yi wanted to observe this old man for a bit, just what was going on with him. Chen Shi and the old man shuttled past the tourists barbecuing on the beach, picking up the beverage cans and beer bottles that they threw around. Many people looked at them with disgust and disdain. Of course, Chen Shi didn't notice Lin Yi. She probably didn't have time to pay attention to other people. Her attention was all on the bottles. Soon, Chen Shi walked to Yufeng's side. Just like before, she picked up a beer can beside Yufeng, but after picking it up, she realized something was wrong. There was still beer in the beer bar, it wasn't empty. Chen Shi quickly put it down, but her actions were clearly seen by Xie Yufeng. Yufeng was furious and pointed at Chen Shi. "Little bitch, what are you doing?" "I'm sorry. I thought it was an empty can." Chen Shi quickly apologized to Yufeng. This had happened before, but Chen Shi could only swallow it. After all, she was here to pick up trash, so it was her responsibility. Some tourists were unreasonable, but Chen Shi couldn't do anything about it. "Sorry? Sorry is enough? Fuck, I'm so unlucky." Yufeng was happily eating, a mouthful of meat and a mouthful of beer, but Chen Shi almost took the beer away. Although he put it down in the end, looking at Chen Shi's dirty face, could the beer still be drinkable after she touched it? With that in mind, Yufeng picked up the half-empty can of beer that Chen Shi touched and threw it at Chen Shi, causing the beer to spill all over Chen Shi's body. The old man beside Chen Shi wasn't spared either. He was also drenched in beer. "Kid, you should forgive people when you can, don't you think you're going a bit too far?" The old man frowned as well. He didn't think that Yufeng would be this arrogant. He'd had some conflicts with other people when he was picking up trash, but they'd just scold him a little and let it go. Yufeng didn't do this, pouring beer all over other people's bodies. "Too far? Old man, let me tell you, if she wasn't a little girl, I'd have slapped her in the face if it were you." This was already considered light. What the hell was that? How dare you meddle in other people's business? Xie Yufeng was humiliated by Lin Yi, and then he was beaten up by Iron Fist Wu and extorted a large sum of money from him. Naturally, he was in a bad mood. He wanted to find someone to vent his anger on, and these two scavengers came to him. Chen Shi was indeed very pretty, on par with Meng Yao and the others, but she was wearing tattered clothes and a straw hat, which made her look less attractive. What was Xie Yufeng's background as well? The young master of House Yu. In his eyes, people like Chen Shi were the lowest of the low. So what if she was pretty? Even if it looked good, he wouldn't bother to do it for free. He felt that it would be a loss of face. If people knew that he, the young master of House Yu, had a girl that picked up trash, wouldn't he be the laughingstock of the other houses? So Xie Yufeng didn't care about the fairer sex. He just wanted to use this as an excuse to vent his anger. I was going to let this go, but since you're meddling in other people's business, I've changed my mind. Kneel down and kowtow to me and I'll let this go. Otherwise, I'll call the police and arrest you. Xie Yufeng felt much better after saying this. The anger that he had been holding in for so many days was finally released. During this period of time he was simply too aggrieved, almost suffocating to death. He was the young master of House Yu, and he hadn't even achieved anything yet. How much had he suffered? He couldn't do anything to Lin Yi for now, but this old scavenger dared to talk to him like this? Did he really think that he was a tiger that got bullied by a dog? Call the police? It's not like we're breaking the law. What right do you have to arrest us? She looked at Xie Yufeng, unconvinced. She had already apologized, but this guy didn't let it go. He even asked Grandpa Zhu to kneel. Damn it. Picking up trash? You stole my beer, did you think I didn't see it? My two friends here are witnesses and they can see it clearly. And I'm not afraid to tell you that my fiancée is a police. Do you think she'll believe me or you? Xie Yufeng said proudly. At this point, he had already treated Ling Shan as his fiancée. As far as Xie Yufeng was concerned, this was a marriage between two families, and House Song must have notified Ling Shan already. Although the two houses weren't officially engaged, the two heads of the houses had discussed it, and it was basically set in stone. There wouldn't be any problems. Next, it would be a matter of whether or not the two of them got along well. As long as the two didn't have too big of a conflict and got along well, the next step would be to discuss the marriage. Unless the two of them didn't see eye to eye with each other, or if there was a bigger conflict, they would consider it. Of course, in many cases, for the sake of face, even if the two of them didn't get along, they would still force the marriage for the sake of the big picture. After all, it was already decided, and if they broke up because of some reason, it wouldn't look good. Grandpa Zhu's eyes flashed coldly. As a mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner, he wouldn't have come out to pick up trash if he wasn't asked by the head of the house. But this little young master actually wanted him to kneel down. How could he take it? Yufeng's arrogant attitude had triggered Grandpa Zhu's murderous intent. He decided to teach this arrogant bastard a lesson. If he wasn't afraid of trouble, he would have killed him on the spot. Good, very good. Grandpa Zhu didn't get angry but smiled instead. He reached out to pat Yufeng's body. It looked like he was patting Yufeng's shoulder, but it was actually filled with killing intent. A mystic peak like Grandpa Zhu had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. What he wanted to do was to pour his pure qi into Yufeng's body. Yufeng might be fine right now, but this pure qi would stay in his body for a long time to come, causing him pain all over his body and tormenting him. Of course, this was only for normal people. To a master, this little bit of qi could be refined. Lin Yi often used these kinds of tricks, but Lin Yi was much better than Grandpa Zhu. Chapter 1166. They were all hidden. So for normal practitioners, this move could only transfer a limited amount of qi. But Lin Yi was different. Lin Yi could compress qi, which meant that in the same amount of time, Lin Yi could transfer more qi. So the effect of Lin Yi's move was much higher than Grandpa Zhu's. Lin Yi's move could even deal with high-leveled practitioners. You can refine a little bit of qi, but I'll give you a lot of it. Let's see how you refine it. Even if you can, it's not something that can be done in a day, and if you refine too much of it, you might even go crazy. Wasn't Yao Wang in the same situation? His entire body was covered in needles, and under each needle was the compressed energy sealed by Lin Yi. Unless Yao Wang used all his strength to refine it bit by bit, or he had some miraculous medicine, or he had the help of a master, but Yao Wang didn't have any of that right now. He could only endure the needles every day. He was angry, but there was nothing he could do. But what Grandpa Zhu didn't expect was that when he reached out to transfer the energy into Xie Yufeng's body, an accident happened. Xie Yufeng dodged Grandpa Zhu's palm effortlessly, tilting his body to the side. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Mystic late phase peak? Mystic early phase peak? Grandpa Zhu paused as well. He wanted to teach Xie Yufeng a lesson, but he didn't expect this person to be a master as well. Wasn't this a bit too dramatic? He was just picking up trash at the beach and he met a mystic class master? Grandpa Zhu was surprised at Xie Yufeng's age, but he was also worried. It wasn't that he was afraid of Xie Yufeng's strength, but that his identity would be exposed. All these years he'd been following the orders of the head of the house, staying by Chen Shi and her mother's side. He'd never made a single mistake, but now something like this happened. Luckily, Chen Shi didn't understand the division of strength in the martial world, and she wouldn't understand what Xie Yufeng meant. With that thought, Grandpa Zhu calmed down. Young man, apologize to us and we'll let this matter go. Otherwise, Since the other party already knew his strength, there was no need for Grandpa Zhu to speak softly. He directly threatened him in a cold voice. Apologize. Which family are you from? Yufeng wasn't afraid at all. He stared at the old man, thinking that this old man must belong to some family. As long as he said that he was from House Yu, this old man wouldn't dare do anything to him. Which family are you from? Grandpa Zhu frowned. I'm from House Yu. Yufeng said proudly, if you know what's good for you then scram. Don't get in my way or else House Yu. Which House Yu? Grandpa Zhu asked indifferently. House Yu, haven't you heard of them? The head of the 9 noble houses. Xie Yufeng humphed. I thought it was the hidden House Yu, but it's just the common House Yu. Grandpa Zhu said faintly. Since you don't want to apologize, take this. With that, Grandpa Zhu was about to slap him. However, before Grandpa Zhu could slap him, he heard a voice shouting, Wait a minute. Linny, why are you here? Yufeng gritted his teeth, his eyes bloodshot. Master Lin was here again. Yufeng almost spat out blood when he heard this voice. It was already hard enough for him to fight a mystic late-phase peak with his early-phase peak strength, but Lin Yi suddenly appeared. He had no choice but to hide his strength. Wasn't he just waiting for a beating? But the one who was the most depressed wasn't Yufeng but Grandpa Zhu. When he heard Yufeng call out Lin Yi's name, he was shocked and quickly retracted his qi. After this period of investigation, he already knew who this Lin Yi Qinshi was. He was just thinking about how to stop Lin Yi from causing trouble, but before he could think of anything, he ran into Lin Yi. The reason why Lin Yi appeared at this time was to test this Grandpa Zhu who was with Chen Shi. As far as Lin Yi was concerned, a mystic late-phase peak master hiding by Chen Shi's side was something unimaginable. A mystic coming out to pick up trash? Unless he had some sort of special hobby or he was crazy. Of course, this Grandpa Zhu didn't look crazy, but it didn't make sense to say that it was a hobby. Lin Yi had never heard of a master with this hobby unless there was a purpose. With that thought, Lin Yi's eyes focused and walked over. It's nothing, I know this girl, so I'm asking for mercy on her behalf. Let's just forget about this. Lin Yi pointed at Chen Shi, saying that he was asking for mercy, but in fact he was using an unquestionable tone, making Yufeng unable to refute. Yufeng knew that this wasn't the time to be enemies with Lin Yi, and he had to give face to Lin Yi, so he took the chance and said, since you're Lin classmate's friend, then let's forget about this. Okay, you guys continue. Lin Yi said as he pulled Chen Shi to the side. The meaning behind his words was clear. He knew this little girl, but he didn't know this old man. You can continue with this old man. Yufeng paused, but he could clearly feel that the old man in front of him also retracted his qi. This made Yufeng confused. He was afraid that Lin Yi would see through his strength, but this old man was also afraid that Lin Yi would see through his strength? Otherwise, why would he hide his strength the moment Lin Yi came? Grandpa Zhu retracted his gaze and walked towards Lin Yi and Chen Shi, not talking to Yufeng anymore. At this moment, Yufeng was even more certain of his suspicion. This old man was definitely afraid of his strength being exposed. Otherwise, why did this old thing act as if nothing had happened just now when he was still clamoring that he would let him take a slap from him? Yufeng analyzed and came to a conclusion. This old man and Lin Yi had some sort of secret just like him. As if he was on steroids, he got excited and pointed at Grandpa Zhu. Old man, don't go. Didn't you want to hit me? Take a slap from me first. As soon as he finished, he raised his fist and punched the old man's back. Chapter 1167. Chapter 1165, Stupid or Genius. Yufeng was overjoyed as soon as his fist hit the target. As expected, his guess was right. This old man was the same as him, hiding something. He was hiding his strength as well. At the thought of this, Xie Yufeng raised his fist and punched again and again. Without qi, Yufeng could still teach this old man a lesson. Grandpa Zhu was stronger than Yufeng, but under the situation where neither of them used qi, Yufeng had the upper hand. Yufeng was a young man, so he had the upper hand in terms of stamina. Qi aside, Yufeng's physique was far stronger than an old man's, and so Yufeng started beating the old man up. Chen Shi didn't think that Yufeng would start beating people up in the blink of an eye. She jumped in shock. Seeing Lin Yi's surprise and joy, Chen Shi's face turned to worry. Big brother, don't you know that person? Can you stop him from beating Grandpa Zhu? My words might not work. Your Grandpa Zhu was so cocky that he wanted to slap him. He was the one who provoked him, I couldn't do anything about it. Lin Yi said helplessly. But it looks like your Grandpa Zhu has a trump card. He won't get hurt, it'll be fine. Chen Shi didn't really understand what Lin Yi was saying, but Lin Yi's words did make sense. Grandpa Zhu did provoke him first, didn't he? Grandpa Zhu almost spat out blood after hearing Lin Yi's words. If you didn't come, wouldn't I have beaten him up? Why did you come here if you had nothing to do? But Grandpa Zhu felt wronged and he couldn't say it out loud. Yu Feng's fists rained down on Grandpa Zhu's face, beating him up. But Grandpa Zhu also noticed a problem. Yu Feng didn't seem to be using qi at all. If Yu Feng was afraid of hurting him, and didn't use qi after seeing him retract his qi, Grandpa Zhu wouldn't believe it. Yu Feng wasn't that kind of person. The only possibility was that the kid was afraid of Lin Yi. It seemed like he did not dare to use his true qi. Thinking of this, Grandpa Zhu let out a sigh of relief. In this way, no matter how he hit, it would only be superficial wounds. He wouldn't be able to hurt his tendons and bones. He would endure it for now. When Lin Yi left, he would come back for revenge. Xie Yu Feng, right? Just you wait. If I don't send you to the hospital today, my surname isn't Zhu. Of course, Grandpa Zhu didn't dare to kill Xie Yu Feng. After all, he was from the common world's house Yu. What if he caused trouble for the head of the house? Lin Yi wanted Yu Feng to test Grandpa Zhu, but seeing that Grandpa Zhu wasn't even fighting back, he was sure that this guy was hiding his strength on purpose, not wanting him to find out. Then there must be something wrong with this person. After all, when Lin Yi came to mediate, it was understandable that Grandpa Zhu withdrew his true qi. But now, it seemed that he had been guarding against Lin Yi all along. Qin, how's your mom? Lin Yi turned to Qin. She's a lot better after drinking the medicine. Qin's eyes flashed with happiness when she mentioned her mom. Her mom's condition was improving, and this was her biggest wish. Thank you, Lin Yi bro. Haha, it's nothing. Lin Yi looked at Grandpa Zhu deeply, but he couldn't ask Qin face to face right now. He'd have to wait for a chance later. Xiao Xiao saw Qin and quickly walked over. Qin saw her and greeted her. Xiao Xiao sis. After the greeting, Qin's eyes turned back to Yu Feng and Grandpa Zhu. Yu Feng evidently didn't plan on letting Grandpa Zhu go. He was pissed off. He'd been holding it in for too long, hiding his strength and getting beaten up by people who weren't as strong as him. But now Yu Feng was finally feeling good. Old thing, you're hiding your strength too? Don't you feel good getting beaten up by someone who's weaker than you? But it didn't matter if Grandpa Zhu felt good or not. Yu Feng felt really good. It was a sense of accomplishment that he'd been holding back for so long. Now he felt like he'd swapped roles with the person who bullied him. This old man was probably feeling the same way he was before, right? He couldn't use his strength. Yu Feng was getting more and more excited as he fought. He wanted to return all the pain he'd been through to this old man. Xiao Xiao, let's go. Lin Yi didn't want to stay any longer. It didn't matter who this old man was or if he was good or bad. At least he wasn't hostile towards Qin right now. Lin Yi didn't have to worry about Qin being in danger. He believed that once he left, the situation would change. Yu Feng would go from being the one hitting people to being hit. Lin Yi, why didn't you stop Yu Feng? Xiao Xiao paused. She didn't expect Lin Yi to just leave like that. She was confused. Let's go back. Lin Yi gave Xiao Xiao a look and pulled her back. Xiao Xiao didn't understand what Lin Yi meant, but with Lin Yi's intelligence, there had to be a reason. She didn't say anything and just looked at Qin before leaving with Lin Yi. On the other side, Mengyao, Yushu and Tang Yun didn't like Yu Feng beating up an old man, but what surprised them was that Lin Yi didn't care at all. Mengyao wanted to say something, but Yushu looked at Grandpa Zhu and then at Yu Feng. She pulled Mengyao. Yao Yao, shield bros in the car. Let's go. I want to go home. Tang Yun wanted to say something as well, but seeing that Xiao Xiao didn't say anything, she didn't either and got in the car. It wasn't until Lin Yi started the car and drove away that Xiao Xiao spoke her mind. Lin Yi, honey, why did you let Yu Feng beat up that old man? Is that so? If Yu Feng really wanted to, the old man would have been dead already. Lin Yi smiled. Xiao Xiao blinked, not understanding what Lin Yi meant. Yushu, on the other hand, slapped her forehead. That old man is a master too. But he probably hid his strength in front of Shield Bro. Lin Yi looked back at Shu, a little surprised. He didn't expect her to be right. Chapter 1168. The situation reversed. Lin Yi didn't know the reason behind it, but since Yushu didn't want to talk about it, Lin Yi wouldn't proactively ask. After all, it might be related to other people's privacy. Yushu's words made Xiao Xiao pause. She felt that the old man was a bit suspicious, but she didn't think that he was hiding his strength. But now that Yushu said it, it made sense. Before Lin Yi walked over, the old man did force Yu Feng to apologize. If it was a normal trash picker, the first thing they would do in front of an arrogant young master like this would be to apologize over and over again. They wouldn't even have the intention to fight back, right? But this old man did, and he was very calm, as if he was very powerful. But after Lin Yi walked over, the situation flipped. The old man withered instantly, turning around and leaving without saying a word. This proved that although the old man was withered, he was still a person with strength. He still had his pride, so even if he left, he wouldn't say anything soft. Tang Yun and Meng Yao, on the other hand, remembered that Yu Feng purposely hid his strength in front of Lin Yi and got beaten up by those gangsters. Could it be that today's incident was the same as well? Lin Yi smiled and stopped the car not far away. Shu's right, but right now it's probably that old man beating Yu Feng up, right? Shu brought a complete set of equipment this time. She even brought binoculars with her. So they took out the binoculars from the trunk and looked at the beach. Sure enough, they saw a shocking scene. Yu Feng was having so much fun beating him up that he didn't even notice that Lin Yi had left. He finally found the balance in his heart, and all the frustration he had accumulated over the past few days was finally released. So what if you're a mystic late phase peak? Didn't you still get beaten up by me, a mystic early phase peak? And I didn't even use a bit of chi, I was using my bare fists to beat you up. But it didn't take long for Yu Feng to feel as if he was punching a metal block. The next moment, Yu Feng realized that the old man was gathering his chi again, and this time the old man went berserk and sent a palm towards Yu Feng. Yu Feng was shocked. He didn't expect the old man to reveal his true strength after hiding it for so long. What was going on? Did he not want to hide anymore? Yu Feng looked around subconsciously. Where was Lin Yi? Lin Yi had already left. The next moment, beads of cold sweat formed on Yu Feng's forehead. Why did Lin Yi leave? I haven't had enough yet? Even if you're leaving, you should at least let me know, right? I'll go with you. Now that you're gone, this old man will recover his strength. Isn't this a trap for me? Yu Feng wanted to run, but before he could do so, he was heavily injured by Grandpa Zhu. Ah! Yu Feng screamed and subconsciously channeled his chi, but he was only a peak early phase mystic class. How could he be a match for a peak late phase mystic class? There was a difference of a few levels between them. This Grandpa Zhu didn't want to kill Yu Feng, and so it became a one-sided abuse. Old Zhu almost went crazy with anger. You're just a peak early phase mystic class and you dare hit me? If it weren't for the fact that I was afraid of being discovered by Lin Yi, I would have sent you to the hospital already. You didn't beg for mercy, and you still dare to do this to me? And so, now that the tables had turned, how could old Zhu let Yu Feng go? If he didn't send Yu Feng to the hospital, his surname wasn't Zhu. Qin Shi, who was watching from the sidelines, was dumbfounded. What was going on? Grandpa Zhu, who was just getting beaten up, suddenly turned from the one being beaten to the one being beaten up? Wasn't this change a little too fast? Little bastard, didn't you beat me up? Aren't you fierce? Let's see if you can still do it now. Old Zhu was infuriated. You're just a disciple of the common world's house you, and you're acting like this? If you're stronger than me, then I won't say anything if you beat me up, it'll be my bad luck. But you're so weak and you're still acting like this? Do you want to die? Spare me, Grandpa, spare me, I was wrong. Yu Feng gave in immediately, not even thinking of fighting back. He was a mystic class, but he was only a peak early phase mystic class, while old Zhu was a peak late phase mystic class. The difference was too big and Yu Feng didn't dare fight back. If it was Lin Yi, he could rely on his practitioner's arts and pure chi to fight against Yu Feng, but Yu Feng's strength came from the accumulation of elixirs and elixirs. As a direct descendant of House Yu, he was naturally the focus of the family's nurturing, and so his martial arts were mostly accelerated. He lacked battle experience, so how could he be an opponent for an old man like old Zhu? It was wise of him not to fight back, but if he did, he'd be in a worse state. Right now, Yu Feng was using his chi to protect his vitals, and old Zhu didn't want to kill him. Yu Feng looked like he was heavily injured, but his meridians weren't damaged, only his bones and tendons were injured. He'd be fine after lying in the hospital for a while. Yu Feng didn't think that he'd be so unlucky today, as expected. Seeing Lin Yi was his unlucky day. The Miss, Shu, Tang Yun, and Xiao Xiao exchanged binoculars as they looked at Yu Feng's pitiful state. They couldn't help but laugh out loud. Lin Yi was right, the one getting beaten up was Yu Feng. After beating Yu Feng up, old Zhu was afraid that the police would come, so he turned around and pulled the shocked Qin Shi away, quickly leaving the scene. Yu Feng's two followers, Peng Hu and Song Ming, naturally didn't dare block their way. They weren't old Zhu's opponents, so it didn't matter if they left. The most important thing was to get Yu Feng to the hospital. It seemed like Yu Feng's injuries weren't light, and if they were late, he'd be in danger. Old Zhu wasn't afraid of anything, and he didn't believe that Yu Feng would call the police. Young masters of noble houses rarely called the police, and Yu Feng was hiding his strength so he couldn't tell anyone about it. With his strength, he didn't need to worry about it being exposed. If Yufeng revealed it, then it was the same as revealing his true strength. He didn't know why Yufeng was hiding it, but old Zhu didn't need to know as long as he knew he was fine. Chapter 1169. Who was the fiancé? I see. She nodded, not really understanding. Then Grandpa Zhu's kung fu is really strong. And you need to practice the things I taught you, you'll be like me in the future, a strong person. Grandpa Zhu smiled. I will, Grandpa Zhu, don't worry, I practice every day. She nodded enviously. But you have to keep it a secret, don't tell anyone about this, understand? Including your mother and friends. Grandpa Zhu reminded again. And don't worry, Grandpa Zhu, I won't say anything. You don't want to expose your identity, do you want to be a hidden hero? She nodded solemnly. This is related to my enemies, you don't want me to be hunted down, do you? Grandpa Zhu smiled. I see. She's pretty face showed worry and determination. Don't worry, Grandpa Zhu, I won't tell anyone about this, not even if you beat me to death. Good girl. Grandpa Zhu patted Shi's shoulder, an almost imperceptible smirk on his face. Oh, I guessed it right, I really am Prophet Shu. Yushu cheered excitedly with the binoculars. Mengyao and Tang Yun couldn't help but laugh at Yushu's words. As far as they could see, this Xie Yufeng wasn't a good person, and that Grandpa Zhu was suspicious as well. It was a dog-eat-dog thing. Only Linny was thinking. Songshan was a small place like this and there were so many masters around? Songming and Penghu didn't call the cops, but some kind-hearted bystanders called the police. Normally, Lingshan wouldn't care about a normal brawl like this, but this was a special time, and the missing people were usually the ones who disappeared after a brawl. Lingshan had told the call center to notify the criminal police if there were any more brawls. Lingshan didn't dare tarry after hearing about a fight at the beach. She brought her men and rushed to the beach. Lingshan came to the seaside, naturally, and walked towards the place with the most onlookers. The first thing she saw was the bloodied Xie Yufeng. What happened? Who's the witness? Lingshan walked over quickly. Li Penghu and Wang Tsongming were stunned. Who called the police? Yufeng didn't want to lose face, so naturally he didn't want to call the cops, especially since his fiancée was a police. He didn't want Lingshan to know that he got beaten up. That would be too embarrassing. Yufeng knew Lingshan, but Lingshan didn't know Yufeng. Penghu and Tsongming didn't know Lingshan either. Yufeng planned to do a good job today and ask Lingshan out at night, so Lingshan didn't even know that this guy in front of her was her fiancé. It's nothing. There's nothing going on here, officer comrade, you can go back. Penghu said. Nothing? Lingshan paused and pointed at Yufeng. He's beaten up like this and you're saying he's fine? Did you beat him up? No, this is my boss, but it's just a small injury. It's not a big deal, we'll go to the hospital ourselves later, we don't need to alert the police. Songming said with a smile as he walked over. This little girl is quite pretty, huh? But she looked like a trainee police officer, and should be easy to talk to. Songming said in a nice tone. Small injury? How is this a small injury? The attacker is a threat to the public, what's going on? Lingshan felt that there was more to this the more she listened to Songming's cover-up. Could it be that this had something to do with the missing people cases? Did the attacker disappear as well? Songming and Penghu looked at each other, their faces changing. It seemed like this officer wasn't going to let this go. This was going to be a bit troublesome. Oh. It's like this, my boss's fiancé is also a police. My boss lost a fight and he didn't want to lose face in front of his fiancé, so he didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Officer, since we're all friends, could you let this go? Songming hesitated and decided to tell the truth. Plus, we're the victims, we'll let this go, you see. His fiancée is also from the police? Who is it? What's her name? Lingshan frowned. If what Songming said was true, then she'd give them some face. He was right. The victim wasn't going to pursue this, so there was no reason for her to hold on to it. My boss's fiancée is called Lingshan, she's the captain of Songshan's police department. Songming said. Wait. Songming and Penghu didn't know who Lingshan was, but how could Yufeng not know? He'd been studying the information his father had given him about Lingshan, and he'd seen her picture a couple of times. How could he not recognize her now that she was right in front of him? He'd been covering his face and squatting on the ground because he was afraid that Lingshan would recognize him. That'd be too embarrassing. Who knew that Songming and Penghu would spill his guide? How was he supposed to live? However, when he wanted to stop him, he couldn't. In the end, he was a step too late and Songming Wang said it out loud. Yufeng covered his face, speechless. What? Lingshan's eyes went wide as if she'd seen a ghost. You're saying his fiancée is called Lingshan? The captain of Songshan's police department? Yeah. Songming's heart was pounding as well, but he'd already said it and he couldn't go back on it. He didn't know what was going on, but he could only nod. I'm Lingshan, but I don't know him. Lingshan pointed at Yufeng and said faintly. Ah, you're Lingshan? Your sis-in-law? Songming looked at Lingshan in disbelief. He didn't expect to bump into her here. Chapter 1170. Chapter 1168, Lingshan's rejection. Yufeng held his head on the ground, knowing that he couldn't keep pretending anymore. He raised his head and limped up. Lingshan, I'm Yufeng? House Yu's Yufeng. With that, he reached his hand out, wanting to shake Lingshan's hand. House Yu. Yufeng? Why are you here? Lingshan paused, not expecting to meet someone from House Yu here. She didn't understand how this House Yu became her fiancé. Yufeng saw that Lingshan wasn't going to shake his hand, and he felt a little awkward. Lingshan, Grandpa Song told you about us, right? I wanted to ask you out tomorrow, right? I just wanted to check things out first. Wait, what do you mean by us? What do you mean by us? What did my grandpa say to me? Lingshan interrupted him, frowning. Our marriage. My dad already talked to Grandpa Song about it. Yufeng paused, not expecting that Lingshan didn't know about this. Did House Song not tell him about it? How come I didn't know about this? Lingshan looked at Yufeng coldly, feeling that his words weren't trustworthy at all. Was this guy an imposter? She was engaged to a House Yu and she didn't even know about it? What was going on? Ugh. Lingshan's question surprised Yufeng, but he didn't panic. You can call Grandpa Song and you'll know if I'm telling the truth. Now that things had come to this, Yufeng didn't care if his image was ugly or not. He had to confirm things first before anything else. Lu Wangli, look after these three, I'll go make a call. Lingshan's expression was a little uncertain. She couldn't tell if the person in front of her was from House Yu or not, but judging from his confident expression, it was pretty much the case. But when had she ever been engaged to a House Yu? Yes, Captain Song. Lu Wangli saw through Yufeng and the other two, but he couldn't help but click his tongue. It couldn't be, right? Is there a poacher here? And from the sound of it, he seemed to be friends with Captain Song's family? What about Linny? Lingshan's face was dark as she walked back into the police car, quickly calling her Grandpa Song Xiangwen. Shanshan, why did you call Grandpa? Xiangwen picked up the phone, his tone filled with joy. Lingshan had become old Song's pride, and so he was always in a good mood when he picked up her call. Grandpa, there's a guy calling himself House Yu's Yufeng, saying he's my fiancé. What's going on? Lingshan didn't have time for small talk. Ah, House Yu's Yufeng, right? That young man is not bad. How is it, Shanshan? Are you satisfied? Grandpa found it for you based on your standards, and among the younger generation, the only one stronger than you is Yufeng. Xiangwen smiled. He's a mystic mid-phase. Mystic mid-phase? Lingshan paused. This Yufeng was pretty strong, having that kind of strength. But while Lingshan felt that he was strong, she wasn't moved at all. She already had someone in her heart, and even if she didn't, she wouldn't fall for this Yufeng. At least, her first impression of him was that she didn't like him at all. He got beaten up like a bloody gourd and he was hiding it because he didn't want her to know. What kind of man was this? Didn't dare to admit it? He was far from Linny. Linny was hurt and he never pretended to be hurt. This was a real man. Just look at that sissy Yufeng. He wasn't a good guy at all. How is it? Are you satisfied? Xiangwen said, pleased with himself. Being able to have a marriage with House Yu was a great thing, and House Song's position in the future would be very stable. As long as Lingshan was there, House Song would still be one of the 9 great houses, and their ranking might even move up. Grandpa, how can you make decisions for me? I don't like this Yufeng, I won't marry him. Lingshan didn't hide anything and expressed her stance directly. She couldn't hide something like this, and she had to express her opinion as soon as possible. Otherwise things would get worse and worse. Shanshan, why are you doing this? Didn't you say that your man would be stronger than you? Yufeng fulfills this point and his strength is far stronger than yours. Doesn't this fit your criteria perfectly? And he's from House Yu, a good match. I think this is a great thing, why aren't you satisfied? Xiangwen asked curiously. Grandpa, feelings can't be forced. I don't have any feelings for him, I don't like him. Lingshan said firmly. Shanshan, this marriage Grandpa found for you, is it something that all the noble houses are jealous of? Xiangwen's face turned serious. Shanshan, I feel like this can be cultivated, but someone as outstanding as Yufeng is hard to find. Grandpa, I have someone I like. Lingshan gritted her teeth. Someone you like? Xiangwen paused, his face darkening. Who is it? It's not that House Chen kid, is it? Grandpa, don't ask. Ling Shan naturally couldn't say Lin Yi's name. 1. Lin Yi's identity couldn't be exposed just yet, and 2. Lin Yi already had a girlfriend. She couldn't just tell her grandpa that she wanted to be Lin Yi's mistress, could she? No matter what, this was decided by me and the head of House Yufeng's father, Yu Shuixing. It can't be changed unless that House Qin kid can force Yufeng to back out, but that's obviously impossible. Xiangwen said faintly. Shanshan, I hope you won't be stubborn and don't forget your persistence. Alright, I won't say any more. You take care of it yourself, this is decided. Grandpa. Ling Shan looked at the phone in her hand, furious. What was wrong with her grandpa who always loved her this time? Was the family's benefit that important? Was House Yu that good? She sighed, but she wasn't too worried. So what if it was House Yu? Didn't Lin Yi kill one and injure another? Ling Shan believed that if Lin Yi really cared about her, he wouldn't let her marry House Yu, but she wasn't sure yet. Chapter 1171. Another breakthrough? Ling Shan felt that as long as she worked harder, she'd be able to get Lin Yi's attention. She wouldn't have to marry into House Yu then. As for House Yu, it seemed like she'd have to deal with it for a while. Ling Shan looked like she had a big chest and no brain, but that wasn't the case. Before Lin Yi truly accepted her, she wouldn't bring up Lin Yi. Otherwise, if Lin Yi didn't care about her, things would get out of hand. She got out of the car and walked over to Yufeng with a dark face. Ling Shan, did you ask Grandpa Song? Yufeng asked confidently. I did, but he didn't say I'm your fiancé. He just asked us to see if we're compatible. Ling Shan said faintly. It wasn't that she was trying to trick Yufeng, but this was how noble houses usually got engaged. They'd see if they were compatible first, and as long as there weren't any big conflicts, they'd get engaged. Of course, if there really was a huge conflict and they couldn't mediate, they could still cancel the engagement. But that wouldn't look good for the two houses' reputation. So, seeing if they were compatible was just a break-in period. Everyone knew that this was pretty much set in stone. Haha, naturally, but they're pretty much the same. Yufeng said with a smile. He realized that Ling Shan was even better looking in person, more attractive. Big breasts, a nice body, a stunning face and a uniform. Yufeng thought to himself that he'd hit the jackpot. Marrying such a wife would also be pleasing to the eyes. But my first impression of you isn't very good, very bad, Ling Shan said faintly as she looked at Yufeng before turning to Lu Wangli. Let's go. Since Yufeng was from House Yu, Ling Shan naturally wouldn't care about this anymore. If he didn't want to call the cops, then so be it, she'd done what she could. Ling Shan was smart too, pointing out that she didn't have a good impression of Yufeng. That way she'd have some leeway. This way Yufeng wouldn't be able to get too close to her, and this would take longer. Ling Shan was confident that she could make Lin Yi fall in love with her, and this way she could reject Yufeng. He believed that a master like Lin Yi wouldn't be any weaker than Xie Yufeng in front of his grandpa. While Lin Yi didn't have Xie Yufeng's family background, Lin Yi had something that Xie Yufeng didn't. Lin Yi could increase the strength of others, but could Xie Yufeng? I believe grandfather will know who is the most important person to the family. If Lin Yi could raise his brother's strength to the peak late phase of the golden class, then House Song would be invincible. With that, Ling Shan turned around and left, leaving Yufeng behind. Yufeng looked at Ling Shan's perfect body and couldn't help but lick his lips. He couldn't take it anymore. It was too tempting. Ling Shan, I'll definitely get you. But from the looks of it, Ling Shan didn't look too good. Yufeng was sure that Ling Shan didn't have a good impression of him, but there was nothing he could do about it. Who told him to be this unlucky the first time they met? Lin Yi, I'm going to kill you. It's all your fault, you made me lose face in front of my fiancé. Yufeng roared at the sky, treating Lin Yi as his mortal enemy. But, in this situation Yufeng realized that he had broken through. The bottleneck he'd been stuck in for a long time had been broken through. He had gone from the peak of the early phase of mystic class to the middle phase of mystic class. Wah, the heavens are helping me. Yufeng laughed. I didn't think that I'd break through. I'm a mystic mid-phase now. Penghu and Songming felt the difference as well. Congratulations, Master Xie. Congratulations. Master Xie's strength has gone up another level, killing Lin Yi now is just child's play. Haha, that's right, Lin Yi is a mystic early phase and I'm 2 levels higher than him now. Killing him is just a piece of cake. Yufeng laughed. Alright, let's go. Yufeng waved his hand and said confidently. Master Xie, aren't we going to wait for the ambulance? Penghu asked weakly. Why would we wait for the ambulance? Didn't you notice that all the injuries on my body have healed after I broke through all at once? Yufeng pointed at himself. Let's go, we'll go back and do some research. I'll ask Ling Shan out tomorrow. Yufeng got a blessing in disguise, He got beaten up by old Zhu and broke through. This was something Lin Yi didn't expect. Sometimes martial arts was just that mysterious. He hadn't broken through for a long time, but now he was a one-sided punching bag, getting beaten up a few times. Under this pressure he suddenly exploded and broke through. This couldn't be considered a coincidence. Yufeng got in the car and called his old man Shuixing, pleased with himself. "Dad, it's me, Yufeng." Yufeng's tone wasn't without pride. "I saw Lingshan today, she's a beauty, I like her a lot. Especially her breasts and butt." Wah? Shuixing frowned. What was wrong with his son today? Why was he talking so flippantly? Shuixing knew that Yufeng was like this in school, but in front of his father he acted like a good boy. Did he drink too much today? "Yufeng, what's wrong with you? What nonsense are you talking about?" Shuixing scolded. "Dad, haha, I'm just too happy, aren't I?" Yufeng laughed. "That's a bit too much." Yufeng laughed. "Too happy? You're this happy to see Lingshan? Yufeng, you're not a kid anymore, why are you still like this? Women are indeed beautiful, but you're a martial artist, so you should have a calm demeanor. Plus, Lingshan will be yours sooner or later, what are you so happy for?" Shuixing scolded. "Dad, that's not why I'm happy. It's a little, but the biggest reason is that I broke through. Dad, I'm a mystic mid-phase peak now." "Wah!" Yufeng said happily. "What? You broke through? You're a mystic mid-phase?" Shuixing paused. "You're not lying, are you?" "Dad, how could I lie about something like this? It's true, why else would I be so happy?" Yufeng laughed. "Song Ming and Penghu are right beside me, they can prove it." Chapter 1172. Chapter 1170 Arrogant Go Huli, Part 1. "Dad, how could I lie about something like this? It's true, why else would I be so happy?" Yufeng laughed. "Song Ming and Penghu are right beside me, they can prove it." "God bless our house, you. That's great news. You're so young and you're already a mystic mid-phase, you're a genius even in the hidden houses." Shuixing sighed. It's alright," Yufeng said proudly. "Here, I'll contact the hidden house, you. You're so young and you have potential, they'll probably give us some benefits. If they give you a pill or two, you'll be able to become an Earth class and join a hidden house. It wouldn't be hard at all. At that time, our house you would be able to achieve glory." Shuixing said excitedly. "You're such a young Earth class, you'll definitely be a reserve for the Sky class. Wah, perhaps our common house you will be able to produce a Sky class, entering the core of the Wulian world. Dad, don't worry, I've pretty much figured out how to level up. I'll test it out after a while and if it works then my leveling will be much smoother." Yufeng felt that his leveling up this time wasn't a coincidence. There was a pattern to it. He'd been suppressing himself for a while now, and after beating up old Zhu, he'd felt extremely refreshed, as if he'd been suppressing himself for a long time before exploding. It was like leveling up to a certain point and then it'd be released. And so, Yufeng thought, could this be the secret to his leveling up? The whole leveling process was torture, suppression, rage, exploding, torture, suppression and then breakthrough. He felt that this was a pattern, and as long as he grasped it, he'd be able to level up quickly. "Really? That's great, son, you're a genius." Shuixing was so excited that he didn't know what to do. His son was a genius, understanding the rules of leveling up. He was a genius. "Haha, of course," Yufeng said proudly. "Alright, I'll talk to you later. I need to think about how to get Lingshan. If I can push her down, my strength will increase even more. And then you have to work harder," Shuixing added. He was overjoyed that his son had leveled up. Naturally, he wouldn't think that his son's thoughts were dirty or inappropriate. In the aristocratic families, everything was based on strength. If one was strong, then no matter what kind of character that person was, everyone would respectfully call him an expert. This was the reality. Go Huli was acting up again these few days, driving her Ferrari with Yanjing license plate and running amok in the neighborhood. Even the security couldn't do anything to her. The neighborhood was full of complaints, but there was nothing they could do. The Xiao family was like the sun in the sky right now, and noble houses weren't bound by the rules of the common world. As long as they didn't go too far, the local police wouldn't interfere. Plus, Go Huli didn't cause too much trouble. She just randomly parked her car on the road, hit someone's car and threw a stack of cash at them. There were a lot of complaints but nothing too extreme. Today Go Huli bought a lion, calling it a lion dog. She walked around with the lion as if she was showing off her power. She, Go Huli, was the most honorable and powerful person in this area. And so, things kept happening in the neighborhood. Today this family's dog was eaten, tomorrow that family's cat was eaten, and the day after that even other people's birds were eaten. As long as they were meat pets, none of them were spared. And the culprit of all this was Go Huli's lion. The lion was chained up, and without Go Huli's permission, it wouldn't be able to run out and eat this and that. So many residents were unhappy. Although they were all rich and didn't lack money, they had to demand an explanation if their pets were eaten, right? Plus, most of the cats and dogs had been raised for many years and they had feelings for them. So, these people collectively went to the property management company to report the situation, and wanted the security to denounce Go Huli and ask her to hand over the lion. The security guard was in a difficult position. The Xiao family was like the sun in the sky recently, and many important people came looking for the Xiao family. When they registered at the security booth, the security guard naturally knew, so they didn't dare to denounce the Xiao family. But the residents were making a lot of noise, and the property management had no choice but to send the security captain and the victims to Go Huli. At this moment, Go Huli was sitting with her legs crossed, playing with her lion. Of course, Go Huli was afraid of lions as well. She wasn't a practitioner, so she wasn't afraid of lions, but she sprayed some kind of medicine on her body so that the lion wouldn't bite her. And Go Huli was someone who liked to show off, so she made a lion to show off. Hearing the doorbell, Go Huli walked out and opened the door. She frowned as soon as she saw the security captain and a large group of residents. She knew why they were here. "What are you guys doing here? What's wrong?" Go Huli shook her wrist and the lion ran over, opening its bloody mouth at the security captain. "Roar, what?" The security captain jumped and subconsciously took a few steps back, wiping the sweat off his forehead. He was very afraid of this lion. His face turned ugly. Miss Go? Look, can you tell it to back off a little? What? Aren't you the security captain? You're afraid of dogs? Who do you think you're going to protect? Do you still want the property management fees next year?" Go Huli was very arrogant. But Ms. Go, this is a lion, not a dog." The security captain said carefully to Go Huli. "Who said it's not a dog? It's a dog, a lion dog, are you blind?" Go Huli rolled her eyes. Chapter 1173. Chapter 1171, Arrogant Go Huli, what? You're here to demand justice for them? So you're here for the will of heaven? Go Huli smiled coldly. So what if my Pekingese ate it? I'll pay them however much it costs, I don't lack money. Tell me how much. Madam Go, you see, the people who live in the villa area don't lack money. Don't you think it's inappropriate for you to do this? Besides, your Pekingese is very dangerous. What if it bites a child? The captain of the security team asked carefully. Bites? It hasn't bitten yet, has it? Aren't you worrying for nothing? Why aren't you worried about the sky falling down? Go Huli rolled her eyes and scolded angrily. Get lost. Go to the side and don't cause trouble here. Tell me how much you want, I'm busy. Isn't this too overbearing? Yeah, this woman doesn't listen to reason. It's like she's bullying people. The owners who came to demand justice couldn't stand it anymore. They all started scolding Go Huli. But Go Huli sneered in disdain, glaring at the troublemakers. What? You don't like it? I'm overbearing, I'm unreasonable, I'm a bully. Xiao family is just that overbearing, what do you want? That. The crowd was annoyed by Go Huli's arrogant words. Wasn't she being too unreasonable? How could she be like this? But Go Huli's words reminded them that Xiao family was the wife of the Xiao family's head. Not many people knew about the Xiao family before. It could be said that the Xiao family moved into this neighborhood and no one noticed. But these days it was different. These people were all in the business world. Even if they weren't, they had their own connections and knew about the Xiao family. During this period, the Xiao family's name could be said to be resounding in the business world. Moreover, everyone also vaguely knew the identity of the Xiao family. They were one of the aristocratic families, a giant existence. After hearing all kinds of legends about how powerful the aristocratic families were, these people also retreated a little. However, after all, they had only heard of it and had never experienced it for themselves. Their pets couldn't die in vain, right? Therefore these people decided to wait and see first. Go Huli saw that these people didn't leave and was furious. She pointed at the lion in her hand. Lion dog, go chase them away. Let's see who dares to make noise in front of my door. Roar. The lion ran 2 steps towards the door and roared at the guards at the door. Those who came to punish Go Huli were also scared at this moment. After all, who dared to compete with a lion? Thinking of the wealth and power of the Xiao family, they could only sigh and accept their bad luck as they left the entrance of the Xiao family's villa. Since the owner had left, there was no need for the security captain to stay. Although he wanted to dissuade Go Huli with how arrogant she was, she obviously wouldn't listen to advice easily. He shook his head and left. Go Huli humphed proudly and closed the door with the lion. She felt like she was the boss of the district, leading a lion wherever she went and no one dared to mess with her. And this villa should be cleaned. Go Huli looked at the dust in the corner of the villa and said. Before, when Go Huli moved in, she wanted to find someone to clean the villa. She wanted to hire a housekeeper, but when she saw Mengyao and Yushu, she wanted to make them do hard labor. That was why this series of trouble happened. Ever since Go Huli caused trouble, the Xiao family didn't have the mood to find someone to clean the villa. Now that the Xiao family had turned the situation around, they were busy with the guests and didn't think of finding someone to clean the villa. Only now did Go Huli think of this. These 2 days, Gooden had been staying at Yuan's house, waiting for Xiaoke to send him money. Even if she didn't send him money, she should at least send him the address. But Xiaoke was nowhere to be seen. These 2 days, Gooden would go to the train station after work, but there was still no sign of Xiaoke. At the same time, Gooden realized that he had been tricked. This liar, she was pissing him off. Gooden thought that he would teach her a lesson the next time he saw her. But now, as anxious as he was, there was nothing he could do. He didn't know Lin Yi's address and he didn't know Lin Yi's phone number. He wanted to call back to the village, but he didn't know Widow Wang's number and he didn't know Old Lin's number. This was a black mark for a youth who had never left the village. He didn't need to remember phone numbers before, and he could find people by shouting. With a megaphone, who wouldn't be able to find someone? But now, no matter how megaphone he used, he couldn't let everyone in the city hear him. Songshan was too big. And so, Gooden could only work for Yuren's shop. Luckily, Yuren's family took good care of him, especially Yuan. Gooden didn't want to leave. Although they got the money from Scorpion, Yuren's family didn't give up on their work. They were hard-working people, and this money was used to buy a house and expand the shop. It was like trying to put out a fire with a cup of water. And so, Yuan continued to work at the burger shop, and Yuren continued to run the shop. Mrs. Yu continued to work as a housekeeper, and Gooden continued to help out at the shop. Mrs. Yu was very happy today. The housekeeping company gave her a big job, cleaning a villa. If she did this job well, she'd get a few thousand. Naturally, she was very happy. And so, she happily went to get the tools and went to the villa according to the housekeeping company's address. Before going to work, Mrs. Yu even called Yuan and Yuren. The father and daughter were very happy when they heard about it. Yuren, the stingy man, even bought some ribs from the market to give his wife a treat, telling Yuan to cook it for Mrs. Yu as well as to improve Gooden's diet. These days, with Gooden's deliveries, Yuren's shop's business went from a few hundred a day to 3,000 a day. The key was that no matter what people bought, Gooden would deliver it to their door. Toilet, basin, sand, cement, as long as you bought it, it didn't matter how many floors you lived in, even if the elevator broke down, Gooden would deliver it to your doorstep. And he didn't even need to pay. Chapter 1174. Something happened. Yuren, on the other hand, used the money Scorpion gave him to buy large quantities of plumbing and fittings, and the business was getting better and better. And so, the more Yuren looked at Gooden, the more he liked him. This guy was his lucky star. If he became his son-in-law, it'd be a great thing. When the time came, he and Gooden would make the shop big, and with a door god like Gooden there, all the gangsters would be nothing. No matter how many there were, they'd be no match for him. Their days would be great. Yuan, are the ribs ready? Let Gooden eat some first, he's been doing heavy work the whole day, it's quite tiring. Yuren said. Okay. Yuan replied obediently and went to get a rib for Gooden. Zhou Jiaming here? Yuren called him Gooden, but naturally Yuan wouldn't call him that. She only called him by his name. Thanks. Gooden happily took the rib and started eating. It's delicious. Eat slowly. Yuan rolled her eyes. After a few days together, Yuan had Gooden's shadow in her heart. Beauties loved heroes, and that was what Yuan was feeling right now. Gooden looked at Yuan's shy face and couldn't help but be stunned. Yuan wasn't that type of beauty, but in his eyes she was prettier than a goddess. Ring! A hurried ringtone of the phone broke the ambiguous atmosphere between the two of them. Yuan quickly walked over and picked up the phone. Hello? What? You're the housekeeping manager? My mom got bitten by a dog? She's in Songshan's first hospital right now? Okay, we'll go there immediately. After hanging up, Yuan panicked. Dad, it's bad. Manager Zhang from my mom's company just called, saying that my mom got bitten by a dog, and she's being treated at Songshan's first hospital right now. What? Yuren froze as well. She was fine this morning, why was she bitten by a dog at night? Yuren didn't dare slow down and brought Yuan and Gooden to a taxi, rushing to Songshan's first hospital. In the hospital room, Yuren finally saw his wife. Mom, what's wrong with you? Yuan ran over excitedly to her mother's bedside and held her mother's hand. Yuan. Yuan's mother looked at Yuan with a painful and weak smile on her face. Manager Jiang, what's going on? What was going on? What happened to my wife? How come you got bitten by a dog? Yuan saw the manager and asked. Manager Jiang sighed. Your wife went to a rich family to clean up today, but somehow she provoked the Pekingese. As a result, the Pekingese bit your wife. Now her leg is bitten off. If it weren't for the timely rescue, one of her legs would have been crippled. That's serious? Yuan was shocked, his eyes wide open. What did they say? Was there no explanation for their dog biting someone? Besides, what kind of dog could bite off a person's leg? It's said to be a Pekingese, but it's actually a big lion. Manager Jiang said helplessly. The doctor said that this wasn't a dog bite at all. What? Raising a lion? Isn't that too immoral? Where's the person? Where is he? It was up to them to explain themselves. What did this mean? Aren't they trying to harm someone? Yuan panicked. You're old, right? Don't get too excited yet. They're rich and powerful, and the mistress is being unreasonable. I went to talk to them and I almost got bitten by the lion. And I've confirmed that the dog they're raising is indeed a lion. Manager Jiang smiled bitterly. They're being unreasonable, throwing me 50,000 and telling me to leave. Yuan flinched, remembering what happened with Fighter Li. Yeah, he was one of the people who lived at the bottom of society without any power. How could he afford to offend someone like that? The person was living in a villa, obviously not a normal person, and raising a lion. How could he afford to offend someone like that? Old you, 50,000, the company doesn't want a single cent, it's all in the hospital, and our company CEO called me just now saying that they're from the Xiao family and we can't afford to offend them. I think we should just let this go and the company will compensate you. Don't go looking for trouble or you'll drag the company down with you. Manager Jiang sighed. We're in the middle, it's hard for us to do anything. Yuan heard what Manager Jiang said and naturally there was nothing he could do. Even Manager Zhang's leader couldn't do anything, and he was afraid of their power. What else could he do? Then my wife's leg. Will it be healed? Yuan looked at his wife in pain. The doctor said that it'll be fine, but it'll be a little limp. Manager Jiang didn't hide anything, but it won't affect your movements, and the company will compensate you with a sum of money, enough for you to live on. The company's intention is to let this go. Don't make a big deal out of it. Can money solve the problem? What's wrong with a lion? I'll get an explanation from that woman. I'll kill that lion with one punch. Gooden panicked upon hearing the manager's words. What kind of world was this? Why were these people so afraid of a lion and an evil woman? What was the big deal? If he couldn't do it, he'd go kill them. Zhou Jiaming, don't be rash. Yuan jumped and quickly pulled Gooden back, stopping him from acting rashly. This matter was obviously different from the previous underground boxing. The people in the underground boxing died because it was originally illegal. They didn't dare to say anything even if they died. They could only suffer in silence. Could they still call the police? But this was different. It was just a pet that bit its mother, and if Gooden killed the person it'd be a big deal and Gooden would definitely go to jail. Yuan wouldn't let Gooden do something so stupid. And so, Yuan kept signaling Gooden with her eyes, telling him not to be rash. Gooden was an honest man, but he wasn't stupid. Seeing Yuan's eyes, he shut his mouth, but the anger on his face didn't go away. Manager Jiang looked at Gooden and shook his head. Where did this idiot come from? Was he Yuan's relative or son-in-law? Why was he so brainless? And he wanted to kill the person? Don't get bitten by the lion again. Chapter 1175. Boss has a way. Thank you, Manager Jiang. Yuan knew that Manager Jiang was in a difficult position as well. They couldn't afford to mess with them and the housekeeping company had done all they could. Yuan didn't need them to do anything else. Yuan couldn't help but sigh as he watched Manager Jiang leave. His family had just gotten better, they had some money and their lives were getting better as well. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? Yuan went to the doctor to ask about the situation. Yuan, on the other hand, looked at Gooden, amused and angry at the same time. Zhou Jiaming, can't you change that impulsive personality of yours? This person is different from the underground arena. If you kill her, wouldn't that be breaking the law? You'd go to jail. I didn't say I was going to kill her, I just said I was going to demand an explanation and kill the lion. Gooden grinned. I'm not an idiot, Yuan couldn't help but chuckle, but you can't do that. Let's take a look at Mom's condition first. Yuan didn't know about her mother's injury yet, thinking that it wasn't serious. She didn't hear the manager's voice when he lowered it. After a while, Yuren came back from outside the room, sighing and frowning. Dad, how's Mom? Will she be okay? Yuan saw her father walk in and quickly went up to him. Don't talk about it, the doctor said that even if your mom's healed, she'd still be crippled. She'd be crippled from now on. Yuren sighed and said helplessly. Such a big thing happened, and that family took the money and didn't even come out to apologize. Mom's leg. Going to be crippled? Yuan was shocked. She looked at her father in disbelief. That's what the doctor said, and it's the best case scenario. If she doesn't recover well, she might not even be able to stand up. She'd have to use crutches to walk, and she'd have to sit in a wheelchair. Yuren lowered his head in pain. His life had just gotten better, how did it go wrong again? No, I have to go ask for an explanation. I can't just let this go. Gooden clenched his fists. How could they do that? If they don't give me an explanation, I'll punch that lion to death. Let's see if my fist is harder or if their reasoning is harder. Even if you kill that lion, you can't solve it now. Yuan glared at Gooden. Let's think about what we should do in the future? All right. Gooden nodded and sighed. Man. It would be great if we could find Boss. Auntie's injury isn't a big deal for Boss. Your boss is a doctor? Yuan paused. She knew that Gooden was here to find someone, but she didn't know that it was a doctor. Yeah, my boss is a miracle doctor. I'm here to deliver the medicine to Boss. Gooden said proudly. Linny would always be Gooden's pride. Talking about Linny was like talking about Gooden himself. Gooden felt a sense of accomplishment. Does that mean that Mom's leg can be healed? Yuan was shocked and overjoyed. From what she could see, Gooden wasn't the type of person to boast. She did think so when they first met, but Gooden's actions proved that he wasn't just boasting. He said he would kill Fighterly and he really did. This proved that Gooden was a very practical person. Yes, of course. As long as we find Boss, everything will be fine. Gooden smiled. You don't have to worry about that. Then how do we find your boss? Yuan didn't really care about the person Gooden was looking for, but now she was panicking. I don't know, it's all that scammer's fault. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have lost the note. Gooden said helplessly. Then we'll look for him slowly. We'll find him eventually as long as there's hope. Yuan was at least full of hope now. She was thinking about how she was going to spend the rest of her life after what the doctor said. Now that there was a chance to change things, she was naturally happy. Then I'll go find that tyrannical family first and demand justice. Gooden nodded. That's not a rush. Yuan knew that Gooden was strong, but some things couldn't be rushed. Who knew if they'd come tomorrow? Let's wait. If that family doesn't show up again, we'll go find them. But try not to get into a conflict, we're just asking for justice. All right. I'll give them 3 days. If they don't give us an explanation in 3 days, I'll go find them. Gooden nodded. He'd been interacting with Yuan a lot these days and he was more civilized with his words. He didn't call himself I in front of Yuan. In the villa district, everyone started to panic. Lin Yi and the others had been away for 2 days, and they usually went to school early and late. They naturally didn't know what was going on in the district, and they didn't know that a lion had appeared in the district. Go Huli, on the other hand, was still walking around the district with the lion. The residents all knew how domineering she was, and they knew that she had a powerful background. They didn't dare mess with her. They couldn't mess with her, but they could hide. So wherever Go Huli appeared, people would all avoid her, especially the lion in her hand. Of course, acting cool in front of normal people didn't give her any sense of accomplishment anymore. What she wanted the most was to act cool in front of Mengyao, Yushu, and Lin Yi. The Xiao family had been snubbed by House Chu before, and they still hadn't gotten their revenge yet. And so Go Huli had been looking for a chance to cause trouble for House Chu these 2 days, but every time she went to Mingyao's villa, all she saw was the locked gate and the dark villa. There was no one inside. This made Go Huli depressed. She finally had a chance to act cool and step on people, but she couldn't use it. It was like a cultivator getting a supreme treasure, but she couldn't activate it. Only Go Huli herself knew how depressed she felt. Chapter 1176. Performing a circus. Mingyao had obviously returned. Their car was parked in front of the villa, and the lights in the villa were turned on and a few windows were opened. Huli was overjoyed. She led the lion to Mingyao's villa's yard. At this moment, Mengyao, Yushu, and Lin Yi had just returned to the villa after sending Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao back. The 3 of them hadn't locked the door yet since the security here was good. No one would lose anything in the day. Thus, Go Huli entered the yard easily. Little lion, make 2 noises here. Huli ordered her lion. Roar. The lion had received professional training, so it understood everything Go Huli said. Yushu and Mingyao were in the living room looking at the pictures on their iPad too, excited. Wow, Shield Bro's roasted shrimp looks so handsome. Yushu raised her iPad too in surprise. Mingyao rolled her eyes. Shu, you've roared so many times today. My ears are getting calluses. But it's really handsome, Yao Yao, do you think so too? Yushu said. Nope, Mingyao said faintly. I'm not Tang Yun or Feng Xiaoxiao, why would I care about Lin Yi? Oh. Yushu didn't say anything after seeing Mingyao's cold attitude and continued looking at the pictures. But a lion's roar came from the villa's doorway. Yushu didn't pay much attention to it at first, but it got louder and louder. Yushu raised her head, confused, and stopped what she was doing. Yao Yao, do you hear that weird sound? What sound? Mingyao, on the other hand, didn't pay attention to it. Her attention wasn't on this. Shu kept saying that Lin Yi was handsome, and Mingyao took a closer look and realized that it was true. Lin Yi wasn't a pretty boy, but he was a man with a manly temperament, which suited Mingyao's taste. She didn't like guys with too many styles, but a guy with too much brawn and no brains wasn't good either. In short, Mingyao's criteria for a partner were very complicated, but Lin Yi just happened to meet all of them. Hence, Mingyao was in a dilemma. She hadn't recovered from the shock yet, so naturally she didn't hear any strange noises coming from the villa's yard. Is that kind of roar? Yushu mimicked a lion's roar. Mingyao paused. What's that? That's it, Yao Yao, listen carefully. Yushu pointed at the direction outside the villa. There seems to be a strange sound? Mingyao listened attentively. There was indeed the sound that Yushu mimicked, and it was quite similar to Yushu's. Wait for me, Yao Yao, I'll go take a look. With that, Yushu called out to Lin Yi's room. Shield Bro, come protect me. Lin Yi's taking a shower? Mingyao said. Lin Yi said that he wanted to take a shower before going back to his room, so of course he couldn't come out now that Yushu was calling him. And so, Yushu led General Wei Wu out to check the situation. They saw Go Huli playing with a lion in the yard. Fuck. What are you doing, you old woman? Yushu's eyes widened as she looked at Go Huli in disbelief. Are you putting on a circus here? What? You little bastard. Go Huli froze. She didn't think that her lion would be treated as a circus clown by Yushu. She raged, who is this old woman scolding? After saying that, Go Huli looked at Yushu proudly. This was Jianghu's trump card in Jin Yang's novels. She didn't think that Go Huli would be able to use it so easily. After saying that, she waited for Yushu to fall into her trap. This old woman is standing in front of me, scolding me. Yushu continued innocently. You old woman, you're the little bastard, you're the old bastard. Wah. Go Huli was furious after hearing Yushu's words. This girl didn't respond to her like she expected, and instead she scolded her back. If she called her a little bastard again, wouldn't that mean that she was admitting that she was an old woman? With that thought, Go Huli humphed coldly. You have a sharp tongue, I won't talk to you anymore. Little lion, teach this girl a lesson. Oh whoa. The lion in Go Huli's hand roared at Yushu. Lion? Yushu blinked, not scared at all. She looked at the lion in Go Huli's hand curiously. Is this really a lion? Umph. So what if it is? What, are you scared now? Go Huli said proudly. She didn't mind admitting that it was a lion in front of Yushu. It's fun, thank you. Old woman, you gave me such a fun pet, Yushu said happily. I need a master guard at home, I'll take it. Girl, are you crazy? I'm here to teach you a lesson, you think I'm giving you a lion? Is there something wrong with your IQ? Go Huli shouted angrily, Lion go. Eat this girl's dog first. Go Huli didn't dare to let the lion eat Yushu in front of everyone. After all, she knew that Yushu was a member of the Chen family. Xiao family might be arrogant now, but they couldn't go too far in public. But eating her pet dog was no problem at all. As for secretly, Go Huli would be happy if she could bite Yushu to death. Roar. The lion roared at Wei Wu and walked towards him step by step. Fuck. Why are you so talkative, old woman? General Wei Wu, tame this lion for me, I need a guard. Yushu ordered. Woof woof. General Wei Wu responded and walked towards the lion without fear. Ugh. The lion didn't care when General Wei Wu was lying there, but now, the dangerous aura that General Wei Wu emitted made the lion's hair stand on end. The sixth sense of an animal was the most sensitive. They could tell what was dangerous and what wasn't. The dog in front of it made the lion feel a great sense of danger. It was the king of the grassland, but facing a murderous dog like this, the lion still retreated a little. Chapter 1177. Chapter 1175. Chased up the tree, but General Wei Wu didn't care at all. In an instant he pounced on the lion. The lion was shocked and jumped up. It waved its front paw at General Wei Wu, wanting to slap General Wei Wu to the ground. But before its paw could reach General Wei Wu's paw hit the lion's mouth, causing it to fall to the ground. General Wei Wu seemed to understand Yushu's intention. He wanted to tame this lion, not kill it. In General Wei Wu's eyes, this lion was weak and could be killed easily. But since Yushu didn't allow it to be killed, he had to hold back. The lion didn't expect the enemy to be so strong and give it such a huge blow. The lion was in pain and its eyes were filled with fear. When it saw General Wei Wu pouncing on it again, the lion quickly turned around and ran to the side. Go Huli's eyes widened. What happened to her lion? Why didn't it eat General Wei Wu? Why did it run away as if it saw something scary? Little lion, come back. What are you doing? Hurry up and eat this dog for me. Go Huli panicked. She came here to use the lion to teach Yushu and the others a lesson. She didn't think that the lion would run away before she could teach them a lesson. However, the obedient lion didn't care about Go Huli's words at all. It just kept running forward. But how could it be as fast as General Wei Wu? In desperation, the lion saw a tree in the courtyard of the villa. So the lion gritted its teeth and jumped onto the tree. A lion can climb a tree? That's amazing. Old woman, this lion of yours has been specially trained for the circus. Yushu said in amazement. Go Huli's face reddened. Yushu's words were clear. She was calling her a clown in the circus playing with the lion. Although Go Huli was angry, she didn't know what was going on. The lion was so powerful that it even ate a dog that was bigger than General Wei Wu. How could General Wei Wu chase the lion around? After the lion climbed up the tree, it hugged the trunk tightly and didn't dare to come down. It was even shivering on top of the tree. General Wei Wu, on the other hand, wasn't in a hurry. He squatted down calmly as if he was waiting for the lion to come down. Little lion, come down. Huli panicked and yelled at the lion on the book. But the lion acted as if it didn't hear Go Huli's words and ignored her. Little lion? Huli called again. The lion still had no reaction. It had no intention of coming down. I'm going back to continue looking at the photos. Your lion has become my guard. I'm not going back with you. Go back by yourself. Bye-bye. Yushu waved at Huli and went back into the villa. Only General Wei Wu, the lion on the tree, and Go Huli were left alone in the yard. Seeing Yushu go back, Go Huli was dumbfounded. She came here with the lion to act cool, but not only did she fail, the lion didn't come down from the tree and it didn't listen to her anymore. She couldn't just sit on the ground and wait like the dog, could she? Then Huli's face would be completely gone. Go Huli wasn't happy. Was General Wei Wu that scary? Why was the lion so scared of it? Puppy dog, can you let the lion come down? Go Huli didn't have a choice. She lowered her voice and discussed with General Wei Wu. She didn't want to embarrass herself, so she kept her voice low. Woof woof. General Wei Wu barked at Go Huli. Go Huli jumped in fright and subconsciously took 2 steps back. Obviously, Go Huli underestimated General Wei Wu's intellect. She treated General Wei Wu as a normal dog. Puppy dog, we both have the same surname, why are you so unfriendly to me? I just want to bring my lion back, can you let it come down? Go Huli didn't want to give up. Woof woof. General Wei Wu barked twice and moved closer to Go Huli. Go Huli was so scared that she waved her hands. Forget it if you don't agree. I'll leave first. Go Huli was depressed. She didn't want to leave like this, but she wasn't a dog's opponent. What if the dog got angry and bit her? She could only go home and think of another way. If she really couldn't, she could contact the masters from House Pi. That would be easy. But when Go Huli told Xiaoji her idea, Xiaoji scolded her. Isn't it just a lion? If you don't come back, then don't. Our Xiao family may have a master with a wallet, and to outsiders our Xiao family may look like they're invincible, but don't you know what's going on? These 2 masters from House Pi are here to supervise Xiao family's business. If there were business enemies, they'd help us take care of them, but you want them to help you beat up a dog? Only you can think of that. They're masters among masters, why would they help you beat up a dog? But this isn't about the lion, it's about face. Last time our Xiao family was humiliated by Meng Yao. If we don't get back at her now, people will think that we're afraid of House Chu. Go Huli said unwillingly. It's not a question of whether or not I'm afraid. Uncle Pai was injured by Lin Yi, and if the Pais wanted revenge, they would have gone after Lin Yi a long time ago. Would it be your turn? Xiao Ji humphed coldly. House Pai hasn't gone to Lin Yi yet, which means that they won't. Let's just forget about it for now. Don't expose our Xiao family's trump card. If people see that we can't control House Pai, that'll be bad. I see. Go Huli lowered her head, feeling wronged. Haha, big brother, you can't say that. House Pai didn't go to Lin Yi for revenge because Uncle Pai's injury was caused by sister-in-law. That's why House Pai didn't go to Lin Yi. After all, they don't have a legitimate reason to do so. Xiao Ben waved his hand and analyzed, but I believe that House Pai will be in a hurry to get revenge. If there's any conflict of interest with Lin Yi, I don't think they would mind making a move. In fact, if sister-in-law wants revenge, as long as we create a conflict of interest with Lin Yi or House Chu, I believe that House Pai will be more than happy to help. Chapter 1178. Chapter 1176, An unexpected call. Xiao Ben was a smart man. He wanted to deal with Lin Yi and he wanted to borrow House Pai's hand, but he wouldn't ask for help directly. Even if House Pai helped, the Xiao family would owe them a huge favor. But if Lin Yi or House Chu affected the Xiao family's business, then House Pai's help would be for their own benefit. The Xiao family wouldn't owe House Pai anything, and House Pai's help would be easier. So from Xiao Ben's point of view, this could be done, but it had to be planned carefully. It couldn't be rushed. Xiao Ben was pleased to see that his elder brother would go along with his suggestions. Although his elder brother was the head of the Xiao family, he was still the one in charge. In this way, it was no different from him being the head of the family. Xiao Ben nodded, so we have to plan this. It's best if House Chu can affect our family's benefits. That way House Pai will definitely make a move for their own benefit. Not bad, then I'll leave this to you, second brother. I'll leave the revenge for your sister-in-law to you as well. Xiao Ji nodded. My lion. Huli was still a little unwilling. If the lion really stayed at House Chu and didn't come back, then Huli would lose all her face. She wouldn't be able to raise her head in this district anymore. She just showed off to the residents in the district, but now she even left the lion in someone else's house. How could she go out in the future? It's just a lion. If you don't want it, then buy another one. If you have the ability, then get it back yourself. Xiao Ji waved his hand, stopping Huli from continuing. That's it. I'm so busy every day, where would I have time to think about this? What Xiao Ji said wasn't wrong. The Xiao family's cooperation with various wealthy businessmen was in full swing. Every day there were many things to do. Even Xiao Ji, who didn't care about anything, had to be busy receiving guests. After all, Xiao Ben had to go and finalize the cooperation agreement with the businessmen. Xiao Ji couldn't do such detailed things, but he could treat people to meals and socialize with them. Hearing Xiao Ji's words, Go Huli knew that there was no way she could ask House Pai for help. She could only think of a way herself. Helplessly, Go Huli could only sneak out at night. The lion persevered on the tree for a while, but it could not hold on any longer. After all, it was a land animal, not a bird. How could it stay on the tree peacefully? Therefore the lion's heart changed. He was ready to come down to General Wei Wu and ask for peace. Lin Yi took a shower and changed into his pajamas. He was just about to go check on General Wei Wu and the lion when his phone rang. Lin Yi looked at the caller ID. It was Ling Shan. Ever since Ling Shan leveled up a few days ago, she hadn't called Lin Yi again. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was happy to be free. Who knew what Ling Shan needed his help with this time? This time Ling Shan called Lin Yi because she needed his help with something. She had just returned to the police station this afternoon when Yu Tian came to visit. Compared to Xie Yufeng, Ling Shan found that Yu Tian was more pleasing to the eye. But it was just pleasing to the eye. Compared to Lin Yi, he was still a far cry. Ling Shan remembered a line from a song, "The one who loves me has no regrets for me, but I'm crying for the one I love, my heart breaking." Ling Shan thought that her relationship with Lin Yi would improve after the last level up, but after a few days, Lin Yi still hadn't contacted her. Lin Yi would only call her a limited number of times, and it was always for something. He never called just for the sake of calling. Ling Shan, why do you look so worried? What, you don't welcome me? Yu Tian saw Ling Shan sitting in front of her desk with a long face, deep in thought. I told you, call me Officer Song on the job, but you can call me Ling Shan in private. Ling Shan said faintly as she looked at the person who came. Yu Tian's face changed slightly, but he said, Ling Shan, we're from noble houses, right? Even if you don't accept my love, there's no need to be so distant, is there? Then what should I do? Act warm to you? Make you misunderstand? Ling Shan said faintly. Ling Shan, I admit that I still love you very stubbornly, but I already understand your feelings. If you really marry that person, I'll be relieved and I'll be happy. I admit that I, Qin Yu Tian, am not as good as him. I'm not as good as him now, and I won't be stronger than him in the future. My love for you is buried deep in my heart. I just want to protect you silently. As long as you're happy, I'll be satisfied. I'm calling you Ling Shan as a big brother, just a little sister. If you don't agree, then I'll call you Officer Song from now on, Yu Tian said seriously. Ling Shan froze when she heard Yu Tian's words. She didn't expect Yu Tian to say something like this so openly. Yu Tian had revealed similar intentions and compliments towards Lin Yi before, but she didn't expect him to say it so seriously today. Yu Tian wasn't strong, but Ling Shan knew that Yu Tian was a man of his words. If he said this, then it meant that he'd thought it through. Alright, I'm relieved that you think that way. I'll call you Yu Tian bro from now on, Ling Shan confirmed their sibling relationship. Haha, this relationship is a bit messy. Yu Tian scratched his head. Lin Yi was his instructor, and even if he wasn't his master, he was still his boss. If Ling Shan really followed Lin Yi, then she'd be his sister-in-law. But this could only be discussed in the future. What messy relationship? Ling Shan paused before remembering something. Yu Tian bro, what's your relationship with Lin Yi? That? You should ask him yourself, I can't tell you. Yu Tian didn't want to say anything behind Lin Yi's back. If Lin Yi was here and didn't object, then it wouldn't be a problem, but not now. Chapter 1179. Level up? Of course there is. The grave robbing case from last time has come to a conclusion. I have reported the matter to my superior. My superior wants us to disguise ourselves as a couple and enter the tomb with the grave robbing group codenamed Red Pagoda. Qin Yu Tian said, on one hand we need to collect evidence of these grave robbers and capture them all. On the other hand we need to record how they open the tomb. This tomb is dangerous, and if we can gather all this information, it'll be easier for our experts to investigate the tomb in the future. This is very valuable. You're telling me this because you want the local police to work with you on the outskirts? Ling Shan asked. Yes, and on the other hand, I'd like to invite you to pretend to be a couple. Yu Tian coughed dryly. In fact, he didn't have any intentions of taking advantage of Ling Shan. He'd already let it go, and he wouldn't use the excuse of a mission to get intimate with her. That wasn't something a gentleman would do. Yu Tian did this because he considered Ling Shan's skills. The tomb was very dangerous, and it was impossible to go in without a certain level of skills. Ling Shan's skills were undeniable, and that was why Yu Tian sent this invitation. According to the information, the couple was quite skilled as well. Even if they weren't golden class, they had speed and agility similar to a golden class. Me? With you? Ling Shan paused. Yu Tian's suggestion didn't cross any rules or bottom line. After all, her profession was special, and it was normal for her to pretend to be a couple with someone else. But the problem was that she didn't really want to do it with Yu Tian. Yes, the tomb is very dangerous and the tomb robbers aren't weak. If our people aren't strong enough, we might die in there. Yu Tian said solemnly. Ling Shan, I'm doing this for the big picture, I have no selfish motives. Although, I'd be very happy if we pretend to be a couple. It's not real, but at least we had. It could be said that Yu Tian was very honest and he didn't hide anything. This made Ling Shan admire Yu Tian. This personality suited Ling Shan's taste quite well. But even so, Ling Shan wouldn't fall for Yu Tian. There were two reasons. One was that Yu Tian wasn't strong enough, and the other was that Ling Shan already had someone else in her heart. Ling Shan didn't think anyone was as strong as Lin Yi right now. Lin Yi was a little domineering, but Lin Yi really did have some skills. Not only was he brave and resourceful, but he also had medical skills. More importantly, he could level up others. More importantly, although this man was a bit of a playboy, he was not that kind of promiscuous. She had failed to seduce Lin Yi several times, so she should be able to see that Lin Yi was a person who controlled his lower body with emotions and his upper body, not his lower body controlling his upper body. And so the more she thought about it, the more she liked Lin Yi. Lin Yi was an all-rounder, and he could even help her solve cases. This matter, if we cooperate with you, what benefits will there be? Ling Shan was representing the local police to cooperate with Yu Tian, so she had to get something in return. At the very least, she couldn't let Yu Tian take all the credit. As for the credit, of course we'll split it 50-50. That's fair, that's all. The stolen goods have to be turned in, and I'm very poor, so I don't have any bonuses. Yu Tian shrugged with a smile. I need money? Ling Shan rolled her eyes. Alright, but as you said, the tomb is dangerous and you're only a golden class early phase. The two of us aren't strong enough, so I'd like to get some help. Help? Lin Yi? Yu Tian was smart, and naturally he thought of Lin Yi. Ling Shan had two reasons for looking for Lin Yi. One was that with Lin Yi, she wouldn't have to pretend to be a couple with him anymore, but with Lin Yi. The second was that with a master like Lin Yi, the mission would be less dangerous. Yeah. Ling Shan nodded, blushing. Yu Tian saw right through her and she felt a little embarrassed. Sure, as long as Lin Yi can help, I'll be even happier. Yu Tian said after a sigh. but what he said was the truth. Although he couldn't pretend to be a couple with Lingshan anymore, there were some things that he had to let go of, and he wouldn't regret it once he made up his mind. But fighting side by side with Lin Yi was Yu Qian's dream, and now that it had come true, he was naturally happy. With Lin Yi as his helper, the difficulty of this mission would be much lower. Alright, I'll talk to Lin Yi then. Lingshan nodded. I'll go call Lin Yi. You wait for me outside? Don't worry, I won't eavesdrop. Yu Qian smiled, but he felt a little sour inside. Lingshan was calling her lover after all, and naturally she wouldn't say it in front of him. And so, Lingshan went into the resting room and called Lin Yi. What's up? Lin Yi picked up. Miss Dummy misses you, can't I give you a call? Lingshan wasn't too happy with Lin Yi's formal voice. Miss me? Why don't you miss me when you're not busy? Whenever you miss me, I'm busy, Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Lingshan most likely had something to do with him. Lingshan paused and then said happily, does that mean that I can call you when I'm free? That's great, I usually want to call you but I don't dare, afraid that you'll scold me so I have to find a reason to call you. Wah. Lin Yi's eyes went wide, not knowing how to respond. Lingshan's words were really hard to answer. Lin Yi couldn't just say that she'd call him when she was free, could he? Then she'd probably call him every couple of hours. But if Lin Yi didn't let her call him, wouldn't that mean that he'd let her find an excuse to call him? Lin Yi smiled dryly, changing the topic. Then why are you calling me this time? About leveling up? Leveling up? I want it. Lingshan narrowed her eyes, thinking of a prank again. When will you give it to me? I really want it. Good man. Chapter 1180. Didn't want to go. Seduction. Even someone like Lin Yi, with his resistance, was losing ground in front of Lingshan. That little vixen song. If this went on, something would happen sooner or later. Lin Yi took a deep breath. He couldn't deny that Lingshan had the body, the face, and the uniform, but Lin Yi was struggling. I can't do it now, I'll help you when I'm in Earth class. Lin Yi said, cutting Lingshan off. Ah. Lingshan paused. She'd thought that this was the limit of what Lin Yi could do for her, and that he wouldn't be able to do it again in the future. After all, external methods like this had their own limits, and other people's chi was different from their own. It was fine if it was a small amount, but too much would cause problems. Of course, Lingshan didn't know that Lin Yi's chi was an all-purpose chi, and after entering her body, it became the same as her own chi. This was Lin Yi's ultimate cheat after all. How could normal people compare to a main character with a halo? It can still rise? Lingshan asked, a little surprised. It was already good enough that she was golden class late phase peak, so how strong would she get if Lin Yi helped her? Could it be that he could level up and become a mystic class master? Yes, but you probably won't break through to Earth class. You'll probably only be mystic late phase peak. I haven't figured out the general pattern yet, but you'll always be a little lower than me. Lin Yi said, of course don't tell anyone about this. I want people to line up at my house and ask me to help them improve their strength. I'm not an idiot, of course I won't tell anyone, Lingshan said. How could she let other people know about this? But then she asked, can I really become a peak late phase mystic class? Lingshan didn't dare imagine it. Mystic late phase peak, that was the peak of all the noble houses in the common world, she had that kind of strength? And Lin Yi said that she was going to break through the Earth rank? Lingshan was dumbfounded. Naturally, she knew that Lin Yi was strong, but she didn't know that Lin Yi was this strong. Everyone else's target was half a layer, but Lin Yi was an Earth class. Could it be that Lin Yi was already a mystic late phase peak master? With that thought, Lingshan felt a surge of excitement in her heart. The man she had her eyes on wasn't wrong. Let's talk about it after I break through to Earth class. I don't know when I'll be able to do that. Lin Yi thought, I'm not even mystic late phase peak and you're already thinking about it? Aren't you being too greedy? I've worked so hard to level up and now that I've leveled up, you've leveled up. It's so unfair. But in fact, if someone were to hear Lin Yi's thoughts, they would probably vomit blood. You have a cultivation space, a cheat, and the ability to mass-produce experts. You're practically invincible. Do you still think it's hard? Yes. Lingshan said quickly. Then little dummy girl, I'll wait for you to break through and wash yourself clean. I'll be waiting for you anytime. You called just to talk about this? Lin Yi was speechless. No, actually, there's one more thing. Don't you know about Lu Boijia? Qin Yuqin found me and asked me to go with him to pretend to be a couple and carry out a mission. I'd like to invite you to come with us. With your skills, it'll reduce the danger. Lingshan got to the point. Rob tombs with you guys? Lin Yi blinked. Not with us, but to catch the tomb robbers. We'll also record how to activate the tomb's mechanisms, To help our archaeology. Ling Shan explained. Not interested. Lin Yi said faintly. I'm staying here to protect Mengyao and Yushu. Xiao family's been working with some hidden house pie lately, and they've sent a couple of practitioners to protect Xiao family. I think they'll come looking for trouble sooner or later. Go Huli even brought a lion here to cause trouble. Brought a lion? Ling Shan paused. No way. Where's the lion? My golden class dog chased it up a tree and it's still up there. Lin Yi smiled. I leveled up that dog. Ling Shan was speechless. Lin Yi really had nothing better to do, leveling up a golden class dog. But this also showed how strong Lin Yi was. Creating practitioners was no problem at all. Don't you have some medical knowledge? According to our research, this tomb might very well be the tomb of the folk medicine Saint Zhang Liju. Aren't you interested? Ling Shan started tempting Lin Yi, taking out the things Lin Yi was most interested in. There might be some ancient books in there. Of course I can't give you the originals, but I can give you the copies. Ling Shan was a principles. She couldn't just use relics to please Lin Yi. He could look, but he definitely couldn't take them away. But Lin Yi wouldn't be able to use the originals even if he wanted them. Not too interested. Lin Yi still wasn't interested. His old man had thousands of ancient books and he couldn't even finish them all. Why would he look at other people's? Plus, he really didn't have the time. Going into the tomb would take him at least 10 days to half a month. Ling Shan didn't expect that even this wouldn't attract Lin Yi's attention. She was a little disappointed. Think about it a little more, just think of it as protecting Miss Dumbo. It's dangerous in there, aren't you afraid that Miss Dumbo will die? Then don't go. Lin Yi said. Anything else? No, nothing else. Ling Shan was a little disappointed, but there was nothing she could do. She couldn't force Lin Yi to go if he didn't want to. Think about it a little more, it's not that urgent. Maybe the Xiao family's problem will be solved by then. We'll talk about it later. With that, Lin Yi hung up. After hanging up, Lin Yi walked out of the room and into the living room. Lin Yi had sensed it when Go Huli came with the lion. There were curtains in Lin Yi's bathroom, but one could still see the outside of the villa through the gaps. But Lin Yi relaxed after seeing Yushu and General Wei Wu come out. General Wei Wu was more than enough to deal with a lion. Chapter 1181. She spilled the beans, I saw it. Lin Yi smiled. How's the lion now? I don't know, let's go take a look together, see if it's dead or surrendered. Yushu was eager to know the result after hearing Lin Yi's words. Mengyao wasn't interested at first, but after hearing Yushu and Lin Yi's words, she was curious as well. She stood up and followed them out of the villa. But when they walked out, they saw a spectacular scene. General Wei Wu was leaning against the shade of a tree, and the lion was respectfully squatting beside General Wei Wu. It was fanning General Wei Wu with a broken piece of paper in its front paw. What? General Wei Wu has a follower? Yushu's eyes widened, shocked. Haha. Lin Yi wasn't surprised at this result. It was just a lion after all. It was a piece of cake for General Wei Wu to take care of it. Shield bro, now that you have 2 followers, you can go out without worry when we're at home. Yushu said happily, now we have another guard. Mengyao couldn't help but smile as well. A lion fanning a dog was something that could only be seen in cartoons, but it was happening right in front of her eyes. Mengyao couldn't believe it. But then again, ever since Lin Yi moved into the villa, too many unbelievable things had happened in the house. This lion is a little weak, and it might not have surrendered wholeheartedly. It's just afraid of General Wei Wu's aura, Lin Yi said faintly as he looked at the lion not far away. Oh. Yushu paused, this lion was faking its submission? Did that mean it wasn't very loyal? Yushu wasn't an idiot, and this was the case in real life. Some people were forced to submit to pressure and power, but in reality, they were waiting for the right opportunity to retaliate. They wouldn't go easy on their enemies, however. Yushu looked at the lion's eyes after hearing Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi's words weren't sincere at all. Yushu felt that Lin Yi's words made sense. She sighed. Then what should we do? Will it be able to faithfully look after our yard? Hehe, as long as it isn't as strong as General Wei Wu, it will still guard this place seriously. Lin Yi understood that sometimes, it didn't matter if one was sincere or submissive, as long as one's strength was there, the result would be the same. Oh, then let's keep it for now. Yushu nodded in satisfaction at Lin Yi's words. Hey lion, you need to protect the yard, okay? Don't let strangers in or I'll get General Wei Wu to deal with you. Understand? Oh Wu. The lion seemed to be quite intelligent, and seemed to understand Yushu's words. Yufeng was in a very good mood after breaking through to Mystic Mid-Phase. After thinking about it, he decided to give Ling Shan a call and change his image today. Otherwise, he'd be too weak to let Ling Shan see him beaten up like that. Ling Shan called Lin Yi and got rejected by Lin Yi. She wasn't in a good mood and came out of the room with a dark expression on her face. How is it? Ling Shan, did Lin Yi agree? Yu Qin asked worriedly, as if he was even more worried than Ling Shan. No. Ling Shan shook her head. I asked him to think about it, but he didn't reply. Man, if Lin Yi joined this mission, we'd have a higher chance. Yu Qin sighed as well. This mission is very dangerous. I don't want anything to go wrong. Me too, of course. Ling Shan said. It looks like I'll have to keep begging him. Ling Shan's phone rang again as they were talking, delighting her. She thought that it was Lin Yi calling back and that he'd changed his mind. But when Ling Shan took out her phone, it was an unknown number. Hello, I'm Song Ling Shan. Ling Shan picked up the phone and said her name in a formal manner. Ling Shan, it's Yu Feng. Yu Feng said excitedly. He thought that Ling Shan's voice was really nice, like the sound of nature. Even a simple sentence like that was so charming. Yu Feng? Why are you looking for me? Ling Shan frowned, her face darkening. She didn't expect this Yu Feng to call her so soon. This guy was really shameless, losing face in front of her today, and he didn't feel embarrassed at all. He still had the face to call her? Haha, it's like this, I'm at the beach today, right? The scenery and environment here are quite nice, and I heard that you're on leave tomorrow, so I wanted to invite you to the beach and relax. Yu Feng said with a smile. Ling Shan, you're under a lot of pressure from work. You can relax at the beach and enjoy nature. Let's have a picnic, what do you think? Ling Shan was pissed off. Did this Yu Feng do a thorough investigation? He even knew that she was on leave tomorrow? How's your injury? Weren't you going to the hospital today? What, you're leaving already? Ling Shan said faintly. Her meaning was clear. You were beaten up like that, why didn't you just stay in the hospital for treatment? What were you doing out here? Ling Shan, don't misunderstand. I didn't fight anyone today, I got beaten up on purpose. Yu Feng had already thought of what to say. In order to not lose face, he found a perfect excuse. You got people to beat you up on purpose? Ling Shan paused. Was there an idiot like that in this world? Looking for a beating? Was he itching for a beating? Yes. Yu Feng said seriously, Ling Shan, this is actually a method I came up with myself to train and level up. I call this method of leveling up cadence. What is the cadence? It's suppressing and showing off. Every time I reach a bottleneck, I'll use this cadence to level up. First, I'll suppress myself, and this means that I won't fight back, I'll just endure it. When I can't take it anymore, I'll explode and level up. Then you broke through? Ling Shan asked faintly. Yeah, I broke through. Yu Feng said proudly. I'm a mystic mid-phase now. Chapter 1182. I'll talk to him, right? I was mystic mid-phase, I'm at mystic mid-phase peak now. Yu Feng jumped in fright, remembering that he'd told Ling Shan that he was one level stronger than her. He'd almost let it slip. Is that so? Congratulations then. What did Ling Shan do for a living? She knew that Yu Feng was lying the moment she heard it. It seemed like this guy was lying. He probably didn't have the strength of mystic mid-phase before and was just about to break through, so he bragged to his grandpa that he was mystic mid-phase. Now that he had just broken through, he almost exposed himself. I'm very experienced in leveling up. Ling Shan, I heard that you're a rare genius too. You're still a little weaker than me, but you're already very strong. Yu Feng said proudly. But if you want to know the profound of leveling up, I can help. I believe that with my guidance, you'll be able to break through quickly as well. Oh. Ling Shan replied faintly. Breakthrough? Why didn't she ask him for help? What kind of crappy method was that? She had to get beaten up to break through? Ling Shan didn't want that, it was so easy with Lin Yi's help. There was no pressure at all, no pain at all. What? Ling Shan, you're not interested in leveling up? Yu Feng paused. He thought that Ling Shan would be really excited after what he'd said, but Ling Shan's attitude was very calm, as if she didn't hear anything at all. That shouldn't be the case, right? Yu Feng thought that most people would be excited when they heard about the profound meaning of leveling up. This was very important to a warrior. The path of cultivation was full of hardships, and every step was going against the flow. Every breakthrough required a huge price. No one could get something without putting in the effort. So, leveling up was a huge temptation for a practitioner, but why didn't Ling Shan care? Yu Feng didn't understand. How could he have known that Ling Shan would be able to level up so easily with Lin Yi's help? With such a good leveling tool like Lin Yi, why would he need Yu Feng's profound? I have to work overtime tomorrow, so I won't be able to go. You should go yourself. Ling Shan said faintly. There's a case and I have to stay. Yu Feng didn't know what to make of it. Lingshan's one sentence had blocked all of his excuses. No matter what Yufeng said, it was useless. Lingshan had a job, she couldn't just give it up, could she? Is there anything else? Lingshan asked. No. No more. Yufeng said helplessly. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up, Lingshan said and put the phone on the table, letting out a long breath. She didn't know why, but Lingshan felt a sense of disgust when she heard Yufeng's voice. Who's calling? Lingshan, you don't seem too happy? Yuqin looked at Lingshan curiously. House Yu's Yufeng, I don't know what's going on, but my grandpa wants me to marry House Yu to House Yu. Lingshan didn't hide anything from Yuqin and told him her troubles. What? Yufeng? Yuqin froze, looking at Lingshan in disbelief. You're saying that your old song wants to marry House Yu? What's going on? How would I know? Lingshan rolled her eyes helplessly. Didn't I always say that the man in the future would be stronger than me? Grandpa remembered it, and I don't know how he got in touch with House Yu, saying that Yufeng was stronger than me, so he made a deal with them privately. I didn't think that Yufeng would come looking for me. But don't you like Lin Yi? You and Yufeng? Yuqin asked, agitated. I don't like Yufeng at all. Lingshan shook her head. But Grandpa won't listen when I tell him, so I can only deal with it for a while. Hopefully this Yufeng will back off. I see. If that's the case, I'll talk to him when I see him and explain things to him. Hopefully he'll give up on his own. Yuqin, on the other hand, knew about the marriage between noble houses, but it wasn't impossible to cancel the marriage if both parents objected. And so, Yuqin thought that since Yufeng and Lingshan hadn't broken up yet, he'd talk to him about it and maybe he'd let go. They were both men after all. If he could let go, what about Yufeng? Yuqin bro, it's best if you don't go. I don't have a good impression of this Yufeng, but I don't think he's a good person to deal with. You should just ignore him. He'll probably give up after hitting a wall a few times. Lingshan knew Yuqian's temperament. She was afraid that he wouldn't be a match for Yufeng if they really fought. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing, Yuqian said. Then if he doesn't give up after a while, you'll talk to him again? Lingshan had no choice but to delay. Alright. If he still doesn't give up after a while, I'll talk to him. Yuqian nodded. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine, with House Lu and Fatty Lai's business backing it up, began to be sold on a large scale in the market without any pressure, and sales were rising steadily. Especially after the effects of the medicine were verified by the consumers, the sales volume doubled. Fatty Lai was overjoyed by the huge supply, but he had no choice but to take a loan and invest in the production line as soon as possible. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be long before the stock ran out, and the market would be out of stock. Although this would create a situation where the demand exceeded the supply, the consumers would also have negative feelings towards Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. Being out of stock was always uncomfortable. And so, in order to prevent this from happening, Fatty Lai gathered people and started working overtime to increase production. From the looks of it, the new product hadn't even been put into production yet, and they had to make way for the injury medicine. Even if they increased production, they wouldn't have the extra production lines to produce the new painkillers. It was already good enough that they could supply the entire country with the injury medicine. This was something that Fatty Lai didn't foresee. He didn't think that the injury medicine would be so popular and affect the entire country. He originally only wanted to push it into the market in the province and nearby provinces, but he underestimated the network effect. As of now, everyone knew about Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. Chapter 1183. House Kang's Shakdonghai, House Kang's mansion. Looking at Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine being released into the market in large quantities, the Kangs were dumbfounded. Didn't I tell you to control the raw materials? What's going on? Where did Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company get so many raw materials? Dr. Kang looked at the news and smashed the teacup in his hand onto the floor. He yelled at Kang Guifeng, Kang Guifeng, tell me what's going on. Aren't you in charge of the raw materials? Dad, I did buy all the raw materials. I bought all the bad ones too. There shouldn't be any stock left in the market. Kang Guifeng said with a bitter face, unless they started buying raw materials in large quantities a few years ago, the raw materials in the market would be monopolized by us. A few years ago? How is that possible? Did they prepare for a few years before releasing the product into the market? Do you think that's possible? Dr. Kang said angrily. I don't think it's possible either. But other than that, there's no other explanation. Kang Guifeng said helplessly, I've already asked all the raw material suppliers and they don't have any stock left. I even offered to buy them at a high price, but they couldn't take it out. So this proves that they don't have any stock left. Out of stock? Is it a ghost? This miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine is constantly being sent into the market. More than what we have, that means you have everything you need. We can't even keep the cost down at this price. Miracle Dr. Kong humphed coldly. Maybe they're making a loss to attack us. Kong Guifeng said hesitantly, this is a common business tactic. Many people use it. They'll wait until our product has no market, and when they take over the entire market, they'll raise the price again. That way they can recoup their previous losses. Oh? You're saying they're doing this on purpose? Did you amass so many goods just to attack us? Dr. Kong asked. That's possible. Kong Guifeng had been thinking about it for the past few days. He couldn't understand how Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company could fully distribute the goods in just a few days. Then let's discuss how we should deal with it? Dr. Kong asked with a frown. Grandpa, I have a good idea. Xiaolong had lost face earlier, so he spoke before Kong Mingming could. What good idea do you have? Tell me. Dr. Kong asked with a smile as he looked at his eldest grandson. Actually, he was more interested in his eldest grandson Kong Xiaolong, even though Kong Mingming was quite capable. It's like this. I think that since Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is making a loss, then we'll let them make a loss. On the surface, we'll do what we want and not adjust the price or the number of sales. Instead, we'll buy Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine in bulk. Xiaolong said, since our cost isn't enough, we'll buy their products in bulk and stock them up. When Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company can't take it anymore, we'll change the packaging and continue to market at the same price. We'll be able to make Miracle Dr. Guan lose a lot of money. That makes sense. Dr. Kong nodded. He felt that Xiaolong's words made sense, but he still looked at Kong Mingming. He wanted to see if his second grandson had any good ideas. Kong Mingming had some achievements recently, so Dr. Kong asked, what about Xiaoming? What do you think we should do? Grandpa, I don't agree with Big Brother's point of view. Kong Mingming was an idiot, but he'd gotten lucky recently. He'd made so many great achievements that he felt a little smug. That was why he went against his big brother. What? Dr. Kong asked quickly. That. Kong Mingming frowned. He was just objecting subconsciously. Why would there be a reason? But since his grandpa asked, he couldn't say he didn't know. He could only brace himself and start talking nonsense. Grandpa, think about it. You said it before, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company couldn't have planned to buy these raw materials a few years ago. They already had this amazing medicine, so they should have put it on the market a long time ago. Why would they wait until now? A few years ago, they could even compete with our Dr. Kang's golden creation. Why would they wait? So this guess isn't reliable. Then why do you think so? Dr. Kong nodded. He felt that Kong Mingming's words were reasonable. I think this Guan Shuamin might have used some low-quality ingredients to replace the expensive ones. You should know that Guan Shuamin is an expert in the medical world. It's not impossible. Kong Mingming said, if he used some low-quality ingredients, then the cost would be lower and he wouldn't have to buy those expensive rare ingredients. You're talking nonsense, right? Didn't you get the prescription from them already? Are you saying that the prescription you got isn't accurate? Xiaolong didn't wait for Dr. Kong to speak and retorted, besides, if we could change the ingredients on the prescription, we would have done it a long time ago. Don't forget that I'm also a medical student. Our Kong family's laboratory has been researching whether it's possible to replace the rare and expensive medicinal materials in the prescription with other medicinal materials. You think you can compare to Guan Shuamin? He's an expert and you just graduated. Brother, it's good that you're confident, but too much confidence is just arrogance and conceit. Kong Mingming said, either way, I'm sticking to my own point of view. I got the prescription from them, that's true, but you can't guarantee that they won't change it when it's put into production. Alright, stop arguing. Dr. Kong saw his two grandsons arguing and he was a little annoyed. What time was this, and they were still arguing because of their own feelings? How could they deal with others if they weren't united? Xiaolong and Kong Mingming shut their mouths at the same time, but they still didn't give in. Xiaoming's words make sense, but the possibility isn't high. After all, this prescription can't be changed just like that. It's a miraculous prescription, how can it be changed so easily? Dr. Kong said, I think we should follow Xiaolong's suggestion and buy Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine in bulk. Chapter 1184. Going for wool and coming home shorn, don't be too happy. If we didn't cancel the engagement with the Xiao family, our house Kong would have been flying high by now. You were the one who opposed your brother's point of view. Actually, Xiaoming's point of view is right. You need to learn from him. Dr. Kong looked at Xiaolong's smug face and scolded him. Yes, Grandpa, I understand. Xiaolong's expression tensed up as he replied carefully. Grandpa, I still insist on my point of view. Kong Ming heard his grandpa's words and he didn't know where his courage came from. He forced himself to say this stubbornly. He knew that he couldn't back down now. He had to persevere no matter if it was right or wrong. But he thought that he was still very lucky. Everything he did recently had been going smoothly, and he managed to get it right a few times by sheer luck. Grandpa has already made the decision. Xiaoming, you don't have to say any more. I know what you're thinking, but right now the family's interest is the most important. Xiaolong's tone was kind, but the sarcasm in his words was very thick. Anyone could tell that he was saying that Kong Ming's point of view was destroying the family's interest. Do whatever you want if you don't want to listen to me. You'll only remember what I said when you suffer. Kong Xiaoming felt like he couldn't keep his face any longer. He spat out those words and left the room. Sigh. Miracle Dr. Kong looked at his second grandson's back, his heart a little conflicted. Was his second grandson really a man of great potential? Every time he raised a point of view, it was so shocking, but every time it was right on the mark. Was it really a coincidence or did he see something? However, the stocking up this time didn't affect the family's profits much. Even if Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company continued to sell at this price, the family wouldn't lose anything. At most, they would just have to spend a little more effort. With that thought, Miracle Dr. Kong relaxed a little. The lion went to House Chu to be a follower, and Go Huli wasn't happy about it. This was a tamed lion that she had spent a great deal of effort to buy. How could Go Huli be willing to let the Chu clan have it so easily? The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. She couldn't sleep the whole night. The next morning, Go Huli went to House Chu to ask for the lion back. But Go Huli didn't know what to do. After all, if she asked for the lion just like that, not only would they not give it to her, they'd even scold her. With Yushu's ruthlessness, she'd definitely scold her. At the entrance of House Chu's mansion, Go Huli tiptoed and peeked in. She saw the lion lying in the yard, not moving at all. Go Huli felt like it was a godsend. Go Huli smiled and walked towards the lion. Go Huli smiled and walked towards the lion. Lion, little lion, sweetheart, come back with me? Huli smiled and walked over to the lion. The lion raised its eyelids lazily and looked at Go Huli before lowering its eyelids. It didn't even care about Go Huli, not even bothering to make a sound. Oh whoa. Go Huli saw that the lion ignored her and lowered her voice to mimic the lion. She thought that since the lion was male, she'd be able to attract the lion's attention if she mimicked a lioness. But the lion didn't react at all. It didn't even look at Go Huli. Go Huli panicked, thinking that the lion didn't hear her. She raised her voice and roared again, oh whoa, oh whoa. But the lion still didn't care. Go Huli panicked even more, oh whoa, oh whoa, oh whoa, oh whoa. This time she didn't attract the lion, but Yushu came out of the villa. Yushu thought that the lion was bored and came to teach it a lesson. But when she came out, she saw that it wasn't the lion but Go Huli. Yushu looked at Go Huli confusedly. Old woman, your lion is gone, so you're pretending to be a lion to get attention? Go Huli heard Yushu's words and got angry from embarrassment. Pretending to be a lion? She just wanted to bring the lion back, but the lion didn't care about her at all. What could she do? Pretending to be a lion? I'm going to bring the lion back. Go Huli humphed. Oh, do what you want then, Yushu said nonchalantly and went back to the villa. Go Huli was left here. She didn't know if she should leave or not. After a while, Go Huli stomped her feet and left angrily. She didn't have a choice. Yushu made it sound easy, but the lion wouldn't move. Couldn't Go Huli go and hug the lion? Go Huli thought about it and came up with an idea. The lion loved meat, especially fresh beef from the market. With that thought, Go Huli quickly went home and drove to the market. She bought a big piece of fresh beef and went back to Mingyao's villa. Lion, lion, I bought your favorite beef. Want to go home with me? Go Huli tempted the lion with the beef. Under the temptation of the beef, the lion looked up at Go Huli and stood up with a howl. Go Huli was overjoyed. An animal was an animal. Milk was a mother. She gave it food, so why wouldn't it go home with her? Little lion, come home with me. I'll give you big fish and meat every day. I promise you'll eat well. Go Huli raised the bag of beef in her hand proudly. The lion stood up and walked to Go Huli. It raised its head and bit down, snatching the bag of beef from her hand. Go Huli was afraid that the lion would bite her hand and let go subconsciously. The bag of beef went into the lion's mouth. Little lion, I've given you the beef. Come home with me. Go Huli said. But the lion turned around with the beef in its mouth and gave Go Huli a butt. The lion quickly ran to the door of the villa and scratched it with its front paw. After a while, the villa's door opened and Yushu walked out. The lion gave the bag of beef to Yushu. Yushu took it and saw that it was full of fresh beef. She was overjoyed. "Little lion, where did you get this beef?" "I was just worrying about what to eat tonight. Now I can make curry beef and potatoes." Chapter 1185. Chapter 1183, Diarrhea. "Thank you, old woman. You're such a nice person sending meat to my house." Yushu waved her hand at Huli, who was livid with rage. "I'm so pissed." Go Huli was furious, but there was nothing she could do. Yushu carried the beef back to the villa with a smile. "Shield bro, Go Huli gave us some beef. See if it's okay?" Linny didn't go out, but he saw what happened from inside the house. He took the beef from Yushu and looked at it carefully, smelling it and licking it with his tongue. "It's okay, it's very fresh. I'll cook it for you tonight." "Oh, this old woman is so kind." Yushu clapped her hands. "But this piece is too big, we can't finish it. Let's cut off half and give it to the lion," Linny said. "Okay." Yushu happily took the beef to the kitchen and cut off a big piece before tossing it to the lion. "Little lion, this is your reward. Good job, keep it up." The lion shook its head and bit the piece of beef as if it was thanking Yushu. Go Huli, who was watching from the yard, almost fainted from anger. She was the one who bought the meat. Go Huli was so depressed that she wanted to vomit blood. This lion was so ungrateful. "Fine, since you're being unkind, don't blame me for being unkind." In her anger, Go Huli came up with an idea and drove the car back to the market. This time she bought a big piece of pork but didn't leave immediately. She found a small pharmacy and bought a bottle of fruit tablets, a laxative. Go Huli left the pharmacy and found a place to rest. She crushed all the pieces of fruit and mixed them into the meat. She laughed and drove back to the villa area after the powder dissolved and couldn't be seen anymore. They arrived at House Chu's villa again, and Go Huli got off the car with the pork. She pretended to be impatient like before. "Little lion, I'm here to see you again. I bought you your favorite pork, do you want to come back with me?" As she spoke, she waved the pork in front of the lion. This time the lion did the same thing as before. It walked over and bit the plastic bag in Huli's hand, bringing it to the villa's door and knocking with its front paw. Yushu came out a while later, confused as she looked at the plastic bag in the lion's mouth. Was Go Huli an idiot? He had already suffered a loss once, and now he was suffering a second time? Was she addicted to suffering losses, or did she have a bad memory? But Yushu didn't say anything. She took the plastic bag from the lion's mouth and looked at Go Huli. "Thank you, old woman, for giving us food again." "Why yaya? I'm so pissed." Go Huli pretended to be angry. Yushu came back to the living room with the plastic bag and asked suspiciously, "Shield bro, why did Go Huli give us food again? Is there a problem?" "Let me see." Linny took the meat from Yushu and smelled it. He wiped his hand on it and put it in his mouth. "It's a laxative." Yushu was shocked and raged. "I knew Go Huli wouldn't be so nice. She gave us a big piece of pork after giving us beef. Isn't she an idiot? There's a problem. General Weiwu, come here for a second." Linny waved his hand at Weiwu. Boss Linny called, and General Weiwu ran over, shaking its head at Linny. "Take this to Go Huli's kitchen. Don't let anyone see it. Leave it in the kitchen and come back," Linny ordered. "Woof woof." General Weiwu barked twice and left with the plastic bag in Lin Yi's hands. Yushu burst into laughter as she watched General Weiwu leave. "What? Shil bro, you're so bad. Shu hasn't even thought of how to deal with that old woman Go Huli, and you came up with such a bad idea. Waha, they're going to rob the toilet tonight." That's Go Huli's fault. Linny didn't think much of it. After all, he didn't do anything. The laxative was Go Huli's own doing. What did it have to do with him? Go Huli watched as Yushu entered the house and didn't come out again. She couldn't help but feel proud. It seemed like this idiot Yushu took the pork back. As long as they ate it, they'd have to go to the toilet. At night, Xiao family's dinner was very sumptuous. Today was Xiao family's nanny's first day. After Mrs. Yu left, Go Huli found a full-time nanny from a housekeeping company to take care of Xiao family's daily cleaning and cooking. On the first day, this nanny cooked a few dishes and showed off her culinary skills. This was to gain the Xiao family's approval. Go Huli was very satisfied with the home-cooked dishes on the table. This nanny wasn't bad. She'd keep her for now. Go Huli didn't plan on kicking her out. The entire House Xiao and the two masters from House Pai sat around the table and ate heartily. Everyone ate happily, especially Go Huli. Because of Go Huli, she taught House Chu a lesson today. No one in House Chu's villa would be able to sleep peacefully tonight. There was braised pork, double-cooked pork, and all kinds of home-cooked meat dishes on the table. The Xiao family, they had eaten too many delicacies. These home-cooked dishes were very cheap. Go Huli ate a lot and was very full. However, after the whole family ate and drank to their heart's content, the problem came. First it was Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao. Their stomachs began to growl. These two were young people and ate more, especially meat. So it was reasonable for them to be the first to react. And so, these two started running to the toilet. Next was Go Huli's turn. Because of her mood, Go Huli ate a lot, especially meat. So, she started running to the toilet as well. Then it was Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben and Xiao Ben's wife. Finally, it was the two masters from House Pai. The two masters from House Pai ate a lot as well, but because of their strong physique, they waited until the last to react. Chapter 1186. Go Huli, dumbstruck seeing the Xiao family start to have diarrhea, Nanny Lu's face was as white as a sheet. Without a doubt, she was the only one who didn't eat with the Xiao family, and she was the only one who didn't have diarrhea. This meant that there was something wrong with the food she prepared. Nanny Lu, what kind of food is this? Are you trying to kill us? Finally, the diarrhea came to an end, and Go Huli leaned on the sofa with a pale face. The rest of the Xiao family were also lying on the sofa and chairs, except for the two masters from House Pai. They were martial artists after all, and their bodies were stronger than normal people. But even so, their faces were pale and there was sweat on their foreheads. As the saying goes, a man can't stand 3 splashes of shit. Big madam, I don't know either. I used ready-made ingredients. The ingredients were bought by young master and young master from the supermarket. I was in charge of cooking. Nanny Lu answered very carefully. Although she didn't know why this happened, she couldn't avoid the responsibility since everyone in the Xiao family had a stomachache. Is that so? Wangba, Wangdao, did you guys buy something that's not fresh? Go Huli turned her gaze to Wangba and Wangdao. No, we bought it from the supermarket and it's very fresh. We can't buy something that's not fresh. Wangba said, feeling wronged. Our Xiao family is not the same as before, and there are 2 masters from House Pai here. I couldn't buy processed meat, I bought the best. That's weird. Could it be that there are some things that can't be eaten together? Go Huli held her stomach and frowned. Wait bro, do you remember that when we bought meat we didn't buy streaky pork, only the tenderloin? How did you make this braised pork? Wang Dao slapped his thigh. Yeah. We didn't buy streaky pork. Xiao Wangba suddenly remembered something. Nanny Lu, where did this streaky pork come from? Did you buy it yourself? No. Nanny Lu felt wronged. The streaky pork is with the other ingredients in the kitchen. I'm still on probation and haven't gotten paid yet. How could I possibly spend my own money to buy meat? You're right. Where did the streaky pork come from? Xiao Ben felt that Nanny Lu didn't seem to be lying, and it was impossible for his son and the eldest family's son to join forces to lie. The only possibility was that there was something wrong. At first, Xiao Ben didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Wasn't it just diarrhea after running? But after listening to Auntie Lu and her son's words, she suddenly felt that something was wrong. Second master, I don't know either. Nanny Lu quickly said, by the way, there is still a large piece of streaky pork left in the kitchen. I haven't finished it yet. It's in the kitchen now. Why don't you go and have a look? Of course I have to go and take a look. Xiao Ben said solemnly, standing up first. Xiao Ji, Go Huli, Xiao Ben's wife, Xiao Wangba, and Xiao Wangdao also stood up and went to the kitchen. As expected, Xiao Ben saw a large piece of raw streaky pork in the fridge. It was wrapped in a plastic bag with a price tag on it. Today's date is written on the tag. It should be a fresh piece of meat. Xiao Ben picked up the pork and frowned. Huli, who was standing behind, froze when she saw the bag in Xiao Ben's hand. She stared at the bag as if she was struck by lightning. Her eyes widened. How could she not recognize this bag of streaky pork? She had bought it from the market before. She could still remember the price tag clearly. At this moment, Huli finally understood why she and the entire Xiao family had diarrhea. It was because she put laxatives in the pork herself. Huli's face turned pale at the thought. But what Go Huli didn't understand was how the meat ended up in her kitchen. Didn't the lion give it to Yushu? Could it be that the meat could fly and came here by itself? Go Huli felt as if she had swallowed a fly. She was reaping what she sowed. This meat wasn't bought from the supermarket. It was bought from the market. I don't think Wangba and Wangdao bought it together. Xiao Ben looked at the price tag and compared it with the labels on other supermarkets. Then he said, so, this piece of meat is very suspicious, but it shouldn't be the problem with the meat itself. This meat looks very fresh. It should have been tampered with later. Yes, you're right, brother. Xiaoji nodded and said, second brother, look at the plastic bag. There's white powder. Could it be laxative? Xiaoji pointed at the bottom of the bag. There was a fine white powder. It was just that if one didn't look closely they wouldn't be able to see it. Mother Lu was scared. Master, I don't know. I didn't do it. I don't know. Whether it's you or not, take this meat to the market tomorrow and ask the boss. Well, no. This piece of meat is very big and expensive. The boss will definitely have an impression of it. When the time comes we can just ask who bought it. Xiaoben had an idea. No need to ask. I bought the meat. Go Huli said with a sad face, her expression extremely ugly. Although it was unfortunate, Go Huli had to admit it. It was very strange after all, and she wanted Xiaoben to analyze it for her. You bought it? Sister-in-law, you bought it? Xiaoben paused. He looked at Huli strangely. He didn't believe that Huli would poison the Xiao family. Plus Huli ate it herself. She was a victim too. You bitch. Are you trying to kill the Xiao family? Xiao Ji was enraged by Go Huli's words and slapped her across the face. Go Huli's vision was spinning and she almost fell to the ground. Brother. What are you doing? Sister-in-law didn't do it on purpose. Didn't she eat it herself? Xiaoben was speechless at his brother's temper. Wasn't he too quick to anger? As soon as Go Huli admitted it, he slapped her face. Then what's going on? Xiao Ji humphed coldly and looked at Huli. Chapter 1187. Go to the Xiao family. Xiaoben listened to Go Huli's explanation and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was no doubt that this was done by someone from House Chu's villa. Xiaoben knew Lin Yi's strength very well. It wouldn't be hard to sneak a piece of pork into House Zhao's kitchen without anyone noticing. It seemed like Lin Yi had seen through Huli's tricks and was giving her a taste of her own medicine. Fuck. You useless bitch, you're such a waste. Xiao Ji slapped her again. I'm telling you, a lion is nothing. Second brother has already thought of a way to help you teach the Chu people a lesson. How could you do it on your own? Are you okay now? Did something happen? We're all in trouble with you. My stomach. Big brother, it's fine, this is a good thing. Luckily, sis-in-law bought laxatives. If it was poison we'd be in the hospital right now. Xiaoben smiled helplessly. Let's just forget about this. It's not a big deal for us, but we've dragged the two Pai masters into this. I'm fine, I have my martial arts to protect me, it's nothing. The older man didn't want to lose face because of this, so he waved his hand and said nonchalantly, people who practice martial arts have good bodies. That's good. Xiaoben let out a breath of relief. I've let Elder Pai and Mr. Pai see us as a joke. It's nothing. Since there's nothing else, I'll be going back to my room to rest. Elder Pai left after saying that. He needed to go to the toilet right away. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye, and Huli didn't appear in the hospital again. It was as if she had forgotten about it. Other than Manager Zhang from the housekeeping company coming to Mrs. Yu's room with some compensation, no one else showed up. Gooden said that his boss was a great healer, and that he should have a way to heal her mother's leg, but his boss hadn't come to check it himself, nor had he come to give a conclusion. Yuan was still a bit worried. Zhou Jiaming, do you think? That boss of yours, can he really heal Mom? Of course he can. Yuan, do you believe me? Just trust me, I won't lie to you. Gooden patted his chest. Yuan let out a breath of relief upon hearing Gooden's confidence. Yuan, the evil master of this lion, still hasn't appeared. I need to go get an explanation from her. We can't just get bullied for no reason. Gooden had been keeping track of the time these days. 3 days was up, and he couldn't sit still anymore. How about, just forget it? I'm afraid that you're not their opponent and will cause more trouble. Yuan said with some worry. It had been a few days since the incident, and Yuan's mentality had also calmed down a little. Other than some sadness, there wasn't as much anger as before. That won't do. My boss said if someone dares to bully us, then we have to bully them back and we have to bully them twice as much. I can't lose face for boss. You're my friend, if you get bullied it's the same as me getting bullied. I need to get an explanation. Gooden said, a little agitated. Man, be careful then. If they don't listen to reason then forget it. Yuan didn't have a choice now that Gooden insisted. These 2 days, Gooden had gotten the address of his employer from his mother. Yuan knew Gooden's personality, and she knew that she couldn't stop him even if she wanted to. Got it, I'll go get them now. If that bitch doesn't give me an explanation, I'll kill that lion with one punch. Gooden said and walked out of the room looking for Go Huli's house. Yuan sighed as she watched Gooden leave. She didn't know if she should be happy or troubled. With Gooden by her side, naturally they felt safer than before, but Gooden was so reckless, wanting to kill people for no reason at all. This made Yuan worried and troubled. She hoped that he didn't cause any trouble. Gooden was smarter this time. In order to avoid getting lost, he had a map of Songshan in his pocket, following the markings on the map to the Shao house's villa. Looking at the luxurious villa, Gooden was a little envious. This house was so grand. Even when he lived in Yuan's house, he felt that it was much more comfortable than the houses in the village, but now this villa looked like a palace. No wonder the people living here were so arrogant. But even if they were arrogant, they still had to take responsibility if their pet bit someone. Gooden didn't know anything about doorbells. In the village, people basically yelled to find people, and when they went to other people's houses they just banged on the door. What doorbell? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Gooden started banging on the iron fence outside the villa. Of course, as angry as he was at how unreasonable the mistress of the house was, he didn't know what she wanted, so he couldn't just break the fence. Gooden's voice was as loud as a megaphone, and everyone in the Shao family's villa heard him loud and clear. Is anyone there? Is there anyone in the villa? Gooden banged on the fence crazily again. The door of the villa finally opened. Xiaoji walked out of the villa. Who is it? Shouting in front of the Shao family's house, do you want to die? It's me. Gooden pointed at Xiaoji. Where's Go Huli? Get her out here. Go Huli. Xiaoji's face darkened as he looked at Gooden, not knowing who he was. Who are you? Why are you looking for my wife? Oh? Go Huli's your wife? That's perfect, get her out here. Gooden heard that Go Huli was Xiaoji's wife, and he knew that he'd come to the right place. Who are you calling a wife? Go Huli came with Xiaoji and she was just called a wife by Yushu, and now Gooden was calling her a wife again. She was a bit pissed. You're here to cause trouble, aren't you? Chapter 1188. House Pai's master attacks your Go Huli? I'm looking for you. Gooden pointed at the iron door. Open it, let me in. Open it? You're here to cause trouble, aren't you? Can't you see where you are? Is this a place you can do whatever you want? How dare you yell at me, do you want to die? Go Huli naturally didn't think much of Gooden. You wicked old woman, you are indeed a little unreasonable. No wonder the lion doesn't have the slightest attitude of admitting its mistake after biting her. Gooden looked at Huli's arrogant face, and he knew that she didn't feel guilty at all about her mother getting bitten by the lion. The lion bit someone? You're here to cause trouble for that cleaner? Go Huli's face darkened. She knew why Gooden was here. The lion had only bitten one person since entering the villa. Naturally, Go Huli knew who it was. I'm not here to cause trouble, I'm here to demand an explanation. Your lion bit someone, why didn't you go apologize? Don't you have any conscience or morals? Gooden pointed at Huli and questioned. Get lost. You're not welcome here. Go Huli was still pissed about the lion and Gooden was here again. Thinking about the lion, she got even angrier. She waved her hand impatiently, wanting to chase him away. You're still here? Xiaoji thought it was something serious, but it was just the family of a cleaner, coming to demand an explanation. Xiaoji waved his hand as well. Didn't I pay you guys money? What, you think it's too little? It's not about the money, it's about the attitude. I'm here to demand an explanation. Gooden didn't expect this family to be this unreasonable. The women were unreasonable and the men were unreasonable. They were all arrogant bastards. Don't do this the hard way. Scram now and I'll let this go, but if you don't leave now, don't blame me for being rude. Xiaoji humphed coldly. Don't you know where you are? How dare you act like this? It seems like your whole family is unreasonable. Gooden didn't want to waste time with someone like this. If that's the case, I won't bother you guys anymore. Hand over the lion, I'll kill it with one punch and I'll leave. Ah. Go Huli smiled coldly. The lion isn't here. What can you do even if it's here? You want to beat me to death? Stop bragging, I won't bite you to death. Xiaoben didn't believe Gooden too. He smiled coldly and turned around to go back to the villa with Huli, ignoring Gooden. Alright, since you won't let me in, I'll go find it myself. With that, Gooden pulled with his hand, and the iron fence seemed to be made of soft mud. It was torn apart without any resistance. After tearing down the bars, Gooden walked in as if he didn't care about Xiaoji and Go Huli at all. Xiaoji and Go Huli were stunned. They thought that Gooden was just a relative of the cleaner, and a small character like this wasn't someone the Shao family would care about. But this Gooden suddenly turned into a master, and that thick iron fence was like soft mud in his hands. This scared the hell out of Xiaoji and Huli. Of course, they were people who had seen the world, and they knew that martial arts practitioners were powerful. Could this person be a practitioner as well? Xiaoji panicked and said to Huli, "Let's go. Find the masters from House Pi." Huli didn't dare linger, following Xiaoji up the stairs. Xiaoji called out as he ran, "Not good, Elder Pi, Mr. Pi, someone's here to cause trouble for the Xiao family, please help us." Elder Pi and Mr. Pi were practicing when they heard Xiaoji's call. They frowned. Could it be that the Xiao family was in some trouble? After Elder Pi and Mr. Pi came to the Xiao family, the Xiao family treated them like they were their ancestors, serving them with good food and drinks. House Pi had told them that they would only ask for help if there was a problem that the Xiao family couldn't handle, but there hadn't been any trouble recently, and it made them feel a little embarrassed. Now that someone was here to cause trouble, it was the perfect chance for Elder Pi to show off his skills. But Elder Pi was a little worried. Was this a normal gangster or a real master? If it was a real master, then he'd be able to handle it, but dealing with a gangster would be lowering his status. What's going on? Head of the Xiao family, someone's here to cause trouble? Elder Pi pushed the door open and asked, "Old Pi, help. The person who came is also a master." With just a casual tug, he tore the iron bars apart. It was as easy as playing with mud. Xiaoji quickly said, "Oh, the iron bars at the entrance were all torn apart?" Elder Pi furrowed his brows. He knew how thick the iron fence in front of the mansion was. If someone could tear it apart, it would be impossible for a normal person to do so. This person must be a cultivator. He was at least golden class early phase too. Was he a spiritual practitioner or a physical practitioner? With that thought, Elder Pi turned to Mr. Pi. "Let's go see what's going on." "Thank you, Elder Pi." Xiaoji naturally breathed out in relief. No matter how strong this person was, with Elder Pi here, it was a piece of cake. Elder Pi brought Mr. Pi downstairs, bumping into Gooden, who was walking up the stairs. He looked around, searching for the lion. "It looks like you're here to cause trouble?" Elder Pi stood in front of Gooden, asking faintly. He couldn't tell Gooden's strength right now, and whether it was a spiritual practitioner or a physical practitioner, one couldn't tell unless they used their practitioner's arts or attacked. Of course, that was excluding people like Lin Yi, who had a golden finger. "Who are you? You're the helper that the men and women hired?" Gooden looked at Elder Pi oddly. Why are they so dumb? Why did they hire an old man? "Alright, get out of my way, I still need to find the lion." "How dare you disrespect Elder Pi?" The young man beside Elder Pi was enraged. Elder Pi was a man of status. He had some status in House Pi, and he was Mr. Pi's elder. Mr. Pi wasn't happy with Gooden's disrespect. He wanted to teach this idiot a lesson, and so he sent a slap towards Gooden's face. Chapter 1189. Chapter 1187. The tragedy of a misunderstanding. What he didn't expect was that Gooden didn't seem to care at all. He grabbed Mr. Pi's hand and pulled it lightly to the side, sending Mr. Pi flying out from the third floor, crashing into the marble coffee table in the living room with a loud thud. It was quite a heavy fall, and he fainted right away. Mr. Pi was a mystic early phase. He was quite a powerful being. Not to mention falling from the third floor. Even if he fell from the fifth floor, he would still be fine. Especially for someone like him who practiced external martial arts, his physical fitness was incomparably tyrannical. But today he'd failed miserably. He'd underestimated his foe, and was thrown off the building by Gooden. When he reacted, it was already too late. Plus, how strong was Gooden? Even if he reacted, he wouldn't be able to compete with Gooden's strength. Gooden had even thrown him with hidden energy, and there was no reason for him not to faint. Gooden's sudden move froze Elder Pi. He didn't expect Gooden to be this strong, throwing Mr. Pi out in one move. While it was part of him underestimating his foe, it also meant that this person wasn't weak. More importantly, Gooden had made his move in an instant, and Elder Pi didn't even have time to see what level Gooden was before he pulled his hand back. Elder Pi was regretting it. It was his fault for not paying attention. But the more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He'd lost face in front of a junior. "Kid, which force are you from? Are you here to have sex?" Elder Pi decided to investigate Gooden's background first. "Old man, I'm here to find the lion, not to have sex. As for that guy just now, he was the one who hit me first, that's why I threw him out." Gooden was a reasonable man. "Give me the lion, I'll kill it with one punch and I'll leave now." "Kid, I think you don't know your place. You dare make such a request in front of me?" Elder Pi raged. "Good, very good. You have guts. In front of this old man, not many people dare to be so arrogant. You really don't put me in your eyes. Brat, no matter who you are, you have to pay the price today." Old Pi saw that Gooden didn't give him any face, and he got even more pissed off. This was blatant disrespect. He wasn't a normal person in House Pi, and he was about to break through to Earth class. How could he be looked down upon by a kid here? Gooden looked at Elder Pai, confused. I don't even know who you are and you keep calling me old man. Are you trying to help the lion or are you just bored? If you have nothing better to do then go away. I don't want to beat you up. Why ya. I'm Pai Yang. Elder Pai was pissed off. The guy wanted to beat him up, but he didn't? How many years had it been? He was one of the top figures in the hidden houses, and he'd never been humiliated like this before. And so, he announced his name, someone that even the 8 noble houses had to give him some face. Ha. Gooden paused. You're itching for a beating? Gooden's thoughts were a mess. This old man really had nothing better to do, coming here to meddle in other people's business. The reason was that he was itching for a beating. Gooden was a practical man, but he was in a bit of a dilemma today. This old man was stopping him from going to the lion just because he was itching for a beating? Wasn't itching to get beaten up? But he didn't have anything to do with this guy, and he didn't want to beat him up. But, from the looks of it, if he didn't get rid of this old man, he wouldn't let him go to the lion. Gooden had no choice but to ask, Are you itching for a beating? That's right. I'm Pai Yang. Elder Pai saw the awkward and troubled look on Gooden's face, thinking that he'd heard of his name before. It seemed that his name was quite useful after all. In the common world he was a very powerful existence and all the practitioners knew about it. This made things easier. Since this Gooden knew him, he'd tell him who his master was and where he came from. If he was from a small sect or a small noble house, then he'd help House Pai extort some money from them. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to extort money from them. Pai Yang thought that if he could extort a sum of money from them, the patriarch would definitely be very happy. Man, I didn't want to hit you, but since you're itching for a beating, then I have no choice but to beat you up first. Otherwise, you wouldn't have let me go to the lion. Gooden sighed helplessly before raising his fist and punching at Yang face. Yang didn't understand what Gooden was talking about, and just as he was thinking about what he meant, Gooden's huge fist came smashing at him, making him see stars. Pai Yang was a mystic late phase peak master, and his defense was quite strong as well. Normal attacks were useless against him, unless it was an opponent of a higher level. Gooden, however, was an exception. After a few punches, Yang was stunned. I'm Pai Yang, I'm not itching? Yang finally realized what was going on. This brat in front of him thought his name was itching for a beating. After Pai Yang figured it out, he quickly yelled out while protecting his vitals. It hurt so much. While Pai Yang felt humiliated and indignant, he was also a little shocked. He knew how strong he was, and the person who could beat him up so badly had to be at least in the middle phase of the mystic class. This kid in front of him was this strong? But the next moment Yang was even more shocked. He heard a crisp crack and his right leg started hurting. Yang realized that his leg was broken by Gooden. To be able to break a mystic late phase peak master's leg even after protecting his vitals, what kind of terrifying level was his own strength? Was he beyond mystic late phase peak? Chapter 1190. Chapter 1188, Shao Family's Trouble. I'm sorry, I couldn't control my strength. Gooden scratched his head, embarrassed. I didn't want you to kill me, so I controlled my strength very carefully, but I didn't expect your leg to be this weak. I accidentally broke it. What? Yang couldn't believe his ears. This was it, and the guy was holding back? He controlled his strength very carefully because he didn't want him to kill him? Didn't that mean that the guy's true strength was even stronger than what he saw? What kind of monster did the Shao family provoke? This was way too strong. My God, what kind of monster did the Shao family provoke this time? It's a little too valiant. Regardless of whether Gooden was telling the truth or not, whether he was just bragging or hiding his strength, just what he had shown so far was already much stronger than Yang himself. If Pai Yang were to fight against an expert of the same level, he wouldn't have the confidence to injure his opponent when the opponent was fully defending himself. Perhaps neither of them could win, but it was also impossible to injure one of them. That was why Pai Yang was overwhelmed with shock. This place was truly crouching tigers and hidden dragons. A random idiot like youth already possessed such formidable strength. It's fine, you're a mystic late phase peak, right? My boss said that this level has self-healing capabilities, so it'll be easier for you to recover. You'll be fine after a few days, Gooden comforted. Don't worry. But it's not my fault, you said I came to find a lion, and you just had to cause trouble, asking me to beat you up. Man, the world really is full of surprises. Yang heard Gooden's words and couldn't spit out a mouthful of blood. His eyes rolled back and he fainted. He'd never felt so humiliated since becoming famous. But what could he do? Yang felt that he wasn't a match for Gooden at all. Xiaoji and Huli were stunned as well. What kind of terrifying guy was this? Even a peak late phase mystic class master was no match for him. Could he be an earth class master? Thinking of this, Xiaoji's legs went limp. The Xiao family had just gotten a little better. Why did such a terrifying person suddenly appear? Xiaoji was furious and worried as he slapped at Go Huli. You bitch, look at what you've done. It was just a stupid lion, wasn't it? Did he cause trouble? Did you bite someone you shouldn't have? Go Huli was scared out of her wits. Xiaoji hit her, but she didn't dare to complain. She covered her face and lowered her head. Go Huli was helpless. She knew such a powerful person, and even the Hidden House Pie's masters weren't his match, and she still wanted to be a cleaner? Even becoming a great bandit would make money faster than this. If you were short of money, you could just send this person to the noble houses to ask for a favor. I'm sure none of them would dare refuse. Even house, you would have to be respectful to this person, wouldn't they? Don't you think I have nothing better to do? Great, I'm really unlucky this time. Hero? Spare us. No matter how much money you want, we, the Xiao family, will give it to you. Please have mercy and let us go. Xiaoji was the typical type of person who bullied the weak and feared the strong. Gooden had given him too much of a shock. Even the Hidden House Pie's masters weren't his match, so what else could he do? Hurry up and beg for mercy. Yeah, didn't you want an explanation? I was wrong. I'm not a good master of the lion, I deserve to be beaten. With that, Huli started slapping herself on the face, making a loud sound. If you said that earlier, I wouldn't have come up, right? Aren't you just wasting time? Gooden thought that his boss was right. In front of absolute power, these people were nothing but clowns. Gooden humphed. Where's the lion? Call the lion out, I'll kill it with one punch and we'll forget about this. Go Huli didn't doubt that Gooden could kill the lion with one punch. Even a master like Pai Yongyang was heavily injured, let alone a lion. But the problem was that the lion wasn't here. Go Huli said carefully, Hero, the lion isn't in the villa now, it's gone? Gone? Is it because you saw it did something wrong and decided to help it get away? Gooden glared angrily. Wah. Go Huli paused. Was there something wrong with her? Why would she help a lion escape? But she didn't dare say that to Gooden. Who knew what kind of temper this guy had? He might just kill her with one punch. She smiled bitterly. Hero, that lion ran away on its own, it has nothing to do with us. Sir, if you're looking for the lion, I'll tell you where it is. Just go there and find it. Xiao Ben, who'd been hiding in the dark, finally came out. When he saw Gooden's strength, he felt a chill in his heart. The Xiao family was really unlucky this time, encountering such a strong enemy. What should he do? But as he continued to observe, he realized that Gooden only wanted to find the lion, not cause trouble for the Xiao family. What happened with Pai Yongyang was just a misunderstanding, and this old Pai had been wronged. So Xiao Ben was thinking, could he turn this bad thing into a good thing? Suddenly he thought of a good idea to divert the trouble to others. The lion ran away, but it went to House Chu's villa. Wasn't Gooden looking for the lion? Then he'd go to House Chu's villa, and there'd be conflict with the Chu people. Then he'd beat up Lin Yi too, and it'd be best if he crippled him. That way he'd get his revenge for the Xiao family. Xiao Ben felt that he really was a genius. Even the ancient Zhuge Liang couldn't compare to him, right? No wonder even Big Brother, the patriarch, had to listen to his words. He had the strength. Where's the lion? Gooden turned to Xiao Ben. That lion's a bit arrogant, and now that it found a stronger master, it's ignoring us. I heard that the lion has a golden class dog as its boss. Xiao Ben said solemnly. It wasn't a secret that House Chu had a golden class dog, and anyone in the noble houses would know about it. What? Golden class dog? There's a golden class dog? Gooden's eyes went wide, but he waved his hand after some thought. Who cares what class it is? If it dares to protect the lion, I'll kill it too. Chapter 1191. Ere Gooden and Yushu before, Huli was a bit annoyed that her man, the head of the house, had to discuss everything with Xiao Ben. Who was the head of the house now? Wasn't this the same as Xiao Ben being in charge? But now Huli truly admired Xiao Ben. He was too strong, too evil. That's right. The owner of that family is very powerful and powerful. You have to be careful, Hero, he's very protective. I'm afraid you're not his match. Xiao Ben said. Even if he's protective, he needs to give me an explanation. Gooden raged. If they dare to do that, I'll kill them with one punch. Then you'll be doing the people a favor. Xiao Ben smiled. That family is doing whatever they want in this villa district, it's already a big deal. If you can kill them, everyone will thank you. Tell me the address, I'll go meet them right now. Gooden wasn't an idiot, but he was a simple man. Whatever Xiao Ben said, he'd believe it. Otherwise he wouldn't have been scammed by Xiaoka until he was penniless. Let's go, Mr. Warrior, I'll send you off and show you the way. Xiao Ben made a welcoming gesture as he spoke respectfully. Gooden came out of the Xiao family villa and ran to the Chu villa according to Xiao Ben's directions. The Xiao family, on the other hand, started laughing happily as they watched Gooden leave. Brother, you're really something. Sending such a strong guy to cause trouble for House Chu, even Lin Yi wouldn't be a match for him. Xiao Ji gave him a thumbs up. Of course I'm not his opponent. Xiao Ben smiled. It'd be best if their conflict gets more intense and they kill that Lin Yi. Then we can take over House Chu's company. The Xiao family had always wanted Pingzhan's assets, and it was a sore point that they couldn't get it last time. Now that they had House Pai's support, the Xiao family naturally wanted to regain their face, but they never had the chance to do so. Now that Gooden was here, even if Lin Yi didn't die, he'd be heavily injured, and they could make their move on House Chu. Brilliant, second brother. Xiao Ji nodded. Right, the two masters from House Pai. Big brother, I almost forgot about them if you didn't mention it. Hurry up and send them to the hospital. Don't let anything happen to them. They are the support of our Xiao family. With that, Xiao Ben ran back into the villa. The two masters from House Pai might not be a match for Gooden, but they were more than enough to deal with the other noble houses. Therefore, Xiao Ji quickly dialed the emergency number and called an ambulance. Gooden ran all the way to House Chu's villa, and as expected, he saw a lion and a dog on the lawn. The dog seemed to be training the lion, making it jump up and down. This dog wasn't simple. Gooden looked at the dog. He couldn't tell how strong the dog was, but it didn't seem weak. Otherwise, a lion wouldn't be this obedient. Gooden was born in a village and he often hunted in the mountains. He knew the habits of animals. This lion was afraid of a dog, so there was a problem. Not far from the dog and lion stood two beautiful girls. One was tall and slender while the other was slightly buxom. The slightly buxom girl was giving instructions to the dog, as if she was telling the dog the training plan for the lion. Gooden's face reddened as he looked at the two beautiful girls. Why were the girls in the city so beautiful? But Gooden only took one look before moving his eyes away. Don't look at indecent things, that was what his dad told him. When Gooden was very young, his dad always told him that farmers shouldn't find wives that were too pretty, or they wouldn't be able to keep them. Gooden knew his place too. He had some strength in his hands, but he wasn't handsome, smart, or brave. Finding Yu Yuan was already a blessing from 8 lifetimes. He didn't dare think about girls that were too pretty. But Gooden was a bit puzzled. Didn't they say that the owners of this house were all bad people? How could such pretty girls be bad people? Go Huli did look like an old hag, sharp and mean, but these two girls in front of him were too cute and pretty. They didn't look like bad people at all. Looking at the lock, Gooden knocked on the door. He really couldn't do anything to these two pretty girls, even though he knew that not all pretty girls had good hearts. For example, that Xiaoka he met at the train station, wasn't she just a liar? But Gooden thought that he should try to be polite before resorting to violence. He hoped that these two girls would be reasonable. Who are you looking for? Yushu was in the middle of training the lion to guard the villa when someone knocked on the door. She turned around to see a plainly dressed young man standing outside the villa's door. She asked, startled. I'm looking for this lion. This lion bit my friend's mother, and I'm here to demand an explanation. Let me deal with this lion and I'll let this go. Gooden, on the other hand, didn't make a move right away. After all, he knew that this was a bit complicated. The lion might have come here, but the bite was in the Xiao villa. It had nothing to do with these two girls, so he didn't have anything to do with them. He just wanted to get the lion back. Lion? Bit your friend's mother? That's impossible, this lion hasn't left our house since coming here. Why would it bite your friend's mother? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Yushu didn't know what Gooden was talking about. This lion belongs to Go Huli, right? My friend's mother is a cleaner at Go Huli's house, and she got bitten by this lion. I'm here to demand an explanation. Gooden explained. Fuck. Since she got bitten at Go Huli's house, you can go get an explanation from Go Huli. Why are you looking for a lion? Why are you bickering with a beast? If it weren't for that evil master, this lion wouldn't have bitten your friend's mother. Yushu didn't want to waste time talking to Gooden anymore, so she waved her hand. She's already apologized and paid the compensation. Now we only need this lion. Give it to me, I'll kill it with one punch. Gooden was a bit narrow-minded. He felt that Yushu was right, but this lion was still ferocious. Chapter 1192. Chapter 1190. Call him over. If it weren't for Gooden's honesty, Yushu wouldn't be talking to him this much. So you're saying that you're going to protect this lion? Gooden frowned, thinking that this girl was quite domineering. It seemed that he had to use force after saying no. Mengyao frowned as well. As far as she was concerned, this was a bit hard to handle. She was right, but Gooden was an honest person, and if he really wanted to cause trouble for the lion it would make sense. Mister, this lion is just an animal, it doesn't know who to bite. Without the owner's permission, it wouldn't bite. Mengyao explained, look, it's in my house now, it won't bite. Gooden was speechless. He wasn't good with words, and Mengyao and Yushu's words made him speechless. But if he really turned around and left like this, he wouldn't want to just let the lion go like this. Even if they were right, should he just let the lion go like this? Gooden sighed, how about this? This animal bit my friend's mother's leg, so I'll break its leg. Oh. Yushu panicked. It wasn't easy to get a guard in the house, and if his leg was broken, what was he supposed to do? Seeing that she couldn't get through to Gooden, Yushu got a little angry. She wasn't an easy person to talk to. She didn't want to talk to Gooden anymore. If you don't leave, I'll get the lion's boss to teach you a lesson. The lion's boss? Gooden blinked. This lion has a boss? That's fine, since it's the boss, I'll get the boss for his lackey's mistakes. This is the lion's boss, General Weiwu. If you don't leave, I'll open the door and let the dog out. Why are you so stubborn? Yushu pointed at General Weiwu, threatening Gooden. This dog? Gooden looked at General Weiwu. It wasn't that he looked down on it, but he'd killed countless animals before. Why would he be afraid of a dog? So he said, open the door and let it out. I can even break its legs. Gooden was a very honest man. He didn't come for the money, he just wanted an explanation. Like many other victims, he just wanted the perpetrators to pay the price and get an explanation. As for money, it was secondary. Come in if you dare. Yushu wouldn't open the door for Gooden. Gooden didn't want to use force, but since Yushu was being unreasonable, he wouldn't go easy on her. Gooden gripped the iron fence with both hands, and with a slight tug, the fence broke just like the one in front of the Shao family's villa, as if the steel was soft. Holy shit. Yushu's eyes went wide. You're that strong? General Weiwu was very lazy at first, but after seeing Gooden's sudden display of strength, he was shocked. He stood up straight and looked at Gooden cautiously. This man was very dangerous. Gooden looked at the broken fence and estimated that he might not be a match for him. Gooden didn't dare attack first, standing in front of Mengyao and Yushu. He had to protect them, and as for the lion, he wouldn't be able to protect it. General Weiwu's actions naturally didn't escape Yushu's eyes. Looking at the way General Weiwu acted, Yushu guessed that even General Weiwu wouldn't be a match for Gooden. How could Yushu let Gooden get to General Weiwu when she saw him coming for her? She called out, wait. Gooden was about to grab General Weiwu when he was startled by Yushu's shout. He subconsciously stopped and raised his head. What are you doing? Do you want me to hit a dog or a lion? Gooden, naturally, thought that Yushu saw his strength and didn't want General Weiwu to do anything. Wait, if you want to touch this dog, you need to get permission from the dog's boss. Yushu felt that the only way to deal with this person was to call Lin Yi. This dog's boss? Isn't this dog yours? Gooden paused, a little confused. He didn't expect this dog to have a boss. Of course this dog is mine, but it has a boss too. Yushu said, this dog's boss is very strong, and if he knows you hit the dog, he won't let you go. You might be able to break the iron fence, but it's just a small trick for Shield Bro. Last time, my boobs got caught in the fence and it was Shield Bro who helped me break it open. Yushu said proudly and accidentally said too much. Shoo. Mengyao didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Yushu's words. Why did she have to bring this up? Wouldn't she be a joke? As expected, Gooden's face turned red from Yushu's words. This girl was too bold, wasn't she? How could she say something like this? Gooden's face turned red and he said helplessly, all right, call the dog's boss over, I'll talk to the dog's boss, okay? Gooden was really getting a headache from Yushu's words. When he went to the Shao family was acting all high and mighty, so it was easy to deal with. Gooden could just make a move and deal with it. But now they were just talking and Gooden didn't have the face to hit these two pretty girls. Plus, they didn't have much to do with this. Gooden was a man who knew right from wrong, and naturally he wouldn't hit people for no reason. But the problem was, he could be reasonable, but this girl in front of him was unreasonable. Gooden was the dumbest and he couldn't beat her in an argument. And so, after going around and around, she didn't look for the lion anymore, but Shield Bro. Shield Bro's here and you'll have to submit. I advise you to leave now, or I won't care if Shield Bro beats you up. Yushu tried to scare him. You've already destroyed our villa. Do you know what happened to the person who destroyed our villa's gate last time? No. Gooden shook his head. Shield bro killed him with one punch. Yushu said. Ugh. Gooden thought to himself, why is this so similar to his style? They both like to kill people with one punch? But Gooden wasn't afraid. I'm just asking for an explanation, go get that shield bro. Chapter 1193. Do you know him? Gooden was speechless after hearing Yushu's words. Could this dog talk? Did this girl watch too many cartoons? Lin Yi was practicing, so he didn't pay attention to what was going on in the yard. Lin Yi naturally knew that Yushu and Meng Yao were training the lion in the yard. There wasn't any danger, and General Wei Wu would warn him if there was any. Hearing General Wei Wu's voice, Lin Yi quickly stopped his practice and returned to reality. Before General Wei Wu could walk in, he quickly walked out of the villa and met General Wei Wu. What's wrong? Lin Yi asked as he walked. It seemed that the yard wasn't as dangerous as he thought it would be. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't seem to be hurt at all. Shield bro, there's a bumpkin here looking for trouble. Yushu pointed at Gooden. Trouble? Lin Yi paused and looked in the direction Yushu was pointing at. He froze. Ah, boss. Gooden's eyes were wide open as he looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He didn't expect to see Lin Yi here. Gooden? You're here? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Gooden probably didn't explain things clearly, and Yushu thought that he was looking for trouble. Boss, I finally found you. Gooden was beyond excited. He ran over and hugged Lin Yi. Boss, this is great. I finally found you. Lin Yi thought that Gooden came here with the address old Lin gave him. He didn't know that Gooden was actually here for the lion. Lin Yi thought so, but Yushu and Meng Yao looked at the scene in front of them curiously. They didn't know what was going on. What's going on? Meng Yao looked at Lin Yi and Gooden, confused. Did these two know each other? Oh, I knew it. This person will definitely surrender to Shield bro. Sister Yao Yao, you see I was right? I'm Prophet Shu. Yushu said proudly after some thought. Meng Yao didn't know what to say, but she had to admit that Yushu's sixth sense was pretty accurate. By the way, why are there so many geniuses here? The old man said that you left a few days ago? Lin Yi asked curiously. Lin Yi knew that Gooden wasn't weak and wouldn't make any mistakes, but he was late by so many days. He didn't know if he was in trouble or not. Boss, I got scammed when I got off the train. Gooden said bitterly, not only did I lose the money but she also took the address. So I couldn't find you. Oh, then how did you find me? You found that scammer? Lin Yi paused. He didn't think that Gooden would have this kind of encounter, getting scammed right after getting off the train. But then again, it wasn't that strange for Gooden to get scammed. After all, he hadn't seen the world before and it was his first time going out. It was inevitable that he would get scammed. No, I came here to talk to the lion, but I didn't think I'd meet you here, boss. Gooden paused. Boss, you're not this dog's boss, are you? Dog. Lin Yi paused and looked at where Gooden was pointing. He smiled. I guess so. Ugh. I see. Gooden was in a tough spot. If this dog was under someone else's protection, then Gooden would have killed him with a single punch if he tried to stick his neck out. But facing Lin Yi, his boss, he didn't dare do anything. Although he wanted to talk to Mrs. Yu, he couldn't do it to his boss. Right, you said you wanted to talk to the lion, what happened? Lin Yi remembered what Gooden said and asked. It's like this, Gooden didn't hide anything and told everything to Lin Yi. You're saying that you injured the two masters from House Gohuli? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing Gooden's story. Before, Lin Yi and Faubert had studied the two masters from Shao family. Although Lin Yi was confident that he could fight the mystic late-phase peak physical practitioner to a draw, he wasn't confident that he could defeat him. Gooden solving the problem just like that was out of Lin Yi's expectations. Yeah, I didn't want to beat him up, but that old man begged me to beat him up, saying that he was itching for a beating, so I had no choice but to beat him up. But I wasn't careful and I broke his leg. Gooden scratched his head and said embarrassedly. He wasn't itching for a beating? His real name is Pai Yangyang? Lin Yi really sympathized with Yangyang. This guy got hit even when he was lying down, getting beaten up just because of his name. He was too unlucky. Lin Yi knew Pai Yangyang's name from Faubert long ago, so he figured it out right away. Ah! Yushu burst into laughter. Pai Yangyang? I'm dying of laughter. You actually thought he was itching for a beating? Meng Yao, on the other hand, didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Pai Yangyang, why did this guy have a name like that? His name is Pai Yangyang? Gooden only reacted after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. He wasn't itching for a beating, was he? I'm so sorry for this. He didn't fight back. Lin Yi looked at Gooden, his face a little weird. Lin Yi believed that Gooden could break Pai Yangyang's leg, but breaking Yangyang's leg without any resistance at all? Why was this so weird? Did Yang Yang just let Gooden hit him instead of fighting back? No, he was protecting his body the whole time. Gooden said. You're really lucky. Lin Yi shook his head with a bitter smile, but he didn't feel guilty at all for injuring Pai Yang Yang. So be it, it had nothing to do with him anyway. Shield bro, you know him? He's your follower? Yushu could tell from the conversation between Lin Yi and Gooden that they knew each other before, and they seemed to be quite close. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, we're from the same village, we grew up together, Lin Yi said. Let me introduce you guys, Zhou Jiaming, his nickname is Gooden. Gooden, this is Mingyao, my employer, and this is her best friend Yushu.